When humans turn 15, the story kicks off by revealing the Rite of Aptitude ceremony, where they're suddenly blessed with magical power. When the priest swings into the appraisal, magic jolts awake inside them, and the truth about their aptitude finally hits while Alto, the dark-haired kid, sits in a glittering ceremonial room, counting down the seconds to his turn. Then Lily, the blonde girl, who's Alto's childhood friend, leans in and reminds him that this ceremony isn't just for show. It exposes their magic type and tells them exactly how many spells they can fire off at once. Alto just nods because it all depends on how the ceremony plays out one moment. And even a commoner can walk away with noble status, and that's how massive this is. Lily blurts out that Alto's father climbed from commoner to Marcus, all because of his insane magical talent. So yeah, there's pressure stacked on Alto from day one. Alto blurts out that it feels like every single choice in their lives is being decided right now. That thought is honestly terrifying. Then Lily jumps in and says she's heard it too. Getting a job can be brutally hard if someone's aptitude ends up way too low. Then Lily glances at the clock and tells Alto, "Come on, we've got to move." The two of them stride side by side through sheets of rain. Lily just can't believe it. Why is Alto rocking the same outfit again? Of all days, seriously, what is he thinking? Alto groans that picking clothes is pure torture, and Lily shoots back, "We've been childhood friends forever, so you should know I already know what you're like." Then adds, "Besides, I'm stuck with the same stuff too." Still, she won't let it go. She tells him he could have at least shown up dressed to impress, because today is a once-in-a-lifetime ceremony, plain and simple. But Alto fires back that wearing an outfit just once isn't worth the price, classic Alto logic through and through. Lily shoots back that he's way too obsessed with cost performance, and reminds him when a girl goes all out and dresses up, he should at least tell her she looks amazing. Alto doubts she'd actually feel happy getting compliments on her clothes at all, and Lily fires back that most people would feel great about it. She tells him that even if he's not into it, one tiny word from him can light up someone's day, and in his own words, that makes it a pretty damn good deal. Alto freezes for a split second, then blurts out, her eyes widen. "It's beautiful," Lily blurts out, stunned with pure joy, and Alto can only grin, finally admitting she was right. Then Lily's reaction goes full-on berserk, spiral eyes blazing, and excitement turned up way past believable. Alto just stands there, frozen in awkward silence, realizing this isn't how he pictured it at all, while Lily keeps going with her wildly over-the-top reaction, and Alto's discomfort only grows by the second. Lily spots it right away. Alto's finally loosened up a little, and someone nearby can't believe it, because the guy who's usually unbreakable actually looked nervous for once. As they stroll along, they spot a massive church towering in the distance, and Lily grins, "There it is, I can see it." That's the church where they're about to kick off the ceremony. Inside the church, the priest barks out the news. This is when they're about to begin what comes next. Begin the aptitude ceremony, he slams the moment into motion and demands John step forward. The priest kicks off the magic aptitude ritual, gripping a blazing orb while power crackles and surges all around him. Then the reports hit. Turns out, there are only 2 magic circuits standing out. So, for knights and adventurers who swing into battle and keep those barriers glowing, this lowest level is nothing less than a death sentence. With 4 circuits, you can slam down 1 barrier and fire 3 attacks at the same time. Then with just 2 circuits, you're stuck with 1 barrier and only 1 attack. And yeah, the gap is enormous. The priest keeps going, eyes locked on John's results, and starts calling out the magic. He's got water and ice both landing at E rank. Then the growth aptitude rating hits straight up brutal. Growth Aptitude F demands a whopping 10,000 experience points just to claw out 1 level up. Hold up, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's keep this ride going for more, so you can uncover more secret manga gems? Now go on, I dare you to comment. Comment it because I'm so into this, and I bet most of you guys too. So that's what I figured. If you won't do it, then just say so. Alright, come on, let's keep going. Once 5 participants complete the aptitude ritual, the ceremony blasts onward. Next up was Sasha, and you could hear someone mutter that with her magic circuits and growth aptitude, becoming an adventurer would be tough as hell. Then the crowd roars and Lily's name gets called next. She tells Alto, "I'm leaving now," then strides straight for the ceremonial area. Lily climbed the stairs, stepping forward with shaking nerves, her hands locked together so tight her knuckles ached, and closes in on the ornate throne where the priest is already waiting, eyes locked on him. The priest kicks off the magic aptitude appraisal with her. Suddenly, the bearded man watching the ceremony snaps into total shock, his face frozen in disbelief. Then the priest snaps out the announcement, 7 magic circuits. Alto's mind can barely keep up, and Lily stares with the same stunned shock. Some other person gasps in total disbelief. Then the growth aptitude rating slams onto the screen, backed by a huge, glaring X rank symbol. The priest keeps drilling into Lily's sheet, rattling off barrier magic A, flame magic A, water ice magic A, holy magic S, dark magic A, physical magic A, enhancement magic A, and appraisal magic A. Like, it's a whole arsenal. Every last branch of magic hit rank A or above. The observers straight up lose it. Someone blurts that even 1B rank would turn you into a terrifyingly strong adventurer. And another fires back that she's got enough circuits to carve her name into history right next to the top-tier legends and the famous knights. They can't believe someone like this even exists, and you can hear that dismissive pfft in the air. In a sea of millions, this prodigy steps out and the whole crowd erupts like a wildfire. Someone yells that maybe a hero will rise in their generation, while everyone else panics and wonders what job Lily is about to be stuck with. Meanwhile, church officials were tearing into a heated debate: should they rush a report to the king right now or go straight for a private audience? A stern man locks eyes with Lily and says she's getting an audience with the king. Then another official rushes in, apologizing for the sudden summons before ordering her to head to the priest. Lily just freezes into place, eyes wide, nerves jangling like crazy as the pressure crushes her. Alto can't believe Lily's been hiding power like that all along. He's thrilled for her. But it also hits him like she's slipped so far out of reach, like his childhood friend has traveled to some distant world. Then the priest snaps, Alto, and calls the next name like it's a verdict. His face snaps into shock the moment reality finally lands. He barrels down the stairs straight toward the ceremonial chair. Alto's thoughts explode at full speed as he barrels toward it, swearing to himself he doesn't need to be anything like Lily. Give him just enough magical spark to become a knight. The priest kicks off the magic aptitude ritual and the orb bursts to life, glowing with raw power. The moment the announcement hits, magic circuits ignite. That number flashes 1. Alto's face goes totally blank with shock as the priest slams the result 1 magic circuit. Lily begs him to say it again, and the priest nods and repeats the words. Someone in the crowd spots it and blurts, "Wait!" They've never heard anything like this ever until now. Someone finally clocks it once Alto drops a single barrier with that 1 circuit. There's nothing else he can do. The whole crowd murmurs in shock, only 1 circuit left. The exam keeps rolling, and Alto just crumples to his knees in shock as his full stats get blasted open for everyone to see. Alto slumps there, drenched in sweat, staring in disbelief like this can't possibly be real. Meanwhile, the ceremony rolls on all around him, and the priest snaps, calling the next participant Reina. Alto trudges away from the ceremonial area, utterly crushed, while the other examinees slip through the hall and the rituals keep roaring on. Alto stands there alone and crushed by the whole world. He can't even be a knight. He can't even scrape by as an adventurer, and even a normal job feels like it's out of reach. Later, he storms back to the family estate, heading straight for home. And just like that, his father clocks him on the spot, demanding to know when he got back, but Alto barely gets a word out before his dad slams down the next bombshell. He's heard the appraisal results. Alto's father wastes 0 time. He grabs the moment and commands Alto to storm out of the house right now. Alto freezes in shock as his father rips into him, calling him a disgrace to the Wellesley name, and then drops the bomb the airship is going to his younger brother instead. And just like that, Alto's left standing outside the estate gates, cast out and staring them down. Then his father lands the final, crushing blow, telling Alto to never call himself a Wellesley again. And those words slam into him like a punch. Alto stands outside the mansion gates, tiny and stranded, while inside the estate his father looms over everything like a shadow coming to claim him. 1 second everything was there, and the next it was all gone. Then Alto started walking alone down a silent street, clutching his few belongings in a small bag. His magic circuits and every single one of his affinities are stamped F. And the moment he realizes how brutal it is just to land a normal job, life hits harder. He's been thrown out of his home. Reality slams into him. Tears burn hot on his cheeks, and the crushing weight of what's ahead becomes unbearable as he can't stop asking how he's even supposed to keep living from here. A thunderous, rage-filled voice slices the air as a bald, muscular supervisor snarls at Alto, calling him useless and barking orders to get everything organized. Meanwhile, from above you can see the warehouse or construction chaos, with Alto standing amid stacks of materials while other workers scatter everywhere around him. Alto snaps to attention and shoots back, "Got it, I'll handle it." Alto grits through each day the best he can while Lily watches from afar, clocking how this rookie just landed his first job and people are already roasting him as clueless. Alto locks his eyes on the shelves, frantically trying to figure out what the heck he's even supposed to do with this task. The supervisor snaps at him to speed up. There's still tons of work left to crush. Later, Alto glares at the few coins he's hauled in, dead tired from all day of grinding, only to realize this is all he gets. Reality is a brutal grind of low-wage work, and he's barely scraping by day after day. Then the workday starts to slip away like the night is stealing the clock. Your muscular coworker pats Alto on the back, praises him for the win, and then makes it clear he's far from done. Alto couldn't stop thinking about calling it a night early tonight, but the coworker jabs the truth into his head. Alto was the one who promised he'd start self-improvement. The boss hangs nearby, smirks like he already knew, and flat out confirms that Alto really said it. Unpaid overtime keeps stacking up, and it's getting heavier by the day. Eventually, Alto slumps to the floor in the warehouse, drained to the bone. Then he forces a smile, telling himself he should be grateful that a complete nobody like him still landed a job. Even while exhaustion clawed at his body, Alto shoved himself back up and keeps pushing even harder, organizing everything and scrubbing it clean, with fresh determination blazing across his face. Someone strains under the crushing weight of heavy lumber, grunting with every brutal step. Meanwhile, Alto kept hauling his own load, but his mind kept racing. If he could use magic, he'd make the lumber float and shuffle it around like it weighed nothing. saving time and burning way less energy. The warehouse sprawls all around them as the work keeps roaring on. That night, Alto finally crumples from sheer exhaustion, too wiped out to even make it back to the inn. So he figures he'll have to camp out in the warehouse again. The night sky loomed above as yet another brutal day finally slammed shut. Alto can't believe how long it's been since he last made it back to the inn. He can't even count how many nights he's crashed at that warehouse. Then his stomach roars and he snaps to it. He's starving. And in the dim light, the place looks even lonelier as Alto shoves into yet another shift. Then the next day crashes in and Alto barely squeezes in 2 hours of sleep. He stares at whatever's in his hand, absolutely wiped out like he's running on empty. Suddenly, Lily storms up to the warehouse counter and demands to know if a boy named Alto about her age is here. Alto spots her and his whole body locks up in raw, instant shock. The bald supervisor shoots Lily a response, marveling at how rare and adorable she is, then crushes the moment by telling her, straight up, they don't have anyone like that here. Lily is convinced there's someone out there who knows him. 100 sure, so she begs them to let her see him. Just for a little while. Meanwhile, Alto lurks in the shadows, his mind sprinting with thoughts. Lily's got a bright, promised future, and he's already picturing her in a gorgeous dress, glowing among nobles and big shots while he's stuck as a total no-skill nobody, with zero status and barely any money. He can't wrap his head around why Lily would pick him. Not with the huge gap in status between them, now he's just slumped against the materials. And the worst part hits, he can't even look Lily in the eye anymore. Back at the counter, the supervisor tries to dodge Lily's request until Lily pushes back and makes it clear they can't just shut her down. Lily hesitates for a split second, then snaps. She decides she doesn't want to use it at all, but still reaches in and pulls something out anyway. Lily slams a document into the men's hands and demands they look. The bald supervisor narrows his eyes at it, then barks, "What is this tiny scrap of paper even supposed to be?" Then his face snaps to realization, and the supervisor's expression drains to pure shock. Everything flips in an instant. Lily catches herself fast. Alto? Yeah, him. My mistake, I'll call him right now. Then Alto snaps his head up as someone starts shouting his name across the warehouse, loud enough to shake the whole place and pull his focus. And he can't believe it. Why is all of this hitting him so fast? The document flips open and it's a formal introduction letter from the Knight Commander. Basically, the whole kingdom vouches for her real identity. And to make it worse, Lawrence's services are strictly off-limits for anyone over 18. The bald supervisor snaps into panic mode and barks at his crew to not, under any circumstances, lay a finger wrong or offend her. He whips around to Alto, telling him, "Don't worry, I'll be right back." And just as he goes, the supervisor snaps at Alto, "Don't you dare say a thing that could shame the guild that took you in." They're handing Lily the meeting room as a special exception, basically treating her like royalty while the supervisor scrambles to sell it like Alto is just showing everyone how amazing this guild is. Trying to win the nights over, he doesn't even get the chance. Alto clocks the supervisor's game from the very start. He's got it all backwards. He should be sweeping that young lady off her feet, not dumping this mess on Alto like it's his problem. Meanwhile, the bald supervisor grins and tells Lily not to stress. Alto just wrapped his tasks. So they're basically clocking out for the day, and yeah, leaving on time is totally normal. Lily calls out to Alto right then, and Alto locks eyes with her, already thinking about Lily standing right in front of him. The supervisor panics and begs her to slow down, almost pleading, like taking her time is the only thing that can save the moment. Lily gives him a graceful, heartfelt thank you for worrying about her. They hustle into the meeting room, and Lily blurts out her request to ask him. Alto asked how she'd been, since it's been ages, then clocked that she looked rough and demanded to know if she was okay. And Alto brushed it off, saying he was fine, even though he admitted the whole thing was a mess. When Lily finally asks Alto what kind of job he's running at this guild now, Alto can't stop thinking this mess is way too complicated, and he feels it in his bones. From above, you can see them parked on opposite ends of the meeting room table, and the space between them feels downright enormous. Then Lily blurts out that she got accepted into the Royal Knight Academy. Alto fires off a congratulations, but the way she responds feels a little shaky, like she's not totally sure how to take it. Meanwhile, the Royal Knight Academy forges future knights past the knight selection exam, and you earn the title to become one. With Lily's legendary magic talent and the perfect number of circuits, this all clicks totally, and if she even had a recommendation letter from the Knight Commander, the kingdom might have snatched her up and invited her to enroll on the spot. Lily blurts out that next week is the entrance ceremony for the midterm transfer students, and once she finally enrolls, she'll be stuck in the dorm, so yeah, they probably won't see each other for a while. Alto leans in and tells her he's cheering for her, but deep down he's hiding the real feelings he can't let out. Alto can't stand it, but a small part of him secretly breathes a sigh of relief. With this, Lily and he are split for good, two paths that will never meet again. He imagines her stride toward her dazzling future while he's left standing in the dust, watching her disappear. But then Lily cuts right through it. She's terrible at beating around the bush. She tells him the truth, plain and simple. She went to Alto's house the very next day after the aptitude ceremony. When Lily questioned the priest about Alto, he shrugged and told her Alto had no skill at all. But when she showed up at the mansion, the servant straight up told her there was no one there named Alto. Alto had heard the legend about her father Marquis Wellesley clawed his way up from commoner life because his magic talent was unreal, and that aptitude ceremony could totally rewrite a person's future. Except this time, it happened way too fast for Alto. So Lily marched up to the priest and begged for an introduction to the knights, then tracked everything on her own, and just today, she finally managed to find Alto. Lily's tears start spilling as she tells Alto, "When I heard you got kicked out, I had no idea what I'd do if you just vanished and never showed up." Alto can't even move, he just gapes at her in total shock, drowned in her reaction. Lily screams that being a total beginner and having zero skills doesn't matter one bit. Alto can't wrap her head around it. Why would someone like her even care about him, when he's got zero skill and no value whatsoever? Then Lily snaps her hands over her face, begging Alto not to vanish without a word again. Alto just freezes in place and shouts her name. Then it hits her. People actually cared about him that much, and Lily completely shatters, sending out raw, furious drama as she tells him he was branded no skill, and that he convinced himself he was nothing but worthless. Alto locks his gaze forward, determination blazing brighter by the second, because if there's even one single person who chooses to accept him, then that's all that matters, no matter what his father or the guild keeps insisting. Alto rushes to Lily, apologizes for scaring her, and promises her he's fine now. In a tight close-up, you see them both face-to-face, Alto looking rock solid and dead set on winning, while Lily's tears keep pouring down her cheeks. Lily snaps at Alto, telling him to never scare her like that again. She tells him that if it's him, he should breeze through guild jobs with that calm, composed look, but Alto snaps back that for him, the work efficiency was absolutely terrible. Lily beams at him and tells him the second he's feeling better, she knows he's already locked in on efficiency, and she can't help smiling because his usual self is back. A few days later, Alto plants himself on the road and practically dares his own doubts. "Alright, I'm trying this." Ever since then, he's been grinding to make his daily routine run smoother like a machine. In the scene, the supervisor storms in, screaming for him to clean at 10 o'clock and grab the tableware, while Alto stands there with a clipboard, taking it all in. Then the moment hits, he starts plotting upgrades, pushing to sharpen how he works every single day. Alto admits the guild still pokes fun at him, but it doesn't hit that hard because today he finally shaved off some work time, meaning he can actually slip home and catch the sleep he's been needing. Then Alto strides down a hallway, dead set on mastering his magic right, so he can help Lily and prove it to himself. A smaller figure lingers behind him, and he can't help wondering if it's because Lily talks to him every single day. Maybe reading manhwa helps him recharge even more than sleep. Then she goes all the way to the inn just to see him. The supervisor strides up to Alto and says, "You're coming with us from now on officially?" He reveals they're hauling in a mountain of materials, so they need every extra set of hands, and Alto can't help but ask, "Are you sure that's okay?" But the supervisor roars at Alto, no skill or not. Alto still has to nail the basics of barrier magic. Alto bursts into the most insanely enthusiastic expression you've ever seen. Then Alto freezes, staring ahead, realizing he's ditched magic so hard he didn't even bother to check his own status. Right in front of him, a status window suddenly pops up and the sheer shock hits him like a punch, because he finally sees it. The status window lays out every game like entry calories, Kai carving, color-made content, and a bunch of other stats. Even stuff going all the way back to the rice noodles, and Alto just shrugs, saying it makes total sense because he's never used magic a single time. Meanwhile, Alto finally clocks the brutal truth he needs 10,000 experience points just to level up. The system breaks it down every time he uses a skill. He earns 1 EXP, and yeah, there are even more ways to rack up experience, like swinging through monsters and wiping out dungeons just to rake in extra experience points. That comparison lands like a punch, because for ordinary people, leveling up is brutally simple. Get 10 experience points, climb a level, and then watch the cost creep higher as you rise. They only need 100 skill uses to reach level 2, but then the math goes, mean level 2 demands 200 experience, level 3 demands 300, and level 4 takes a straight-up 400. But for Alto, leveling up is brutal. He's got to fire off his skill a staggering 10,000 times just to scrape into level 2, then 30,000 experience for level 3, and a wild 40,000 just to hit level 4. The gap between him and everyone else is literally 1 to 100. Alto stares at the monstrous problem crushing him because leveling up demands an insane amount of experience. His magic growth gets hit by a brutal double whammy of penalties, all ready to trigger at once. And if someone's got multiple magic circuits, they can fire off several skills at the same time, so stacking 3 skills means your experience shoots up all at once. But Alto only has 1 magic circuit, so his experience grinds up at a snail's pace compared to everyone else. If he spams only 1 skill at a time, he racks up experience for just that skill, nothing more. He can't stop thinking about that barrier magic even if he can use it. Yet every angle he checks slams into the same cold truth. No matter what he does, he's totally finished. Then Alto cracks open a brand new magic instruction book and spots exactly what he needs if he recites the chant, "Magic should answer back," and he sinks into the words and starts. Right after that, Alto pulls off body barrier and his face lights up with pure shock and wild excitement because the spell actually works. He digs into how that barrier works and realizes the life everyone talks about is just the barrier's durability in disguise. The gauge holds the barrier in place and smothers every attack, but the second it hits 0, the barrier vanishes and he's the one who gets hit. For now, he finally got it to work. His screen flashed Barrier Magic Level 1 out of 10,000 experience. That number keeps climbing, and Alto can't stop himself from wondering how much longer is this nightmare going to last. Then boom! A notification flashes on screen. Automatic magic has finally awakened, triggered by the magic you used. Alto just freezes, staring at his status screen like it betrayed him. Magic Circuit 1 now spits out an automatic Magic Level 1 at 0-10,000, labeled New, while Barrier Magic clings to Level 1 at 1-10,000 beneath that. His entire roster, Flame, Wateries, Holy, Dark, Physical, Enhancement, and Appraisal, are all stuck at Level 1 with 0 progress. Alto stared at his left, bewildered what even is automatic magic. And right then, a system prompt slammed onto the screen. Alto demanded Alto jot down the magic he wanted Tech Slut 1 to auto-activate. The instructions tell him to light the magic by picturing it in his mind, and then activate it using either the title or the starting number. Alto stares at the new info, telling himself it's just something he has to process. Like maybe text 1 is a code for a fireball. Then boom, the next display flashes the starting step to activate the fireball. Alto freezes in total disbelief as that fireball ignites. The skill snapped on without a single chant, something he'd never even heard of. Then the system confirmed the activation, and right on cue, the level 1 indicator lit up. Then the screen lights up with a crazy twist. He can load multiple skills into text slot 1 and fire them off back to back, one after another. Suddenly, notification after notification erupts on screen, and magic buff powers up fast. Alto realizes the magics are firing in the exact order he called them out. But then he freezes because his barrier still hasn't vanished. Staring at his status screen, Alto realizes the automatic magic is farming experience points for him straight up, gainfully, and even counts them in full. Then it clicks. He finally grasps what automatic magic truly does. It doesn't run through any magic circuits at all. The magic itself fires the registered skills into place. Alto's mind sparks and races as he imagines what this system could unlock: layered enchantments like the ones that usually demand a magic circuit, or even magic spam nonstop, and then it hits him hard. This could mean endless experience grinding. The screen flashed even more detail, showing him the exact syntax for setting those repetitions in the required format. Alto can't help but wonder, can he squeeze out even more rounds from this point? And as soon as he realizes he can level up his magic fast, the very magic that once felt totally hopeless, his excitement skyrockets. Sure, becoming a knight may be a nightmare, but maybe he can chase the road of an adventurer instead. Lily leans in and asks Alto, "Was that a joke?" But Alto shoots back that he'll give it one try, and he can't wrap his head around casting magic without a chant. The two of them perched on the stairs while Alto braces himself, getting ready to unleash his brand new power. The screen popped up, screaming that the magic buff was officially activated. Suddenly, Lily blurts out, "It actually worked!" And pure shock lights up her face. She still can't believe Alto has a skill that's this rare. Alto finally admits that he had no clue about it until today, then breaks it down for you. A unique skill is a special kind of magic that doesn't fit the 8 basic magic systems, like Sword Saint, a world-famous, insanely powerful gift that turbocharges his swordplay and footwork, or Clairvoyance, the wild power to look anywhere while you stay planted in the same spot. Then Alto breaks it down. His skill isn't like normal magic at all. Most people have to chant spell by spell to trigger their abilities, but his automatic magic kicks in on its own, with him doing absolutely nothing. Lily gets fired up at what this could mean because with this ability, nobody can beat Alto's activation speed, and that kind of edge is exactly how he's going to grow into someone terrifyingly strong. But Alto snaps that it's not just about spamming spells nonstop. He can trigger that automatic activation by doing something else in the middle of it. And the wildest part, he's itching to find out if automatic magic can kick in. Even while he's dead asleep, Lily's all in, practically vibrating with excitement to see what happens next. Alto daydreams about taking on a huge dragon in a dark dungeon cave, until Lily points out the obvious automatic magic is cool, but he can't exactly sleep in a dungeon. And Alto hurriedly clarifies he didn't mean it like that. He finally clocks what this place could truly do starting tonight. He can farm experience points with ultra-cracked efficiency, and that's the exact problem he's got to solve. Lily throws out the idea that he could rack up experience automatically while he's knocked out asleep, and Alto just sits there, quiet for once, mulling it over, then admits he's always believed sleep is a total waste, burning a fifth of his life unconscious just to get his stamina back. Lily calls him out for it, straight up calling him the efficiency nerd he always is. And Alto just stares at her like he's totally lost, asking if that not normal look is even real. Then Alto pauses to weigh the danger because the last thing he wants is one accidental misfire blowing up on him while he's still asleep. But honestly, he could still test it for real night after night. He'd slowly crank up the activations and watch what happened. Lily blurts out that Alto might be the first person in history to try activating a skill while he's still dead asleep. But Alto snaps back that every other move would be a waste of time, and when Lily hears him, her expression goes stone still. Then Lily bursts in with her amazing plan. She says they should stay over tonight and keep a close watch on Alto. Alto said it was a brilliant idea, and she promised that if anything goes wrong, she'll wake him up right away. But then he stops and thinks again. He gets the point and respects the idea, yet he can't shake the fear. It'd be wildly inefficient for Lily herself, even if he'll admit it's way more efficient for him. Suddenly, Lily's face burns at the meaning of what she just said. And you can tell that even Alto can't shake the vibe because with how rare it is to have him speechless like this, sharing a night under the same roof is hitting him hard too. Meanwhile, Alto finally clocks Lily's real motive and blurts that's not what he meant while Lily freezes in the doorway, totally flustered, scrambling to undo the mess her own words just made. But Alto doesn't let it slide, he calls her out right to her face. Asking if she's about to demand something in return, Lily snaps to the truth she's been caught and blurts that something might be going on. Then Alto says, 2 days from now is my day off. Lily nods. Yep, I'll ask for one thing then. While all that's going on, there's a yearly guild appreciation party coming up for everyone's help. But Alto shuts it down, he can't join, and honestly, he's not even that interested. So Lily throws out her request tomorrow's the Royal Knight Academy entrance ceremony, and she wants to grab everything she needs. Asking Alto to shop with her, he agrees, even though he's not exactly a fan of crowded places in town. Alto sits there, staring into the air, drowning in what-ifs and wild possibilities. If he taps into automated magic, he can train while he's off doing other stuff. So yeah, even shopping might not be a total waste. He pauses and realizes he's been treating money like it's only for essentials, and he's convinced browsing stores and killing time is pointless until now. Maybe he should finally wander through town and see what's out there after all this time. Lily can't stop thinking about the moment school starts when she and the others won't be able to meet for a while, and she admits it hits her right in the chest because she can't help feeling a little lonely. Alto tells Lily, I don't have much to spare right now, but if you're cool with it, I'll stick with you while you shop. Lily shoots back that even if he had money, she still can't picture Alto jumping at the chance to go shopping. That night, Alto finally crashes into sleep and Lily stays close by, on guard and watching him like her life depends on it. She stares at him, peacefully asleep, and realizes same as back then. Lily can't stop replaying their shared past because she and Alto were born on the exact same day, and they've stayed inseparable ever since. She remembers being kids, when Alto suddenly swore he'd become a knight, and she admits she got hit by the same fever, dreaming it too, like something was yanking her forward beside him. Lily keeps watching Alto sleep, and the thought hits her hard. She truly believed they'd be together forever. Then reality slams in once you're born into a class. The rank gap keeps widening until it feels impossible to cross. When she learned the Royal Knight Academy was a boarding school, she couldn't just blurt out a yes to enrolling right away. As Alto's father and her family flicker through her mind, she realizes this moment will be her last, final goodbye to Alto. Lily can't stop replaying the day she learned she'd have to turn down enrollment. Her heart wavered like crazy, but then she saw that lively Alto today and everything in her shifted. She clings to the memory of that dream, both of them becoming knights, and asks herself if it's still worth reaching for it because his one-of-a-kind skill feels like it could tip everything in their favor. And that auto magic of his is working perfectly too. In her mind, she's reliving young Alto right as she tells him, I'm going to become a knight. Morning finally breaks and Alto jolts awake to find he spots Lily still passed out, so he decides to leave her sleeping a little longer. As he sinks into his seat, a system notification snaps onto the screen. His sleep training test for the 5,000 magic buff just got suspended because his mana got wiped out, and it'll restart only after he recovers. The message even warns him next time, cancel the processing before this mess happens again. Alto figures it out, so the skill was working all along since Lily didn't wake him, and he immediately decides to shut it down for now. Then Alto's eyes light up because he just realized he can train even while he's asleep. He worries about what happens when the mana hits 0, but he figures it out. Mana snaps back on its own like stamina, as long as he doesn't trigger any skills. So the real catch is simple while it's healing. He can't cast a single move. Alto snaps open his status screen and freezes when he spots his overnight. His auto magic leveled up hard, his XP shot up by 80, while his auto magic sat at level 1 with 10,000 points at 100. Then his flowerless magic surged too, climbing to level 9 with 803 out of 10,000 points. He accidentally jolts Lily awake while he's buzzing over the automatic magic progress, and Lily, still half asleep, mumbles, "Wait, what's happening?" At the warehouse, the supervisor screams at Alto to push harder. Right then. Right now, Alto. Work faster. Alto fires back with all the energy in the world while he keeps right on grinding through his tasks. While Alto grinds through the work, he can't stop thinking. Waking up with automatic magic didn't magically make him stronger, not even close. He's still buried underway, more experience points than everyone else, and his skill power hasn't budged. The grind at work and the constant pressure to keep his skills razor sharp has started to drain him dry. Even in brutal conditions, Alto spots a ray of hope and grabs it like it's treasure. He keeps feeling stronger with every day, no matter where he is or what time it is. And that steady push makes it so much easier to grind, giving him the motivation he needs to keep going. Later, Alto and Lily roll into Minton, ready to tear through their shopping trip. Alto swivels his gaze around and realizes, holy crap, this small place is a giant city, as they stride through the roaring market streets side by side. After hours of shopping, Alto suddenly notice they spot they've snagged way too much, and straight up ask, "Are you sure you can even carry all this?" Lily proves her point by whipping out float magic and lifting all their purchases right off the ground. And someone nearby blurts out, "She's using magic to haul it all." Lily grins and urges them to hit the next store right now. Then Lily snaps out, "This is the final shop, no more after this." Alto blurts that they already hit a clothing store earlier, and Lily has to admit he's right. She just needs the clothes from this exact place. Lily tells Alto it'll take forever, so why not swing by that training center over there and check it out? Alto finally shrugs and admits, yep, this is just what shopping looks like. Alto blurts out, "So what kind of place is this?" And Lily snaps back, "You really don't know, because it turns out you can't just train attack-type skills anywhere you feel like." Lily tells Alto about a training center where anyone can unload low-level skills as much as they want. No property damage, no stress yet. Alto can't help thinking it has to cost a fortune because nothing is ever truly free. But the moment Lily drops the bombshell, Alto's eyes go wide because he works there, and since the guild is partnered with the place, he can walk in and not pay a single coin. Alto leans in and tells Lily, "I'm heading to the training center right now, no waiting." He strides into the Minton training center, then the second his foot hits the floor, he's stunned. This place is so packed it feels like the walls are pushing back. Right there, someone blurts, "Why is it so jammed on a day like today?" Monsters have been popping up all over Minton lately on mountain roads and even in the mines, so the whole town's in chaos and full-on panic. Someone clocks that their guild's demands have blown up too and they're drowning because they're short on hands. Another voice blurts out, "So what do we even tackle first?" Then it clicks hard. That's exactly why they dragged Alto in as their gopher in the first place. Alto decides right then and there to test every attack-type skill he's got at the training center, while he's already on site. A few hours later, Lily spots Alto and hurries up to call his name. She tells him she's wrapped with shopping, then leans in and asks what he's been up to. Alto tells them he's totally out of mana, so he's taking a breather. He's convinced that's the whole reason training's done for today. Then Alto bursts into celebration because they finally get to use the facility for free. Lily grabs him and says, "I told you so, so now you believe me." Alto can't contain his excitement over that top performance with zero cost. He's calling it the best bang for the buck, and then he turns to Lily and asks about the luggage. Lily tells him about a roaming merchant who pulls double duty with transport. So she hands the luggage over to them, and then she thanks Alto and Heiko for everything they did that day. Alto blurts that he's only tagging along and asks if Lily's really cool with it. And Lily laughs back that it's actually fun to shop and wander together. She's got to admit, Alto's been getting a little too obsessed with squeezing out the best cost performance. Lily blurts that starting tomorrow, they won't get to chat like this for a while, then she stops mid-sentence and whispers that there's more going on too. Alto snapped back, "You're right," and that settled it. In his head, he can't stop thinking how absolutely incredible everything she does is. Meanwhile, Alto can't help but think, it's Lily. Every time she yanks him forward, he becomes who he is because without her, he'd have been totally alone, and even now, he can barely force himself to keep looking up. Then Lily leans in and tells Alto there's something she's desperate to make him hear. She leans in and asks Alto if he remembers the day he told her his dream back then. She was falling apart over something tiny, and he stepped in, snapped her out of it, and told her to cheer up. Alto once told her that when life turns brutal, an ally will eventually show up to pull her out. Then he made it even bolder if nobody ever comes. He'll become her knight and ride in to rescue her, no matter what. And the story suddenly snaps into a flashback of them as kids, cuddled together under a tree. Alto blurts out, "When was this?" And Lily instantly shuts her eyes. She's 8 years old, give or take. Alto sits there thinking like, dang, this kid really stepped way ahead of himself with that kind of talk. But Lily leans in and asks if that's really the part that makes him feel embarrassed. She tells him that, back then, she didn't chase any big dreams, she just played and laughed, and that was enough. But once she spent time with Alto, something flipped, and she started craving one thing to become a knight with him. Alto leans in and tells her she's got what it takes to become a world-class knight one day, leading the whole country. then points out she's literally about to take her very first step toward making that dream real. Then Lily snaps, asking if Alto was even paying attention. She makes it crystal clear her dream is to become a knight side by side with Alto. So when she steps into the academy first, she's basically grabbing a head start and rushing toward the starting line before everyone else even lines up. Alto tells her he'll need a little time, but he'll catch up for sure. Then he begs, "Please wait for me." Lily nods and tells him she'll be waiting like the second their eyes meet. They lock in a brand new promise. Then Lily leans in and tells Alto she's got something for him, just wait. She shoves a protective accessory into his hands like it's the only thing standing between him and disaster. He's bragging that the armor's forged from the scales of the dragon that Knight crushed, so it's light, almost worry-free, and won't give him any headaches. "Alto, thank you, sir." Alto said it, right on the spot. He's never ever seen a shop stock anything like these accessories before. Lily tells them the only place around here is Minton, so they had to make a trek today. Alto suddenly realizes the entire shopping trip wasn't an accident at all. It was plotted out with surgical precision. Lily tells him it fits him perfectly and makes him look awesome, like she planned the whole thing. Then Alto thanks her, but it comes out a little awkward. Lily leans in and asks Alto if it feels amazing to get complimented on his outfit, and Alto just laughs, saying, "Yeah, it feels damn good." Then boom, half a year later, after that aptitude ceremony, Alto is thrown into a grimy, low-class dungeon. He took the job to wipe out poison rabbits, and the whole place was swarming with other low-level adventurers chasing the same grim problem. Poison rabbits wreck crops if nobody stops them, so the low-ranking adventurers get dumped with the job, but even if they beat the things, they barely earn any experience points. And that quest is basically the least wanted mission in the whole guild. Alto slings a fireball to drop one target, and honestly, for him it's perfect practice plus a little extra cash on the side. Alto's like, "Maybe I should bail soon because all that ever shows up around here is poison rabbits." He destroys his 20th target, and this time the poison stone practically falls into his hands. He snatches a quick break and checks his stats while the opening's still there. Suddenly, a game-style status screen pops up out of nowhere, flooding the scene with numbers and stats. Then it basically spells it out. Once normal magic clears a certain level, it unlocks a stronger tier of spells, and it even shows his physical enhancement numbers right there on the spot. Alto can't shake the thought that maybe it's not so special after all, but since he's already come this far, he clenches his teeth and pushes straight through all the way until level 1. A notification explodes onto his screen. Conditional activation is finally unlocked. Alto slams his fist, realizing he hit level 3 with his auto magic at last. And just like that, half a year of never shutting off his automatic magic paid off in a huge way. Alto stared at this whole conditional branching thing like, wait, if I set the conditions, does it just judge everything by itself and trigger my skill automatically? He stares at the code rules on the screen. If a poison rabbit shows up, cast the fireball end if, and starts doubting everything. So he decides to hunt for a poison rabbit just to test whether it really works. He tears through the area looking, and then without warning, an entire fireball erupts all by itself. Before Alto even notices it, a fireball rockets in and blasts the poison rabbit out of nowhere. He's totally stunned. He hasn't even spotted the poison rabbit yet, and somehow it still drops on its own, wiping the target out while he just stands there doing nothing. Alto finally grasps what this system can do. Pure chaos turned into power because once the conditions are set, it kicks on by itself and magic erupts without a single ounce of his will. Up until now, Alto could only spam his skills by hand. And even when he rode along as a porter, he was stuck throwing buffs nonstop, never actually stepping into the fight. From this moment on, if he flips it to fire a fireball the instant a poison rabbit shows up, he'll be able to hunt them on autopilot while he's still dead asleep. Because that's the real heart of automatic magic. And Alto immediately realizes what a terrible, totally wrong fit it is for someone like him. He grabs the momentum and keeps taking them down. Later, Alto bursts into a brand new location. This is the first time he's stepped into a place where people sell weapons straight off the shelves besides the stuff he makes himself. The narrator basically says there are only two kinds of guilds either. You take quests and settle them right inside your own walls, which is exactly what Alto's guild does. The other guild spreads the word everywhere, hands out quests to other adventurers or teams, and even jumps in on a few jobs when it has spare time. That's the kind of guild Alto pulled a job from this time. Alto strides up to the counter and tells the receptionist he wants to exchange them, please. The female guild receptionist just gapes at the giant mountain of poison rabbit materials, stunned, speechless, and blurts, "Is it really this many?" Then she fires the real question. Has he been hoarding all of this without exchanging it until right now? Alto blurts that he actually picked them up today and he's gotten ridiculously efficient at wiping them out while the receptionist just stares, admitting she's never heard of anyone exterminating this many in a single day. Alto shrugs and says he even scored a couple of herbs from a side quest, then leans in and asks her to take care of those two. By forcing his appraisal magic to autofire nonstop, Alto's system started pinging him about plants. Right beside him sat a numflower, and over there grew anticoagulant grass. Once he tuned it to alert him every time it sniffed out a herb, everything turned hilariously, ridiculously efficient. The receptionist snaps into total disbelief and blurts, So, you gathered herbs today too, and this many at once. She leans in to study the collection more carefully, and then bam, she spots it. This is Marigrass. They say, look, unless it's some top-tier appraisal spell, you'd have to appraise 10 times just to even spot this herb, so yeah, no offense. But at Alto's level, an adventurer couldn't possibly find it, and the receptionist is the one who confirms it herself. Alto figures it might have just been mixed in with the other materials by accident. The receptionist shrugs and calls it a coincidence just one time. An hour later, the receptionist slaps Alto's payment into his hands, and the crowd watching just stares in shock because that's several days of guild earnings earned in a single day. The receptionist leans in and tells Alto, maybe it's time to quit the guild and let gathering be your full-time job. But Alto shoots it down. He's saying, hangouts are cool, sure. Yet he's got a target in his sight, so he's walking right past. Meanwhile, deep inside a grimy, low-class dungeon, an adventurer leader roars at the top of his lungs, yelling, everyone out, let's go! Thanks to that automatic magic's smart conditional branching, they blast through gathering quests way faster than before. And don't forget the porter working for the guild matters just as much. Alto kicks off his plan, slaps on his magic skill buff, and the whole crew gets ready to tear into the dungeon run. Inside the dungeon, Alto realizes the truth. No matter he's just a porter, every monster he clears is feeding him experience. The system lays it out plainly once enhancement magic lands. It sticks for a while, so during quests, chaining multiple magic circuits to supercharge your allies racks up way more experience than buffing yourself. Alto's like, anyone can grind solo for experience, but then it hits pulling together speeds it up like crazy, and the party boost is absolutely insane. Suddenly, one of the adventurers screams, Lizard Man ahead! The adventurer rockets ahead and hurls a sapphire lance straight at the Lizard Man. Impact hits like a cannon blast. The party locks eyes, then unleashes a coordinated onslaught. Strike after strike hammers the creature out of the fight. And then boom, they praise him for pulling off the takedown. Yet another adventurer screams as he hammers the final blow and drops another enemy. One of them says the attack is spot on, and the other leans in like, yo, Alto's actually in a great mood today. But the vibe flips in an instant. Someone snaps at Alto, barking for him to stop wasting time and get over here to clean up his mess. They remind him loud and clear that it's them who let a loser like him in. And one more voice sneers that this is exactly why he's here to haul it, then scrub up the mess. After they finish the dungeon run, one adventurer blurts out that he's been feeling lighter lately, and the other just laughs, saying the whole quest went smooth as butter. Someone else chimes in that it feels amazing to finally kick back now that they're back at the guild. Then the leader waves everyone off for the day and tells them, great job, good work. He whips around to Alto, blurting out errand boy, and demands if he knows what to do. Alto fires back that he does. The adventurer snaps at him to get everything wrapped up by tomorrow gear, supplies, and even the other adventurer's stuff, just like it's always been. Just as the adventurers set off, one of them blurts, hey, let's grab a drink. But right before they leave, someone stops Alto cold and reminds him he has to inspect every magic stone with absolute care. Because if he doesn't read the appraisal results right, he won't know what kind of monster it came from. Alto shoots back, yeah, I already know that. He tells himself to check what they've cooked up today, then throws himself into work. Alto stared at the towering pile of gear and supplies left behind by every adventurer who'd worked today. You've got an insanely huge pile of stuff to sort everything from Iriutri division to the 4th Dance Shinobi art. Plus that wild Oceocean Nimia UI Fierce Knight setup tied to 4060 103 production. Then 4th Miski, Medical, Off 110, the Rise to the West and Rise to the South platforms. And dozens more flooding the inventory. Alto can't help but think, so I really do have automatic magic after all. Alto kicks off the conditional branching move he's been training for 6 months, and suddenly the whole sorting job runs on autopilot. Common stuff gets neatly categorized. Hard goods and go north items get sorted that way. Magic solution stones shoot to the east, flame demon gear goes south, and the random leftovers get appraised one by one before they're percent west, because the less he has to appraise individually, the better. Then he splits the route based on the appraisal results, locks it into a repeating loop, and rides it straight through the individual appraisals. Only then does the next part hit. He stares at the mountain of gear and supplies piled up by every adventurer who worked today, and with no automatic magic system to help him, this would have taken him a whole day. Now he's got to sit tight and wait for the sorting to finish. Meanwhile, Alto takes advantage of his downtime, cramming knowledge as efficiently as he can. In his tidy warehouse lair, stacked shelves and labeled barrels surround him as his status panel flickers. Magic Circuit 1 Auto Magic Level 10, 11,000 of 100,000 XP. Appraisal Magic Level 9, 32,500 of 90,000 XP. And Alto clenches his resolve, remembering his promise to Lily like a vow carved in steel he will never quit. For the next 2.5 years, Alto never stops training every single day while he hauls jobs for the Adventurers Guild, grinding out experience points non-stop through dungeon runs and porter work. Before he can even catch his breath, the party he's in keeps rocketing up the ranks until they're They're suddenly the guild's ace team and one adventurer can't hold back the celebration. Alto admits that now they can climb into higher dungeons, so he's fine grinding for experience points until a nasty catch rears its head. An adventurer leans in and tells Alto to have everything locked down by tomorrow then. Alto shrugs with his usual no-skill designation. While the adventurers stride off, one of them barks at him to hurry up. And even after the party levels up, Alto still gets treated exactly the same every single time. Meanwhile, he locks himself in with magic and dungeon studies day after day, bragging that he's the smartest one in the whole guild. But once you're an adventurer, it's all about strength, no exceptions. And Alto just stands alone in that hallway, staring ahead, convinced nobody ever actually hears him. Then Alto stares at the mountain of work waiting for him and snaps into gear, activating warehouse organization. Today's pact, there's so much we have to do. Doing it solo would normally take at least 10 people. But this guy's been grinding for years, stacking experience points like crazy, so his skills have leveled up to the solid, middle-of-the-pack adventurer tier. 30 minutes later, Alto suddenly gets a system ping his auto magic has leveled up. For 2.5 years, he's been firing up that skill every single day. And the moment it hit level 10, it cracked open conditional branching. Finally, his auto magic hit level 20, and there's not a single shred of experience needed for the next upgrade. Because the meter is sitting at 0 out of 10,000, a system notification flashes on Alto's screen boom, turning the multi-skill into a whole new weapon he can chain. Multi-number skill name and multi, repeating it up to 16 times. And because he's hit level 20, he can finally fire them all at once. Alto stares at the explanation, trying to make it click because up to now he couldn't fire off multiple skills at once, and now he's finally wrestling with what simultaneous activation really means. The system clicks in now that he's hit level 20. Alto can activate them all at once. Then it hits him like a punch. He might be able to stack his attack magic and unleash it in one massive blast. Alto wastes 0 time. He decides to try it immediately and heads straight for the training ground behind the guild. He steps into the open space and slams the controls. Everything activates at once. For now, it locks the machine onto 16 activations at once. Then the system unleashes multi-16 fireballs, stacking power fast and furious. Then boom, an enormous explosion detonates in the training grounds, tearing open a massive blast crater. Alto's eyes go wide as the smoke finally thins and the destruction comes into full view. That blast tore a crater so huge a whole person could have crawled inside it. And Alto just stood there, gaping in pure shock. His lame attack magic, now multiplied by 16, hits with the kind of power you'd expect from a high-level adventurer. And if he slapped an enhancement spell on top of that, the power would spike even higher because training his skill non-stop for 24 hours a day across all these years pushed his mana way past the average, and this technique proves it. He stares at his system interface, locking in the multi-16 fireball setup, and braces to fire up that exact same simultaneous activation all over again. With every blast, the training ground gets ripped apart in a storm of massive explosions, yet Alto keeps pushing his brand new power, test after test. The blasts smash the ground into massive craters and fling debris in every direction like a storm. That devastation isn't just huge, it's way past what a simple spell could ever pull off. Alto locks onto the wreckage with laser-like focus. The power is straight up unreal like a dragon's breath, exploding with force. And the moment it clicks, he can barely hold in his excitement because with power like this, he could finally become an adventurer or maybe just maybe he'd finally step into Knight Academy, because the chance to prove himself was right there within his grasp. The very next day, Alto's adventure party all gathers in one place, and their boss, blonde, spiky-haired Irasolito, steps up to the group and fires off a heartfelt thank you for showing up. He tells me that this morning the guildmaster personally summoned him, and in the last 2 years, their guild has been stacking wins non-stop, growing bigger than ever. Alto stands there, staring at the oddly cheerful leader, trying to figure out what flipped in him because this guy is usually drowning in bad mood, and the fact he's actually showing gratitude feels totally out of character. Irasolito cornered Alto, demanding the guild's next move in times like this, pressuring him for an answer while mocking him for having no skill. Alto nervously pitches the idea of boosting everyone's morale with rewards and the like, but Irasolito just lets out a heavy sigh at the answer. Then another party member jumps in, saying they should grab even more high-level help only for someone else to shut it down on the spot, insisting that bright, reckless optimism is exactly why Alto is still stuck being a porter. Irasolito flashes a grin and tells you the guildmaster just said it. This is the moment to stay razor sharp. The guild's out to make a name so loud it echoes through the whole organization, while small creatures whisper that they're too weak. And as the guild grows, more fools slip in, but this guild doesn't let incompetence survive. Suddenly, Irasolito blasts out his announcement by the captain's word. One person from every squad gets picked and forced to leave their party and the guild. No excuses, because they're kicking off a full restructuring. With that said, the party crowds into the guild hall and Alto just can't stop replaying everything he heard. And just like that, Irasolito strides in, with the rest of the party charging in right behind him, ready to crash the moment. And with one devastating blow, Alto fires the shot right as of today. Those words slammed down on him with an Alto punch, like a hit you could feel in your bones. Arasolido lays it out. Kicking out the useless ones was the guildmaster's order. Then he leans in hard, demanding to know if Alto really thinks he can ride along in an S-rank party with 0 skills. Alto scrambles to defend himself, snapping that he might lack skills, but his magic level hasn't even been growing lately. Irasolido snaps in, shuts him down cold, and tells him to keep quiet. Then Alto blurts back that he's been an adventurer for 3 whole years, acting like that should mean he's at least beginner level. Alto calls out that he might be low tier, but he still shows up and makes his impact. But Arasolido whips Alto's own words right back at him, hitting him with, "Wait, didn't you say that yourself?" Didn't Alto remind him that if they want the guild to grow, they've got to keep morale blazing? Arasolito erupts, spitting out pointless garbage. Alto drags down everyone's morale and then barks at him to get out right now. Alto bolts out of this guild building while Arasolito stands at the entrance, watching him like a storm waiting to hit. Then a hooded party member cuts in, voice low and urgent, and they're like, "Wait, Alto's been stuck doing chores for other people too," while everyone leans on his buffs, then starts asking, "Are we really sure it's okay to just let him go?" Arasolito waves it off like a joke, asking what nonsense they're even saying. And the hooded figure shoots back that chores are for anyone, so why keep a no-skill guy hanging around? Then one party member argues that if they recruit humans who have killer magic aptitude, their buffs will hit even harder right as Arasolito snaps, whirls on Alto, and screams, "Are you saying I should stock my S-rank party with people who have 0 skills?" Alto choked up mid-sentence, then stumbled into a rushed apology. Arasolito steps up to the whole crew and growls that this guild doesn't tolerate the weak, so they better remember it. Later, Alto slumps onto his bed in his tiny room, eyes locked on the ceiling like he's shattered inside. He drags his hand through his hair, crushed by defeat and fed up to the bone. Lily's pendant slid onto his chest, settling there like a steady, silent promise. Alto still remembers Lily pressing the pendant into his hands as a gift and warning him, "Don't you dare forget our promise." She grabs his attention, points at the letter, and tells him to remember it. Alto reels from the idea of a night ahead, snaps back to reality, and starts grilling himself like, "Is this really when I should be daydreaming, or do I just need to stop wallowing and move on?" But then Alto surges with fire. Yesterday's skill activation lit him up with a crushing attack spell, so he doesn't waste a second, pushes ahead, and locks in on becoming a solo adventurer. Alto barrels down the guild stairs as other adventurers bicker that almost no party would take someone with only porter experience, and that hunting for a place to fit is pointless. Then someone yells, "Hey, porter!" and Alto just plows on, ignoring them, kicking off a quest immediately because the morning was still wide open. Alto strides right up to the guild receptionist and demands to be brought into an E-rank subjugation job. The receptionist leans in and asks, "So, what brings you in today?" And Alto tells him straight up until now he's only ever accepted F-rank requests just exterminating monsters so weak they didn't even need real skills. Lily practically beams as she shoves a paper at him, and you can tell she's thrilled because this time he's really stepping up to challenge the E-rank. Then hatches a specific quest idea and pushes it like it's the only path forward. Lily tells you the hunt is for the Black Labyrinth, a dungeon that just popped up on the edge of town where the quest is stamped as B rank, but the real trouble is wild. The difficulty can swing from F all the way to E, and on the first floor, you'll only run into monsters that are strictly E rank. But the deeper he goes underground, the monster ranks climb fast. D, then C, then B, so he can't afford to slip for a second. Alto thanks her, then later stands at the dungeon entrance, grinning because his first solo quest is finally here. And he can't wait to prove how well he can hold his own right now. At the guild counter, Lily slaps the order sheet into Alto's hands, plus the bag for any dropped items, and his pay. Alto can't stop replaying his time in the S-rank party because that simultaneous activation skill he picked up, it's tailor-made for this quest, letting him smash D-rank monsters cleanly, so he steals himself, plans his next move, and decides on the spot when to push forward or fall back hard. Alto bursts up to the Black Labyrinth dungeon entrance, staring at a massive opening carved straight into the cliffside. He clocks a maze-style dungeon ahead dim map, sketchy details, and a whole swarm of monsters waiting to crush him. The top teams heading in to take down the dungeon boss don't want to get drained before they even see it. If there's too much trash mob cluttering the way, adventurers burn through their stamina long before they reach the boss. By wiping out the weak trash first, the top team storms straight to the boss, and that grindy clearing work is exactly what guys like him get stuck with. Alto slips inside and instantly realizes the place is ridiculously spacious. Every hallway is massive. For now, he blasts himself with physical enhancement 16 straight casts to power up like crazy. He spots a whole minefield of traps buried across the dungeon, But his conditional branching skill keeps scanning and screaming alerts the second danger pops up so he can breathe easy instead of accidentally setting everything off. A goblin suddenly pops up ahead right there, and it's taller than you expected. He labels it as an E-rank monster, then points out it's the perfect sparring target for beginners to cut their teeth on. He braces for the strike, then launches his multicast spell, 16 blazing fireballs exploding into the air. Alto slams the trigger and blasts all 16 fireballs at the same time, launching them in perfect unison. Their combined attack detonates with a roar, blasting the entire corridor into chaos as flames and wreckage swallow the dungeon passageway whole. When the smoke finally fades, Alto stares at the wreckage he unleashed and then realizes he might have gone a little too far. Meanwhile, Exiled blares his defense, swearing it wasn't a failure at all, he just didn't finish on time, and he lays out the reasons. But Lily calmly tells him the truth, even at its deepest, that so-called Black Labyrinth is just beer ink, and it's nowhere near as huge as they think. Exiled snaps into defense mode, yells at her, and fires back, asking if she thinks they're weak. Exiled keeps pounding the table, swearing they'll clear that dungeon tomorrow, so everyone else better back off and stay out. Then Alto barrels toward the guild counter, and Exiled clocks him. Then he snaps into mocking him, calling him a useless bastard, and demands to know why Lily would bring someone like Alto on a quest all by himself. The guild receptionist grins as Alto returns, then waves him over like, "Come here right now." When she scans his request form and spots, he pushed into the Black Labyrinth to snag an E-rank monster subjugation, and Exiled just laughed, saying it was the perfect place for someone useless. The receptionist leans in and asks if Alto wiped out the monsters, and Alto grins as he confirms, yeah, he did. It wasn't just the first floor either. Lily and the receptionist both froze, eyes wide with shock, but then Alto casually drops the real flex he even beat the boss. Suddenly, the whole guild explodes in pure shock. Someone shouts, "No way useless Alto just dropped a B-rank boss." But the dark-haired adventurer from Alto's party checks the magic stone and declares it's 100 Minotaur made, leaving Lily reeling as she realizes an F-rank adventurer pulled it off. Then Exiled lunges at Alto and grabs him hard, barking demands to find out what sneaky, underhanded tricks he's been pulling. Alto rants that he hasn't pulled a single shady move, but Exiled snaps that he's a liar and blasts that he's just incompetent, too useless to accomplish anything. Lily barrels in, screams for them to stop, and the security staff rushes in to take over. Exiled fires back, insisting he has to expose Alto's wrongdoing, so they're left warning him they'll have to ask him to leave. As Exiled is dragged out, he blurts excuses that his strength failed because he was just fighting. Then someone snaps, "Fine, we'll hear your complaints outside." Then, back at the counter, Alto shoots Lily a heartfelt thanks while she beams and congratulates him again for wiping out the boss. Then he lays it out because he hit every requirement. The guild hands him a D-rank license. Alto inspects his brand new D-rank license, eyes locked in like it just changed everything. Once he got that figured out, he realized he could dive into beer ink jobs immediately. He smugly tells himself he's basically a rank power level until Lily pops in from behind, cutting in with the rules, and even then she's sure he'll be cleared soon enough. Later, Alto slides into a seat across from Lily, murmuring thanks with real sincerity because it hits him. Right then he beat that boss with his own power, step by step. And for the first time in his life, someone actually recognizes what he can do. Now he feels it. He's finally closing in on becoming a real knight. Meanwhile, in a forest clearing, Alto's out. He was out there drilling his projectile control non-stop, like his life depended on it. One of his strikes rockets through the woods, but it whiffs hard, missing the target completely. Alto stares at his latest results and snaps, "Missed again." Then realizes that starting around the 7th projectile, his control totally falls apart. So Alto keeps digging into his performance, tearing it apart piece by piece, and admits that yesterday's solo quest exposed a mountain of problems. Now he has to spot every challenge and fix every weak spot if he wants to level up faster. He rips through his plan and realizes this: if they hit him from every angle, he can flip into simultaneous activation for a massive surge, so he splits the items and unleashes multiple attacks all at once. But listen, his mind's diagrams scream the truth. The more skills he fires off at once, the tighter control slips, and their paths turn wild fast. After all that training, he still can only juggle 16 projectiles at most, but at least he's finally got 5 or 6 trajectories under control, and Alto decides that's good enough for now. Then he glances at the clock and realizes right around now the Quest Introduction Guild is about to open. Alto storms into the Quest Introduction Guild, ready to dive straight into whatever comes next. And then the staff member leans in and tells you right now, there are 3 options available for solo beer and quests. One of them is a dungeon that was cleared once already, but it's still crawling with monsters, so it's basically an extermination job, and Alto begs to be the one to take the dungeon in the mine. The blonde guild receptionist stamps his request and tells him the task is massive. Then she grants him a 2-day extermination permit. And now he's free to grab any spoils of war he wants. Alto, thanks, sir. As Alto turned his back on the guild, his mind started sprinting because before this, no matter how much he grabbed with auto magic, he still had to split every last item with the entire party. Now that he can wipe out a B-rank boss by himself with 0 trouble, He's ready to grab everything and lock up all the items. Meanwhile, Lily stands at the guild doors, waving like a cheerleader, shouting good luck, and begging Fortune to smile on him while Alto throws his announcement and says he's heading out. An hour later, Alto finally barrels up to the Achille mine standing there. That huge cave mouth gaping in the hillside, swallowed by wild green vegetation. Alto steps into the dark tunnel, his magic faintly lighting his body. Then the cold hits harder than he expected, and he's instantly grateful he grabbed his jacket. Deep in the Achilles mine, Alto tightens his search plan because it's a mine. He assumes they're talking about magic stones, and there's no way they're moving anything bulky or heavy. So he decides the target has to be those rare treasures you only find underground. Alto can't stop thinking about that one book he read once, where they talked about a rare kind of magic stone. As he pushes deeper into the icy tunnel, a brutal troll suddenly slams into his path, its disgusting face taking over the whole passage. These B-rank monsters are dumb as rocks, but their stamina and raw power are insane. So most adventurers get wiped out fast, and with their terrifying aggression, they're basically pure danger. But Alto doesn't even pause. He slams Fireball ×8, then launches forward with pure firepower. He unleashes a brutal barrage straight at the troll. Magic projectiles streak through the air and crash into it. He slammed into the creature with a blast of raw, explosive force. The troll takes the full hit as the barrage slams in from every side, and the dark mine tunnel erupts with every impact. Alto laughs off the kill like it's nothing, yanks the troll stone from the fallen monster, and boom, an instant system alert flashes. He's just uncovered a magic gemstone. Alto whips his gaze around the area, hunting for it. After a tense stretch of searching, he spots a flash of light glinting from a hole in the mine wall. Alto reached for the glowing gemstone, stared at the rare mono-shining stone like it might be worth a fortune, and wondered what it could fetch since he sorted everything himself. But an executive handled the payouts. He'd never know the exact price. Then, boom, another system ping hits, and this time it's a Dragon Eye stone he's just discovered. As Alto pushes deeper into the dungeon, notifications slam onto his screen non-stop, one after another, with every single step. And now he can't stop thinking this. B-rank dungeon is wildly more fun than he ever expected. Later on, Alto bursts back to the Quest Introduction Guild right as the story's heat kicks up. The female receptionist greets him back with wide eyes. Shocked he's here so fast, then she reminds him his hunting permit was only for 2 days and demands what happened. Alto blurts out that he was praying to cash out today's haul first because he somehow snagged way more stuff than expected. And when he turns to Lily and offers to split it with her, her whole face goes stunned. "You mean half of your entire haul?" But she forces a smile, trying to act like she's just happy for him. Then Lily finally checks what Alto dragged back and totally freaks out. She scrambles to spot a magic Chimmerstone and a Dragonstone in the pile, hands shaking as shock hits her like lightning, because every single item here is insanely valuable. And the bag is crammed to the brim with rare gemstones. Lily stares at Alto in total shock, demanding to know if he really did all of this by himself. Alto just casually drops the bombshell that scouting has always been his strong suit. Lily's dead serious Alto has to join a gathering guild right now, but before she can push that button, she needs to appraise every single one of them up close, in detail. As soon as the appraisal ends, Lily thrusts the result into Alto's hands, 10 shiny gold coins. Alto's jaw hit the floor when he saw just how much he'd raked in from one single dungeon run, totally stunned. Lily stares at what Alto dragged back and she can't even process it. Getting this much from a B-rank dungeon is wild enough to feel unreal. On the wall, the map marks shadow monsters, and those things are so brutal that you normally need 10 people just to stand a chance. Meanwhile, Alto locks eyes on the 10 gold coins, and you can practically see the number crashing through his mind. Lily presses him on how strong he really is, and Alto admits he's even shocked by what he pulled off. Later outside, Alto and Lily lean into his future, and that entrance fee from the Knight Academy keeps hanging over everything. Alto admits it's still a problem, and Lily hits him with the truth. So many people have the talent, but they crumble before the tuition bill. Alto shrugs and thinks, if I can eat, then I'm good. Why bother with all these fancy windows? He's never chased more than he needs or fought to earn much, but now things hit different. Then the warehouse supervisor shuts that idea down hard, making it clear he's got zero money to cover Alto's tuition, while Alto just sits there spiraling over his own plans, slowly stacking savings through collection quests over time. At the Knight Academy, you mostly see students from noble bloodlines, pure pedigree left and right, while special cases like Alto stand out as the rare exception. Because a huge 80 of the academy comes straight from noble families, after that fresh dungeon run, Alto realizes he can stack up the tuition fast, like in no time at all. The very next day, Alto bursts back in, firing on all cylinders, ready to tear into his next run. He crams his backpack full again, then figures it's time to head back for now. Strolling through the mine, Alto spots his XP gain efficiency has skyrocketed compared to before, and now he's pacing, thinking, what quest do I grab starting tomorrow? Suddenly, a bone-chilling roar slams through the mine like a warning from hell. Someone screams, "Go check it out!" And Alto freezes in shock, blurting, "What was that?" Then another voice snaps back. It wasn't any ordinary scream. Then Alto bursts into a sprint straight toward the source of that terrifying noise. Alto barrels through the mine, shouting that the sound has to be right around here. Then it hits him. There's a colossal dragon blocking the passage ahead. Alto spots a victim pinned under the dragon, and the moment he realizes it, panic crashes in because they're in instant, deadly danger. He hits physical buff times 16 on the spot, no hesitation, zero doubt. He charges like a missile, then smashes straight into the dragon harder than ever. The creature shrieks the second the hit lands, and Alto keeps throwing himself at that dragon, fighting like there's no tomorrow when suddenly someone in his head screams, "Why the hell is there a dragon in a place like this?" A massive creature takes over the whole passage. Its scaled body jams the tunnel tight as Alto keeps hammering the attack. A blonde woman with a ribbon in her hair drops to her knees beside him, tears pouring down her face as she begs, "Please tell me you're alive." Alto finally shows up and checks on them, and the woman can barely get words out. She's trembling hard from everything that just went down. Alto quickly checks the unconscious man and realizes it's Mike. Then he leans in and tells the woman if she wants to slip away with Mike, she'd better do it right now because a voice suddenly cries out Mike's name and the alarm blares. At the same time, Alto snaps that he'll try to do something about the dragon. Alto spots two civilians in danger and bolts in, drawing the dragon's focus with a scream so it can't reach them. Then Alto rockets toward the creature, blaring taunts at the top of his lungs, calling it a giant oaf, and declaring right there that he's the dragon's opponent. Then the dragon starts gearing up for something absolutely devastating. Alto spots it's dragon breath. Panic flashes across his face, and he realizes there's still nowhere near safety. The dragon blasts an earth-shaking burst of energy, and the entire mine passage lights up like it's getting crushed from the inside. A dragon's breath crashes into the mine with a brutal roar, and Alto instantly feels it sure. It hits hard. But the real nightmare is the heat wave that explodes on contact, blasting outward from the impact point and hurling people and rubble in every direction. Someone realizes if this keeps going, the people from before are going to get killed. Alto slams physical buff times 16 back into action, stacking every enhancement boost as he rockets himself through the air and cutting through the sky at a turbocharged pace. Then, boom, the dragon's counterattack slams Alto to the ground, hard. Alto refuses to quit and keeps yanking the monster's attention, shouting for it to chase him, while the dragon's breath detonates through the mine tunnel with brutal force. But Alto suddenly clicks, maybe being up in the air is the only thing saving him from the full heat wave because he only takes it when he's airborne. And if the same blast hits everyone on the ground, the death toll would be terrifying. Picking it up and tossing it into the air is way better than letting it crawl along the ground while everyone else watches. Then Alto snaps into action, firing off Ice Needle times 16 non-stop in a continuous barrage. Suddenly, a brutal barrage of ice projectiles erupts toward the dragon, turning the sky into a storm of frozen spears. Ice needles slam into the dragon's breath, detonating in a thunderous explosion of white-hot fury. Down below, someone spots the explosion erupting, and the blonde woman jolts, screaming a warning as the blast hits. When they collide, a brutal shockwave bursts out and ice explodes outward in a perfect circle, spreading fast in every direction. Alto roars with pure victory, shouting that he actually managed to shut down the dragon's breath attack. He leans in, orders the dragon to make its next move, and then slams down an ice wall every 16 moments, back to back. Huge slabs of ice slam into place between him and the dragon, sealing off a shield as the beast stays buried in smoke and rubble. Someone's eyes widen, an entire wall of ice just pops into existence out of nowhere. Meanwhile, the blonde woman is still shielding unconscious Mike when a sudden thought hits, could this magic be his work? Then it all clicks, the dragon's breath doesn't send off that heat wave anymore. In the mine, an ice wall shoots up like a fortress, guarding them from where the dragon is. Alto stares at the weird truth, some dragons loitering in these borderlands, and it's seriously unheard of. The dragons sprawled on the ground, wrecked by Alto's onslaught, ice shards crawling over their bodies, debris everywhere. And then someone nearby muttered that somehow they actually won the fight. Meanwhile, Alto stood in the wrecked mine, staring at the chaos and replaying it all in his head because a dragon showing up only an hour from town was something nobody had ever seen before. He sits there, stunned. An S-rank monster is practically a myth, even for a dungeon boss. And he only managed to knock it down because ice and water magic happened to be his secret weapon. Then it finally clicks, those same people from earlier are standing right in front of him, and he snaps around to check on them. Alto bolts over and finds the male guard and the blonde woman kneeling there, tending to Mike. Alto lies there, still knocked out on the ground, and the guard starts yelling, asking if he's all right, while the blonde woman rushes in, calling his name. Alto yanks out a potion on the spot and blurts that it's ready to go, because as a solo adventurer, dying from ailments is his worst nightmare. Then he hands it over. Mike shoots out an apology, admitting the paralysis is still messing with his body. The whole group exhales in pure relief, and the blonde woman grins warmly at the outcoming rescue. Alto keeps thanking him non-stop, and she blurts out that for a second, she genuinely had no clue what was about to happen. Alto can't help but blush, her gratitude catching her off guard. The male guard slumps his head in shame, firing off non-stop apologies because he completely botched his job as their guard. Then the blonde woman snaps at him to lift his head, shutting him down hard as he keeps arguing back. Then the woman snaps in, no one could be seen a dragon show up in a place like this? And there was no way they'd be betrayed by one of their own. She cranes her neck toward Alto in the distance and lets out a breath of relief because this guy actually had the decency to come save them. The blonde woman whips around to Alto, calls him her savior, and pours out heartfelt thanks for ripping them out of death. Alto freezes up nervous jitters, awkward posture, and zero confidence. He sticks to the basics and introduces himself as Alto. Then Charlotte smiles and tells him her name, saying she hopes they'll get to know each other while Alto's mind gets totally hijacked by how graceful she is. Like she's nothing less than a living doll. Charlotte asks if she can thank him later and blurts out which guild he's in, yet right as Alto starts to answer, Charlotte shoots him an apologetic look and yells that they've got to sprint back to town right now. Charlotte leans in and demands Alto's usual guild name, but Alto balks and snaps back that she doesn't have to thank him. He's just a lowly freelance adventurer. He lets the truth slip. This quest is actually going to the White Lancers, a referral guild. The male guard snaps that he recognizes the place and tells them to leave the area right now. The crew gets ready to launch, and the guard bursts out an apology for all the chaos before slipping away. Meanwhile, Charlotte grabs Alto's attention, swears she'll pay him back for this, and hits him with that warm, glowing smile like it's a promise. Alto just stares as they vanish, totally baffled, like, what the hell was that supposed to mean? A few days later at the White Lancers, the warehouse supervisor slams into Alto and barks at him to move, and Alto almost trips from the sheer force. The supervisor snaps into a furious rant, demanding to know whose fault it is that he's stuck organizing the warehouse. And then he makes his Alto's leaving triggered a labor shortage, so they got hit with all the work he'd been doing at once. The supervisor keeps screaming that even just seeing Alto makes his blood boil. Meanwhile, back at the White Lancers Guild, Irisalito strides up to the desk and fires, "What's the toughest quest you've got right now?" The staff shoots back, "How about clearing a beer-ranked dungeon?" But Irisalito slams the brakes instantly, barking that this won't cut it, and they need a massive win right now. He demands to know if any A-rank quests are on the table because Irisalito's party has been getting crushed lately, stacking up failed quests for days. And the guildmaster's trust in them has hit rock bottom. Guild staff shut him down and tell him there's 0 A-rank work right now, and it just sends Irisalito over the edge. He snaps that they're useless and threatens to go hunt for jobs somewhere else. Then right on cue, a sharp-looking royal official in glasses and formal clothes marches into the guild, bringing a whole group with him. Someone calls him out for having the nerve to show up again after all those recent failures. The guild receptionist greets them with a bright welcome. The official steps forward and says he's here to beg that certain man for a mission. Then Alto spots the emblem on the guy's chest, and his blood runs cold because he realizes he's a real royal official. The official snaps that this is a nomination order, then points him straight at a brutal, high-difficulty quest to test whether the nominee is truly exam-ready. Alto goes completely wide-eyed in total shock, and Irisalito can't hide his stunned surprise either. The official keeps pushing forward, saying, "Normally, only students from the Royal Knight Academy can take the Knight Selection exam, but this time's different. Outsiders can sit for it if the royal court hands them a recommendation." The court hands out these brutal, high-rank quests only to people with real potential, like they're judging worthiness with every step, and Alto can't stop thinking, "I've heard the rumors, but I never believed it was real." And yeah, that chance hits him hard, sparking straight-up jealousy. Then the official steps up and introduces himself, Lido. Suddenly, Irisalito bursts with excitement, convinced his exploits have finally landed in the royal court, and this is his once-in-a-lifetime shot to claw back his honor. Lily and Irisalito stood there, stunned and tight with nerves, waiting to find out who the nomination was for. Then Lido fires straight at Alto, insisting, "You're the real Alto, no question," and points out it's crazy how perfect this all lines up because Alto looks exactly like they warned him he would. Alto blurts out, utterly confused, like his brain just hit a wall. But Irisalito snaps completely, shouting at Lido to wait because he absolutely can't process it, and he demands, "Wait, so what about Alto?" He screams that Alto is a total zero and incompetent loser, then whips around and demands if Lido even knows the name Arasso. Lido shoots back that people already say Arasso is the one closest to becoming a royal knight right now. Lido shoots back cold and flat, "Never heard of Arasso." And Arasso is hit with that reply like a wrecking ball totally crushed. Meanwhile, Leto tells Alto that the princess wants him to become her knight, then asks straight up if he'll accept the role only for Alto to press, "Do you mean the real princess?" Leto nods and hits him again, asking whether he's saying yes. Alto asks, "So, if I finish this quest, can I finally join the knight selection exam?" Leto admits it'll be brutal hard, but if Alto pulls it off, he'll earn the chance to challenge the exam for royal guards right there with the third years from the Knight Academy. Then Irisalito freezes in total shock when Lily abruptly thrusts up her hand and begs to join the quest. She pleads with Lido to let her take it. The whole scene erupts in chaos as a dozen people start shouting objections. One guy swears there's been some kind of mistake, claiming Alto is a certified no-skill and there's no way he could ever become a knight. Arasalito goes for one last desperate gamble, swears on his grit and the fact he once led an S-rank party and demands they pick him. Leto coldly presses, "Are you ready for what comes next for daring to challenge the princess's words?" Leto breaks down the whole situation calmly. It's unheard of, this court's backing a total nobody, and the princess can already feel the backlash coming. So before the quest even starts, she'll make Lord Alto prove himself in front of everyone with an exam or a duel. And someone even points out that if they spot the power hidden in that duel, then a pass through the selection exam could actually be on the table. Alto tells himself that this plan would make it tough for anyone to fight back, and once they see the results, most people will fold. Leto leans in and asks if this setup works for Lord Alto. And Alto fires back with a confident nod, "Yeah, it sounds solid to me." Arasalito pounces on the moment, saying he's genuinely thankful for the whole setup and that he, Araso, is going to lay his entire heart into this duel. Then Leto slams the news tomorrow. The two of them will clash in a duel inside the Royal Palace arena. Alto's mind spins as he scrambles to catch up. Everything hits at lightning speed, and he can barely keep pace, but he locks onto it anyway. This is his shot, no matter how bad the conditions get, and he's determined to push straight through. Arasa. Leto nods along with pure excitement, then Leto drops the bombshell that the princess is coming too. So they'd better hustle and not miss a single second. Meanwhile, at the Night Order headquarters, the security team started ramping up their defenses like their lives depended on it. Then it all went down for the public duel, settled on shockingly short notice. A fierce female knight lines up the officers and lays out the plan because the knight selection exam is turning heads across the whole city, and whispers about some mystery adventurer are already crawling through every corner of the capital. Officials huddled over the security threat. Every extra person meant more eyes on the scene, and a bigger opening for dangerous people to slip into the crowd. The braided hair knight snaps, insisting they plan for every wild scenario and make sure everything is dead on perfect. The briefing keeps rolling as someone fires off orders to the squad leaders: lock in your positions, button up every detail, and don't leave a question hanging by the end of the day. This is a mission that has to keep the citizens and the princess safe at the same time. Then a male knight steps up in front of the assembled forces, declaring this is a full-blown emergency and demanding they all give everything they've got. After that, he sends them back to their duties. No hesitation. The knights shoot back a disciplined nod, instantly acknowledging the command. While that's happening, a document about Alto is getting scrutinized page by page, and the princess strides down the palace corridor, her footsteps snapping echoes through the hallway. The princess studies the document on Alto, eyes widening at his staggering accomplishments, and she can't help but think, Alto really is incredible. But that hit her like a punch. She thought she'd already reached the starting line, yet right now she's nowhere near strong enough to take down an A-rank monster by herself. She stares at the document, determination blazing in her chest, and swears she'll train even harder so she can stand right beside him. The Royal Palace arena is jam-packed, every seat swallowed by roaring spectators, and the whole crowd is vibrating with pure, breathless anticipation. Then the announcer steps up and breaks the silence, thanking everyone for their patience and making the crowd feel seen. And he declares, "All right, this is it, time for the main event." Then he announces the Knight Selection Exam nominees and the opponents they'll face. The announcer keeps rolling, right as he kicks things off with the spotlight pick Alto. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Alto slumps on a bench while Leto paces right beside him. Leto tells Alto, "I can't wait to see what my real strength looks like today." But Alto's nerves hit hard, his fear is written all over his face. Alto's mind is on fire as the pressure keeps climbing because he knows one duel is about to flip his entire life upside down. He tells himself this isn't like a normal fight. He can just flex what he trained and call it a day, yet the tension keeps climbing when Alto starts to get nervous. Then his determination locks in like steel. He's dead certain he can't afford to lose, not even for a second. On the stairs to the arena, Arasalito spots Alto and starts needling him, saying he thought Alto would bolt in terror, but nope, he actually came. And then Arasalito smirks, praising him in a condescending tone for having the nerve to show up at all. Right there in the area, you've got the guildmaster and the rest of the party watching closely. Someone says, if Alto can beat Arasalito, he'll finally unlock the quest you need for the Knight Selection Exam. Arasalito strides up to the guildmaster and boldly swears he'll become a knight and raise the guild's honor, and the guildmaster leans in like, "Good, I'm counting on you, Arasalito." Then one of Arasalito's crew spots Alto instantly, and then it clicks, he's that no-skill guy they kicked out of the guild, and one teammate even blinks like, is this really all it takes? Because all they have to do is wipe this dude. Arasalito's party member blasts out that this is an instant kill, and Arasalito nods along with a smug, confident grin. The guildmaster and Arasalito burst into laughter, already savoring how they're about to wipe Alto out with zero effort. Leto turns to both Alto and Arasalito and says, "All right, now I'm going to lay out the rules." He lays out the rules with zero wiggle room win by cracking the opponent's barrier, or landing even the tiniest hit, and the moment it happens, no more attacks are allowed. Knights are stationed inside the venue too, so if anyone gets hurt, they'll patch them up fast with healing magic. Alto leans in, eyes locked as he digests every rule like it's his next mission, and then Arasalito shrugs and tells him, "Go ahead, show me your full power, that's all I wanted to say." Alto fires back that as long as it stays within the rules, he sees no reason to hold back. The crew straps in and gets ready to storm straight for the arena, and just like that, Leto calls out, "All right, time to roll." Alto strides ahead with raw determination, side by side with Arasalito and the officials. Chasing the clock, he barreled straight for the arena entrance. Meanwhile, the announcer rips the mic to life, thanks the crowd for their patience, and blasts, "The duelists are here." Arasalito and Alto stride out into the arena as the stands explode with roaring cheers. The announcer booms that the public duel is about to begin over the court's pick for the knight selection exam, and the formal objection that's challenging it. Two fierce opponents square off in the middle of the massive arena right in the spotlight. Between them stands the referee, a knight named Butts, and he steps up to introduce himself, then asks if they've got the rules down. Alto and Arasalito lock eyes and both snap back, "Got it." Arasalito grins and swears he'll drop Alto with a single hit, then kicks off the fight. Butts fires off the signal and loudly declares the duel has officially begun. Arasalito barrels forward without hesitation, charging straight at a top-tier skill, then he slams his palm down and unleashes Dragon Breath, roaring out a massive magical blast. Alto clocks the technique instantly, then remembers. He just got blasted by real Dragon Breath in that mine. Arasalito's spell barrels straight at him, so Alto snaps his hand up and blasts it back with Fireball. Arasalito fires off cruel taunts for that weak little spell, laughing like Alto has zero chance of beating him with something like that. Then the magic collides right in the heart of the arena, and the crowd instantly gasps in pure shock at just how massive Alto's fireball is. Like, how in the world could some basic spell blow up that huge? Two magical blasts slammed into each other with earth-shaking power, and Alto thrusts his fireball straight ahead like a blazing missile, straight through Arasalito's Dragon Breath with no pause, no mercy. The impact blasted through the air, smashing reality and sending out massive energy waves that kept rolling. A shockwave rippled across the entire arena floor. Then the impact detonates into a brutal explosion, shaking the entire arena to its core. From the impact point, rippling shockwaves blast outward as the explosion swallows the center in sheer, crushing force and right in the crowd. Someone snaps into total disbelief as they watch it all unfold. Arasalito shrieks that it's hopeless, but Alto's fireball slams through his Dragon Breath and buries it completely. A colossal explosion rips through the whole arena, swallowing Arasalito in flames and shockwaves while Alto stands across the way, totally unscathed. Somebody in the crowd bursts into a scream of pure shock at what they just witnessed. The dust finally clears and Arasalito crumples to the ground, totally crushed, fully defeated. The whole crowd explodes in pure disbelief, like their brains just short-circuited from what they're seeing. The referee shoots his hand up and roars, "And the winner is Alto!" And the crowd can barely breathe, stunned that Alto is standing tall in the middle of the arena, victorious. Arasalito slumps there in total shock, stunned by defeat, and he can't stop replaying it. How the hell did he get beaten by that useless no-skill bastard? Then an official steps up to Alto and blurts that his power really is just like the rumors prove he's truly worthy to become a knight, and Alto shoots back a quick thank you. Meanwhile, down below, Charlotte jolts at a sudden realization about Alto's. It hits you like the voice of the man who saved her the other day then. Softly, she whispers his name. Princess Charlotte strides up to Alto, eyes shining with gratitude, and pours out heartfelt thanks for everything he did for her the other day. Alto freezes in total shock, then blurts out, all flustered, that she's a princess. Charlotte shoots him an apology for the delay, then drops the bombshell she's Princess Charlotte of the Kingdom of Lawrence. She leans in and tells him, "If it weren't for you, I'd be dead by now," and hands him her absolute, heartfelt gratitude. Meanwhile, the guildmaster explodes into a furious yell, demanding, "What is the meaning of this?" And the guy standing right there shoots back, "I don't have a clue either." Charlotte tells Alto, "I've seen your power again." And she's basically saying, "Yeah, you really do have the strength a knight is meant to carry." Then a male royal steps up and says, "The whole royal family would love nothing more than to put Alto forward for the audition exam at the Royal Knight Academy." Charlotte keeps talking, but the deal is nasty. He has to earn that recommendation first because even the royal family can't just hand one out to anybody. Alto must finish a quest before they'll back him. Charlotte asks him to add that he'll get paid too. So the reward for finishing the quest is on the table. Alto shoots back right away, saying it'd be an absolute honor. Charlotte tells Alto, "I'll reach out to you properly later," and then hits him with the real truth. She genuinely wants him to become a knight. They lock into a handshake. Charlotte fires, saying she expects big things from him, and Alto bows his head and thanks her. His face lit up with real gratitude and pure determination. But the guildmaster is absolutely livid, screaming at Arasalito that it all comes down to him getting crushed by some nobody, and he's still fuming that he too was left humiliated. Rage surged as he tore into Arasalito for messing up a B-rank dungeon. sinking their guild's prestige to rock bottom and bringing down the royal family's wrath, so all Aristoleto can do is beg and apologize over and over. The guildmaster coldly says that, under normal rules, he'd fire Aristoleto on the spot right this instant. Aristoleto freaks out, begs for mercy, anything at all while getting fired anyway. The guildmaster booms that Aristoleto gets one final shot, one last chance, or it's over. He told them that their guild's survival is on the line and there's no way he can let it fall apart, because if this keeps going, Aristoleto will lose his whole adventurer career without even realizing it. Aristoleto blurts out, panicked, "What chance are you even giving me?" And then the guildmaster's scheme clicks. He snaps orders for Aristoleto to rig it, so that clueless fool, Alto, stumbles into the exact blunder they need. He figures the princess can trash Alto's abilities all she wants, but no skill. There's no way he could have pulled off a stunt like beating Aristoleto in a duel. The guildmaster straight up says it makes perfect sense to suspect foul play because if they can prove Alto is truly incompetent, it'll confirm they were right from the very start. Aristoleto erupts with excitement, proclaiming, "Just like I knew the guildmaster would do exactly this." Then the guildmaster snaps with a harsh warning, "Failure won't be tolerated again." Aristoleto fires back with pure confidence, saying he'll make sure that imposter's disguise gets ripped off for good. The next day, Aristoleto and his party burst up to a cave entrance. Then one of them swallows hard and blurts out, "Is this really where that infamous S-rank boss is sealed?" Aristoleto hurries in to reassure them, no need to go swinging at monsters for real. Then he drops the truth as an S-rank party. They might be the ones who end up taking down the boss sealed right here. But right now, they're on a full-on scouting mission, case the area, spot the clues, and move in. The whole party huddles side by side, eyes locked on that ominous cave mouth. Then the truth about Aristoleto finally bursts out. He paid a staggering amount to a court official just to track down what quest Alto is being sent on, convinced that even if Alto cheats his way through anything, he still won't stand a chance against an S-rank boss. And if everything clicks, Aristoleto won't just scare him off, he'll erase Alto as a nuisance for good. Aristoleto flashes a wicked grin, dead set on making Alto fail no matter what it takes. Aristoleto storms the cave system, shouting for everyone to move as the party slips in behind him. Hours later, they finally push through the dungeon's depths and reach the sealed chamber hidden deep inside. Right in front of the seal, Aristoleto feels something dark pressing in. Something is very, very wrong. A cold, sinister aura pours off that sealed boss, and his whole body starts buzzing with dread. One party member grumbles that they've got zero clue how many high-grade potions they've gulped just to reach this point, rattling off S-rank potions and high-grade healing cures one by one. Then their nerves start to wobble, and they complain about getting cold feet. Aristoleto barks orders to his team, break the seal, snatch the talisman, and don't look back. One of the female party members snaps back, yelling that this is an S-rank boss seal and that they were only sent out to scout, not to get wrecked here. Aristoleto snaps at them to shut up and move, barking that if they snatch the talisman and bolt right now, everything's fine, miss this moment, and he'll have every single one of them fired on the spot. The female party member snaps, screaming at them to grab the talisman right now. Aristoleto erupts in a triumphant shout, "I did it!" Suddenly, the seal explodes, cracking apart in a thunderous burst of pure, overwhelming energy. Up on the ridge, the party stared in shock as the talisman cracked and splintered to pieces right before their eyes. The seal finally gives way, blowing apart in a massive blast of raw, unstoppable power, and the party members scatter in pure panic as massive energy erupts into the air. Aristoleto shrieks in terror, racing away from the seal as it shatters. Then a voice rolls through the chamber, declaring itself the rank S boss. The female party member yells for everyone to run right now while she slams physical buffs onto the team. Meanwhile, Aristoleto's face contorts into a cruel, dark grin as he realizes this is it. Alto's story ends here. The party tears down the dungeon hallways, and one member shouts, "Hold up, wait for the captain!" A few days later, Alto gets his quest briefing. Then the knights step in, introduce the two companions who'll tag along, and lay out the plan for how he'll be evaluated. The royal family tosses you a mind-type dungeon mission, pure madness, and the difficulty is off the charts. Every step forward throws you into beer ank monsters or higher, and the cherry on top, the boss is an S-class monster. But listen, this dungeon's got a past long ago. Adventurers stormed in to take down the boss, but its insane vitality turned the battle into a never-ending grind. Since nobody had landed real damage yet, they threw in the towel, sealed the boss away, and it's been trapped there ever since, locked up for years. The knights tell Alto, "Don't fixate on beating the boss. This job is all about grabbing the treasure chest sitting in the boss room." And to make sure he's never alone, two knights ride along with him because the boss is sealed up tight, so he won't even cross paths with it. Alto studies the quest documents like they're the last clue to unlock everything. He double-checked every prep step and made sure his auto-magic settings were locked in and ready to go, and his potions are fully stocked. Now Alto stands right at the dungeon entrance, staring down a notorious boss, about to take his knight selection exam on a brutal high difficulty quest. Alto's blazing with confidence, declaring he'll beat this quest no matter what. Then he strides right into the ominous dungeon entrance, ready to prove he's the real deal. Alto barrels through the dungeon's deepest corridors, hacking down monsters with laser-precise strikes. As he shoves deeper into the black, the creatures crumple and fall before him. Then, out of nowhere, a whole cluster of glowing eyes flickers into view ahead, staring from the shadows like they've been waiting. Alto thrusts the ornate treasure item into the air, grinning like he just won everything. The quest objective was locked in. The female knight goes on praising his instincts, straight up admitting she really believed it was over the second that S-rank alert screamed off. Meanwhile, the male knight admits he never thought they'd sweep through the dungeon that smoothly. Then he admits he's got more to learn and gratefully tells Alto he truly couldn't have done it without him. The whole crew banded together, turned around, and smashed through the brutal high-difficulty quest successfully, no doubt. They burst out of the dungeon entrance and race back into town. Alto drops onto the steps, finally breathing out in relief everything went through clean, and that's huge because this quest was handed down by the royal family themselves. One of the knights finally cracks and admits he's utterly wiped out. As the two knights stretch out and celebrate, they praise Alto's power and light up about how they just cleared the quest together as a team. Alto's thoughts drift straight back to his childhood friend Lily. She's already slipped to the starting line, one step ahead of him. She's already ranked first in her class at the Royal Knights Academy, meaning she's been grinding her blade skills through non-stop sparring with the toughest high-level fighters there. And she even seized her shot to challenge the Academy's selection exam. Meanwhile, Alto has been grinding experience points for 3 straight years ever since they branded him with 0 skills and 0 magic talent so hard that he racks up progress even while he's asleep. Alto realizes maybe, just maybe, this is his shot to finally reel in Lily if he can just survive that selection exam. He sits in deep meditation, staring at his own hands, swearing that even after being mocked for having no skill, he'll still claw his way into becoming a knight. Alto clenched his fists, poured auto magic into a spell, and swore he'd grind harder than ever for the exams. Then he decided to hunt down some food first. Just as he strides through town, a massive crowd suddenly swarms in from nowhere, and the whole place erupts around him in chaos. Alto freezes on the spot while chaos explodes all around him. Out in the crowd, somebody screams, "Run!" And right in the middle, that blonde, spiky-haired guy roars back that the boss has already dropped in from the mine. Alto's jaw drops because what he's seeing is unreal. Panic erupts, people blurt, "Wait, you're serious? Do we have to run?" Then someone drops the truth. This is the thing even a whole squad of A-rank adventurers couldn't take down. The blonde guy jabs his finger and growls that the boss is down that way, and Alto suddenly realizes this whole thing has totally spiraled out of control. As Alto bolts the other way, everyone scatters in every direction because he's sure the mine-type dungeon he just hit is straight down this road. Just outside town, they've got to face the boss right now and put as much distance as they can between themselves and the city. But then Alto slams face first into the next terrifying threat. A colossal dragon zombie tears through the air and shambles right up to him. Its undead form rose tall and terrifying, looming like a nightmare. The dragon zombie keeps regenerating again and again, even while a non-stop barrage of attacks crashes into it. Someone screams orders mid-battle, and another adventurer suddenly realizes it doesn't matter how hard they swing. No matter the damage, the creature just keeps patching itself up, untouched, like every hit never even landed. As soon as someone spots it inching ahead slow, steady, and getting worse, the whole situation spirals fast. The blonde adventurer clocks it in an instant. No matter how many top-tier adventurers are packed in this place, it still isn't even close to enough. At this pace, that dragon zombie is going to crash straight into the city. Alto sprints across the elevated walkway, his thoughts screaming about everyone still trapped back in the city. Then he hurls a fireball times 16. The massive spell slammed into the dragon zombie, unleashing a devastating force. It turned and forced obliteration straight through its head. Alto spots the outcome and can't help thinking, I blew its head clean off, so that's got to be the end of it, right? Then boom, someone yells that the creature is regenerating at a terrifying speed. Meanwhile, the Knight Commander of Security barrels onto the scene. A goateed knight surveys the chaos and instantly clocks it. This is a total disaster. No questions needed. He demands to know what's going on and spots Alto, clocking that guy as the big shot the guards were talking about earlier. A knight screams at Alto that their attacks are flat out useless, and then someone else snaps back regeneration is the dragon zombie's whole specialty, and that's exactly why it's ranked S-class. Scholars swear there are 7 deadly cores buried in its torso. Destroy them all at the exact same moment, or it won't go down. Then the real problem clicks into place using 4 circuits. Someone can hold a barrier up and still fire off 3 attacks at the exact same time, and the magic circuit diagrams spell out that brutal limit. The blonde knight stares at it, and the truth hits there's no way that could ever happen. Alto admits straight to himself that this is going to be anything but easy. The blonde knight points out that the more magic circuit talent you have, the higher your standard climbs, so someone's left wishing they had someone like Lily with 7 circuits to her name. But the chance and skill speeds don't match up for everyone, and then they've got to strike 7 inner cores at the exact same time, so it takes a whole crew coordinating perfectly. Alto finally realizes there's no way to smash those cores at the exact same moment. The blonde knight screams that they're out of options, And then he demands everyone help out by reporting exactly how many magic circuits each of them has. Alto blurts that out of everyone here, he has the most. Then the blonde knight snaps that they'll smash the cores at the exact same time, and Alto's already tracked them down with his appraisal skill. 7 key spots lights up across the dragon's body. Left wing, left shoulder, right shoulder, the solar plexus, then the neck and head. The blonde knight roars that he's got 5 magic circuits, so he'll hit 5 locations, but Alto has to tag 2 of them, first the right shoulder and the base of the right wing. Alto nods like, got it. The blonde knight barks out, there he goes, and right on cue Alto screams, Fire Lance! Then they launch the attack together, perfectly in sync. From every angle, the team's combined assault crashes into the dragon. Zombie Fire Lance punches through its body and explosive hits tear straight for the critical spots. Alto can't help but wonder if it actually worked, because to him, it sure looked like everything happened at the same time. Meanwhile, everyone watching can't help but notice how flawlessly they move together. An instant tag team that screams, Knight plus top-tier adventurer, just like you'd expect. But then the blonde knight shouts that it's useless, he didn't manage to fully smash the core. Alto's eyes widen, pure shock hits him hard. The blonde knight leans in and flat out tells him, meat and hide have different thickness, so you can't just smash them together and call it a win. Alto screams that they've got to pry the matter apart and rip the core wide open. But then someone blurts out, even if you expose it, it'll snap right back instantly. And another voice cuts in, you don't just hit it once, you've got to land 7 attacks back to back to even reach the core. Someone says they'll need to unleash 7 more attacks at the exact same time after that. The blonde knight just stares, stunned by how brutal the plan is. Then the blonde knight suddenly bursts out, yelling that they've got to do it right now, and he shouts for everyone to jump in and help him. And Alto and the others waste no time, they tell him, count us in. The blonde knight boasts he can spot all 7 cores, and then someone shouts, bring it down together, right now. Alto and the crew hit in perfect sync, screaming Fire Lance as wave after wave of attacks crashes into the dragon zombie. Someone yells that they smash the core, then right away someone fires back and shuts it down. The blonde knight bears the truth and declares there's no point at all. Alto realizes this hard truth fast. The more people they pull in, the tighter and crueler the timing gets. Alto vows he'll push on as many times as it takes, and the blonde knight snaps back that he's right there with him. Exhausted fighters at the city gate are on the brink, barely clinging to survival. Alto clocks it instantly. Everyone's been spamming those high-level skills for so long that the mana's drying up, and their aim is crashing fast. The blonde knight shoots a question, what are we doing next? But right then, Alto yells to him, demanding he be allowed to do it. The blonde knight swings around and fires a question at Alto. How many magic circuits does he have? Alto swallows, admits it plain, just 1, only 1. The blonde knight snaps back that there's nothing left to discuss, but Alto won't back down, claiming he can blast out 7 skills at once and begging for just 1 chance to prove it. The blonde knight stared at Alto with sharp suspicion, basically thinking, a no-skill guy with only 1 magic circuit? There's no way he's good for anything. Meanwhile, the blonde knight flashes Alto a promise and says he'll give it a shot. Even as he thinks, I've got no options left anyway. Alto beams at him, all fired up and desperate to prove himself. Someone leans in and promises Alto they'll rip open that dragon zombie and reveal its cores. Then they snap, destroy all 7 cores at once. Alto nods and shoots back. Got it, I understand. That blonde knight barrels ahead, shouting he's going in, then blasts a fire lance the moment the coordinated assault erupts into action. A swarm of fighters explodes into action, striking from every angle at once. The dragon zombie gets pummeled by a non-stop barrage of strikes, Alto leading the charge. The blonde knight and the others launch a perfectly timed assault boom. Their attacks collide in sync, and massive explosions rip across the battlefield as they slam their fire into the towering, undead beast. Then someone screams that all 7 cores are gone, and a second voice screams for their auto magic to kick in right now, please. Anything. Alto slams his skill to life, commanding Fireball X7 to ignite. The blonde knight freezes in shock because Alto didn't just shoot, he blasted 7 rounds at once. Someone else blurts out, no way, at what they're seeing. Alto clenched his focus so hard that he vowed every single one of his attacks would land at the exact same moment. Alto's mind is racing as he locks in. He has to blast the dragon with 7 fireballs, but the thing won't stay still, not even for a breath. This is his shot to flex the orbital control he's drilled for days, no rest. And he refused to let failure anywhere near him. Then a voice snaps an order at him, go. Alto lunges right in, getting up close to the dragon zombie and locking eyes with it. Then the thing roars, scrambling to fight back, but Alto snaps it off and keeps charging. Nothing's gonna slow him down as he drives forward with his assault. While the blonde knight commander watches Alto in the thick of the fight, His face tightens. He thought this man would have been wiped out already, but Alto hasn't even flinched. He clocks Alto's insane focus as Alto rushes in and smashes the dragon zombie straight on with a devastating hit. 7 fireballs exploded forward, and they all slammed into their targets at the exact same moment. All 7 cores detonated in a single blast, tearing shockwaves through the dragon zombie's gigantic body. The creature erupts in a barrage of blasts as each core shatters to pieces. And down below, the Watchers lock on because the coordinated assault hits perfectly and steamrolls forward. A brutal flash of light tears across the battlefield as the dragon zombie finally hits the ground, dead for good. When the dust finally clears, the observers are hit with pure shock and raw emotion, and the creatures are still sprawled across the ground while Alto stands amid the rubble, dead calm, silently confirming he really did it. The crowd freezes in shock. Someone blurts out that Alto straight up just dropped a dragon zombie, while the blonde knight demands, "Are you serious?" Another onlooker blurts that he can't believe Alto actually pulled it off. Then someone goes, "We've never seen anyone stack 7 skills at once," and adds that Alto's trajectory was shockingly precise, too. The blonde knight steps up to Alto, admits they couldn't pull this off alone, and actually thanks him for the help, then asks his name like introductions weren't already overdue. Alto just answers, "Alto." Meanwhile, a nearby voice blurts out that he's the duel champ from that day, finished it in a blink. The blonde knight's eyes narrow, the name tickling his memory, and aim. Alto nods and confirms it, calm as a heartbeat, but you still feel the weight behind every word. The blonde knight admits he'd heard the rumors, but watching Alto shred those battles with real skill proves he's truly knight material. Then he points out, with a stunned shake of his head, that even a knight can't fire off 7 spells at once. Alto shoots him a thankful nod, then smirks to himself because he could fire off all 16 at once, and he's absolutely keeping that ace to himself. The crowd surges around Alto and the knight, erupting in cheers for the victory, singing that a hero of the city has finally been born, screaming that they lived through it all thanks to Alto, and raining blessings down on him like prayers. Back at the palace, Princess Charlotte tells a male royal official that Lord Alto's mission was an absolute win, and the official can't believe it because Alto didn't just do it right. He actually defeated that sealed-away S-rank boss. Charlotte hands over the report from the night she went with Alto on that mission. The knight's verdict was clear. Alto's skill, courage, focus, and teamwork were absolutely superb, and he even said he'd genuinely want to ride into battle side by side with Alto as a fellow knight. Princess Charlotte calls it insanely impressive, then demands they make Alto a knight no matter what period, and the male official nods right along with her. Zero hesitation. Then someone drops the bombshell. The boss they just took down used to have a permanent seal on him until they find traces proving that seal was ripped off by someone on purpose, and yeah, that screams trouble. Meanwhile, Princess Charlotte and the male official corner their way through the palace hallway, and the official swears he learned from the accompanying knight that they really did smash into the sealed boss room. Then someone blurts out that Alto was the one who shattered the barrier with his own hands. Charlotte listens as the official promises that the true culprit and the proof will surface soon enough. The male official declares the culprit is Eroso, a man who dueled Lord Alto, and just like Princess Charlotte feared, he gets arrested on the spot. Princess Charlotte sits with that thought, and you can feel the grudge behind everything grinding in her mind. Then the male official smirks and tells Princess Charlotte, "I figured," before he instantly summons the military police and slams Eroso with a 20-year sentence to mind labor. Meanwhile, Erosolito slumps at the table, laughing to himself, smugly enjoying the fact that everything's working like clockwork, and the boss is absolutely thrilled because if that guy blows his quest, Erosolito will step in and become a knight himself. Then, out of nowhere, the military police came crashing into the room. Then someone screams that the military police are coming, and everyone gets ordered to freeze like not a single person can move. Erosolito's eyes go wide as officers close in from all sides, and the military police slam the verdict down. He's under arrest for unsealing an S-rank boss and for putting the entire city in danger. Erosolito rips into the situation, protesting wildly and begging, "Why am I getting arrested? This has to be a mistake." While the guy scrambles to buy time, firing back, "What proof do you have?" and swearing he's got nothing to do with any of it. But the officers snap at him to stop fighting, insisting the evidence is right there, while Erosolito keeps shrieking that none of this can be real as they haul him away. Back at the palace, the officials huddle and reveal they hauled in Belong To, the master of the Eroso Guild too, because both men aren't just guilty of one thing. They're hit with fresh charges like bribery and power harassment, and now the punishment is going to be brutal. Someone says it's a total relief they cut him down before he could ever endanger Master Alto. And the male official nods along, 100%. A knight bursts in and shouts that Master Alto just arrived. Then Princess Charlotte snaps, "Let him in." Alto steps in and Princess Charlotte lights up, saying it's been ages. Then she thanks him for shielding the city from that rampaging boss. Then Princess Charlotte leans in and tells Alto she heard He wiped out an opponent even the knights couldn't bring down with one strike, and she admits it's proof his skills have already blown past any knight. But Alto shoots back with humility, saying they only won because he teamed up with everyone. Officials step in and hand Alto his reward, while Princess Charlotte's voice rings out because of what he pulled off in this quest and the fact that he saved the city. He's officially been cleared to go take the knight selection exam. Alto shoots them a heartfelt thank you and pours out his gratitude like it's overflowing. Princess Charlotte tells Alto she's certain he'll nail it, and once he's a knight, she's praying he'll throw his power behind her unit. She wants him to pass with flying colors. Alto lights up and tells her, straight from the heart, that he's genuinely honored, and he'll give everything he's got to meet every single expectation she sets. Princess Charlotte leans in and cheers, "Good luck out there." A few days later, Alto burst onto the grounds of the Royal Knight Academy, and that massive castle-like building loomed ahead, towering high with sharp turrets cutting the sky. Students streamed across the grounds as he tilted his head up, soaking in every inch of the place like it was about to change his life. Then they lay out the whole academy system straight up, because for the 1-month knight selection exam, Alto gets treated just like a Knight Academy student. There are only two kinds: regular academy students and the recommended commoners. Between exams, students cram their way through classes, and that night becomes more than just practice. It builds the real skills they need. Alto struts across the academy grounds, and noble students eye him like he's already part of the legend, while all he can think about is how wild it's going to be sleeping in the dorms during exam period. Meanwhile, elites from every corner of the country are honing their skills, and it smashes into him like a punch. If he wants to be a knight, he has to outshine every single one of them. But Alto shrugs it off like he always does, moves in quietly and gets to work fast, then stops and scans the room like, "Wait, where even is the orientation?" Suddenly, a staff member cuts in and tells Alto and the other students that the briefing officer is about to arrive, so they'll have to hold tight a little longer. Alto stands in the hallway, eyes hard and jaw tight, and the truth hits like a punch. Just because someone steps into the Royal Knight Academy doesn't mean they'll become a knight here. Everyone's a rival. And here's the kicker: this knight selection exam only happens once, right in the heart of your 3rd year. Alto's heard graduates won't struggle to find work just because they're academy grads, but one bad result means they'll drag the shame of never becoming a knight for the rest of their lives. Alto trudges on by himself, replaying how becoming a knight once felt totally, brutally impossible before everything shifted. His thoughts drift straight to Lily, the transfer student who showed up mid-semester, and he can't help wondering what would have happened if she'd stayed on track, because if she had, she'd be a knight already, graduating by now. Then someone yells, "Alto!" And when he spins around, it finally clicks. He somehow ended up taking the exact same exam as Lily, just 1 year later. And that realization hits hard. If you don't quit on your dream, the right chance really can show up. Meanwhile, back in the halls, background students are whispering up a storm about that nepotism brat everyone's been obsessed with. A smug blonde noble strolls up to Alto, grin practically glued to his face, and declares himself Bonbon House of Bones Pride and a student at the Royal Knight Academy. Alto just steps up and introduces himself, simple, quick, and straight to the point. Then Bonbon leans in, smirks at Alto, and demands to know what filthy tricks a guy like him pulled to land that recommendation. Alto mutters to himself that dealing with creeps like this is pure exhaustion, so he decides to just brush him aside because the survival skills he sharpened in the Black Guild are exactly what he needs right now. Then Bonbon orders Alto to show off his magic talent right there using his appraisal skill. Alto realizes he can peek at someone's real aptitude with a higher tier appraisal spell, and the thought screams major etiquette violation. Then Bon goes ahead and uses his appraisal magic on Alto. His eyes snap wide with shock. There's only one magic circuit in sight. Bon spits, "What a pathetic result." Students around them erupt into loud gossip. Someone shouts, "With just one barrier, how is Alto even supposed to attack?" while others cackle. Even a commoner has more circuits than that. Then Bonbon screams at Alto, praising knights like the superior kind of guy he claims to be, and demands everyone watch. He launched a fiery fireball spell in a blazing dramatic show, and the students around them immediately erupted in praise, all saying the same thing just like Lord Bond. He'd mastered 5 magic circuits at once perfectly. Bond declares that this is the power of a man truly meant to be a knight. He sneers at Alto, flat out declaring that someone who can barely hold up even one barrier has 0 chance of ever becoming a knight. Bond flashes a smug grin, crowing that Alto looks absolutely stunned by the sheer grandeur of his magic. But Alto only smiles, cool as ice, and asks Bond straight up if he's really bragging about landing a measly 5 fireballs then. Alto thinks to himself, "I figured the princess was just buttering me up, but maybe I can still hold my ground with my current power?" The nobles stare at Alto's swagger, stunned and furious, demanding to know why he's acting so thrilled, and if he's saying he's got nothing higher backing him, they order him to prove it. Someone corners Alto and demands to know exactly how many times he needs to strike the target, then dares him to prove it. Alto grins and declares, "Fireball time 16. Right then, he snaps the spell into place, 16 fireballs explode out all at once, blasting straight for the training targets. A brutal storm of fireballs crashes into the targets, slicing through everything with ruthless, pinpoint accuracy. While the nobles just freeze on the spot, drowning in pure shock, Bon and the others lose it, yelling that there's no way it could be 5, no, 16 at once, because that's impossible. Then someone snaps, "What kind of trick did Alto pull?" But Bon bursts into yelling, telling him to cut the nonsense, because there's no way he could pull it off unless he's cheating. Alto coolly snaps back that he didn't cheat at all. Alto tells them, "If I had to explain it, I'd say my wild little skill is basically a cheat code." Someone yells that he's got just one magic circuit, and then stops cold, stunned beyond words, while another person grumbles that everything's gotten way too loud, demanding, "What the hell is going on?" A stern-looking man steps forward out of nowhere and right there introduces himself as Arthur, like it's official business because he's been appointed the examiner for this term's whole selection process. The students clock him instantly, blurting out, "Are you really Captain Arthur the Prodigy who became the youngest captain in history?" Arthur cuts right to it for the exam 3 rounds, individual, dungeon, and team battles. And he promises an emblem for everyone who meets the standard he's set. Alto clocks that Arthur's basically a walking celebrity around here. Arthur keeps ripping the exam apart piece by piece because there are only 3 emblems: effort, adaptability, and teamwork. Grab all 3 and you'll earn the right to become a knight and clear the exam. He explains it like this in each of the 3 exams. You're supposed to snag one emblem, and the chart lays it out with dungeon battles, team fights, then an individual showdown, all funneling you toward Alto. But if your skills really get noticed, you can score extra emblems in a single exam, maybe even more than one. That's the whole deal, at least, on paper. Arthur charges forward and drops one sharp piece of advice every year. There are people who try to coast until the final exam, then scramble to grab all 3 emblems in one go. But you don't earn emblems with that kind of naive mindset. He adds that if they can't pour everything into the first test, they're basically doomed. There's almost no chance they'll step up next time. He says this is coming from someone who's supposedly elite even among the knights, and Alto just thinks, "Yeah, we've got to earn that respect. This test is going to be brutal." Meanwhile, the noble students huddle up and listen as Arthur finishes the briefing exams hit in a week. And after that, it's straight up one-on-one battles, everyone throwing down against everyone. They won't reveal the matchups until the day of the exam, so we're done for today, and he straight up dismisses them. A week later, the Royal Palace Arena is packed to the brim with spectators, and the whole place feels electric. Alto keeps replaying the past week in his head. Once he finally had unlimited time in the training grounds, he went all in on real, hands-on practice instead of being stuck cooped up in that forest. He's been drilling non-stop with that auto magic setup, and today he took it even further. The classes let him fire off questions to the pros, so everything feels way more efficient than grinding alone. So yeah, he's showing up in top shape, and his fire magic just jumped a whole notch, leveling up for the first time in forever. Then out of nowhere, someone shouted, "Alto!" Lily comes sprinting at him with pure energy, and Alto clocks her instantly. Lily practically bursts with joy as she greets him, telling him it's been ages. They hook up in the arena waiting room, where a crowd of other students is already buzzing and waiting right alongside them. Alto beams at Lily and tells her she pulled it off, she really became a knight, and that's when his congratulations hit her like a roar. Lily looks him in the eye and says, "You did it. You finally made it this far." Lily gives Alto a heartfelt send-off, wishing him nothing but luck ahead as his junior steps into the future. Alto can't help but marvel at her amazing skill, and he admits, "A ton happened, but somehow I still earned a recommendation from the princess." Alto leans in and tells her, "I'll give it my all since I'm your senior." Just then, another noble student strides up and blurts that he had no idea Alto knew a knight. Alto just shoots back a calm greeting. Meanwhile, a noble student spots Alto in the arena hallway and straight up tells him they've been paired for today's game. Suddenly, another noble student storms up to Alto and screams that he'll prove once and for all that Alto's not a cheater, then demands he go all out today. Bonbon, heir to the House of Bones, stands shoulder to shoulder with the other nobles, and one of them scoffs that they won't lose, not even a 1 in a million shot. Bonbon grins right back, dead certain as the heir of his house. But Alto just stares dumbfounded, thinking, where in the world do they get that kind of confidence? Someone watches everything in eerie silence, just soaking it all in. A huge older man dressed in sharp formal clothes steps into view like he owns the whole scene. Bonbon rockets toward him, grinning like crazy, and blurts out whether Duke Wilo came by to see him. The guy leans in and blurts, "Yeah, I'm Bonbon." And right under him a caption snaps to life, "Duke Wilo, a royal court minister." Bonbon throws gratitude at him non-stop, and Duke Wilo slams the moment home. "Don't you dare disappoint me, I expect great things from you, like you're my own son." And he adds, "Bonbon, don't stress, your old man's his boss and he's the real deal." while Alto just stands there, locked in, taking the whole exchange in. The group just stares as Duke Waylo turns and stalks away down the hallway. Then Bonbone whips around and snaps aggressively at Alto. He pressed him hard, asking if he really saw that, and the guy boasted that the House of Bone had the court's trust, like that trust meant everything to a knight. Suddenly, a bald man sweeps into the middle of the arena and drops into a dramatic bow, and Bonbon announces that he's loaded with the Duke's expectations. Way more knight than Alto will ever be until a voice cuts in and orders them to let the intruder off the hook. An older man draped in royal splendor strides into the hallway and the noble students freeze in pure shock. Then the caption hits, "This is King Lawrence, father of Queen Charlotte." He smirks and remarks that looks like plenty of students are lining up to take the exam again this year. Before the exam even starts, someone rushes in, blurts out an apology for barging in, and tells everyone, "Don't worry, just keep going like I'm not even here." Alto just froze in shock, staring at the king like, why in the world would he show up in a place like this? While Bonbon is still reeling, she can barely even breathe because it's the king himself staring right at her. Suddenly, Bonbon charges ahead and shouts that it's an absolute honor to finally meet His Majesty for the very first time. He tells you the House of Bone has been serving the royal family for generations, and even his father is respected by the minister himself. The king cuts straight to Alto, says he's heard all about him from his daughter, and then admits he's been dying to watch Alto work firsthand. Alto freezes in pure shock. A tiny panel flashes in his mind. Charlotte standing there, right beside the king. Charlotte flashes Alto a wave, urging him to crush the exam, and the king quickly chokes out an apology for barging in at the worst possible moment. But Alto bursts in with an excited grin, swearing he'll do his absolute best. As the royal party starts slipping out, students line the hallway and arena floor, staring in stunned silence. Meanwhile, Bonbon stays stone still, his face twisted with pure shock and rage, while behind him the students whisper and mutter in confusion, wondering why the king and princess are talking to some magic circuit like it's being tailed by one cheater. Out of nowhere, someone blurts, "Is everyone here and accounted for?" An official bursts in, declares they're heading straight for the arena, and orders everyone to drop everything and follow right behind him. The group starts marching down the hallway, and as the noble students whisper and mutter, one of them snaps, complaining that Alto's getting into the knight selection exam on a royal recommendation. Like everyone else isn't being handled totally differently. A noble man snarls that Alto is getting taught the hard way then, as if that wasn't enough. Another noble student snaps that if the king is treating Alto with all this care, then it has to be a sneaky trick up his sleeve. Then in the arena, Arthur strides up to the official podium and faces the roaring crowd. He declares it's time for the individual matches of the selection exam, where the first person to land a hit wins. The announcer slams it down, first up Alto versus Bon. Then the noble student fires off an order, step forward. Alto and Bonbon close in on the arena floor. Bonbon and Alto step into the arena and lock eyes, while Arthur stands right between them as the referee, ready to call the duel. Meanwhile, up in the stands, one student smugly claims Alto's last tricks only worked because everyone bought it. Yet in a real brawl, they won't save him. And then a big noble student steps up with total confidence, swearing he'll end Alto in just 2 seconds. Suddenly, the announcer's voice blasts across the arena, snapping everyone into action. "Begin the match!" The moment the match kicks off, Bonbon explodes into action, screaming for his Blizzard launcher spell and launching straight at Alto to finish him. He jeers at Alto like he's a total idiot, bragging that no mid-tier skill could ever topple his high-tier power. But Alto doesn't hesitate. He slams the Fire Lance X16 into action. The two magical attacks slam together in the heart of the arena, and Alto's fire lances crush right through Bonbon's ice, blasting past the swirling blizzard like a steel storm of flame. Massive spears of fire punch through the freezing onslaught and keep driving forward with brutal force, while the air tears apart around him. Alto walks on calmly, and his attack owns the whole battlefield, leaving the noble students in the stands staring in total silence. Meanwhile, Bonbon reels in pure shock, barely able to even think. Then he blurts that it's Fire Lance Rain, a top-tier skill, and the attack smashes straight into him. He screams as the flames roar in, and right then, Bonbon gets slammed to the ground, defeated. He sprawls on the arena floor, totally fooled when he mistook Alto's multiplied mid-tier spell for a true top-tier move. And it's over in seconds. Alto unleashes a Fire Lance barrage that rips through the arena with pure, devastating fury. Magical blades tore through rock and rubble, whipping up a full-blown storm of destruction. Bonbon gets totally buried by the relentless wave coming at him. He slammed him to the ground and crushed the fight in seconds. Meanwhile, the noble students packed in the stands are frozen in pure shock. One of them stutters in disbelief that Lord Bone, the top kid in their grade, got knocked out instantly, while another noble just can't even wrap their head around what they witnessed. Bonbon crumples on the ground, stunned out of his mind, screaming that he got beaten by a cheating bastard just like Alto. A noble student bursts in right away and slams Alto for cheating again, then calls him a coward to his face. Then the dark-haired noble student barrels through the protest with a chilling line telling them that Even if it's cheating, the battlefield decides the truth, and the living walk away as the winners. The arena erupts as the announcer's voice booms, declaring Alto the winner. Duke Willow can barely process what he just saw, and that other noble student is completely stunned into silence. The Bone family's heir got wiped out in the blink of an eye, and with a loud official step forward, he raises the emblem to present it to Alto. The emblem of effort earned for surviving and crushing the first round. Arthur snaps, "Next match, I'll be..." and calls Gregory Burns and Mia Knightley to the arena, two students stepping into position, ready to crash into their duel. Meanwhile, a student up in the stands squints and swears it looks like a tiny animal is taking on a ferocious wild beast. Arthur orders them to start the match, then Gregory explodes forward on the first move, screaming, "Sand shot!" As he unleashes his attack right away, Mia snaps her hand up and blasts an ice wall. Bam, a frosty magical shield slams into place to protect her. She channels her spell and a glowing magic circle pops into existence right in front of her. Gregory storms in and goes straight after Stonehammer, unleashing a massive magical blast straight at her. Mia darts aside and fires back with a vicious counter. Then Gregory hurls sand again, blasting her with a brutal storm of projectiles. Mia screams as the hits land hard, and she can't shake off Gregory's relentless onslaught. The announcement slams down and names Gregory Burns as the winner. Turns out his opponent was flat out better at magic, faster with every spell and dead on with every hit. Up in the stands, the students snicker that he moves like a total slowpoke, and one noble cackles, saying he'd give anything to be the one squaring off against him, while Gregory Burns just stands there smug and victorious as he finishes the moment strong. While Mia stays crumpled on the ground, pinned between him and the other student, Alto watches from the side as Mia slumps with dejection, staring down like all hope just vanished. Meanwhile, Arthur kicks everyone out for the day, pats them on the back for their hard work, and tells them the second exam is coming in 2 weeks, then says the full details will drop later. Students huddle up and trade whispers, shocked that fewer than 1/3 of the whole group even managed to snag an emblem. As the crowd thins out, Alto's mind races over what just happened, because the next exam is a full-on dungeon crawl. He's got more experience than any Knight Academy brat yet. Dungeons love to throw the worst surprises at you. He finally gets it. If it keeps happening like this, nobody's going to make it to knighthood. Then Alto charges straight for the training grounds, dead set on being completely ready. Alto bursts into the training area the second the exam ends, and just like they said, the whole place is empty. Right then, something catches his eye, and there's Mia in the distance, flanked by two guys, closing in fast. Meanwhile, two male students corner Mia at the training grounds. One sneers that she's still practicing after she failed, and the other laughs at her for training even though she came in last, calling it a complete waste. A male student snarls at Mia, tells her she needs to know her place, and then demands straight up if she even has the nerve to feel shame. The other one shrugs and claims she's so clueless she can't even tell where she stands. Alto cuts in on the spot and demands, "So which one of you should actually be the one embarrassed?" The male students snapped their heads toward him, totally baffled, and demanded, "What's your problem?" Then Alto snaps out that even after the exam, Mia was the very first to start training, so he turns the tables and asks who should actually be embarrassed. He calls them out for mocking someone who's grinding their hardest, insisting they're breaking the code of chivalry. Meanwhile, Alto looks back on those 3 non-stop years since the aptitude right, pushing his limits every single day, even when he kept hearing the same words over and over. He knows better than anyone just how brutal this feels and just how mind-blowing it is to never, ever give up. The students freeze, then one by one they clock Alto. "Wait, he's from the outside exam," someone blurts, and another student stares like they've never seen his face yet. "He's out here talking like he owns the place." Then one of them finally clicks. He's the guy who KO'd Bonbon with one brutal hit. Alto can't stop thinking about it. School's full of nobles, sure, but the way it all feels is still unsettling to him. Mia strides up to Alto, thanks him, then swings into introductions. "I'm Mia Knightley, a student at Knight Academy." Alto leans in and tells her, "Don't thank me, this isn't some big deal." Mia blurts out that she saw his match today and she's stunned because his magic looked so refined and unstoppable. Then she leans in and asks Alto how she can get strong like him. Alto leans in and asks Mia what magic she's actually good at, because he can't say a word until he witnesses her power, so Mia admits her top tier is a unique skill. Alto can't contain her excitement and blurts out, "Can I show you?" But Mir leans in and asks Alto if he can make some flames hover in midair. Alto nods and hurls a fireball into the air. Then Mia snaps back instantly, blasting a dispel shot to shut it down. Alto stands there, stunned, as his magic disappears, completely gone without a trace. Alto can't believe his eyes. What just happened feels unreal. He's gobbled up books on every weird skill imaginable, yet this one thing still hits him like it came from nowhere. Mia tells them it's called Magic Resolve and that a tiny bullet slips through the skill's magic core and wipes it out completely. Right then, Alto realizes just how insanely powerful she really is. Mia finally admits she can't control it worth a damn like that. Last shot was straight up dumb luck. Their mono waves clash and scramble each other's aim, and on ugly days you can fire 100 shots and still miss every single one. Alto knows this for sure. Even if you can boost someone's skills, mastering how to use them right is a whole different battle. He tells Mia she can use him to train and sharpen her skills. Mia's eyes go wide at the offer, but before she can breathe, doubt crashes in. Did she really hit Alto or miss him completely? Alto reassures her, explaining that once he struggled because he couldn't juggle multiple skills at the same time. He says it only clicks when someone really clashes magic with magic and learns what that clash feels like. Then, right after, Alto admits he totally messes up near the guest area, but explains his rare gift keeps the technique running on autopilot, triggering every shot with the exact same path and power, just like those deadly second shots he keeps landing. Alto calls it perfect practice. Every single shot is truly chantless, and every one of them is identical. Mia thanks him up and down and says she's finally starting to get the hang of it. Alto shoots back with the big yes. Mia lights up with pure excitement, and Alto snaps, "All right, let's start the training." The training session rages on as Alto pushes even harder. Malto stands on the practice field as multiple fireball projectiles swirl and hover around him like they're waiting to explode. Mia screams, "Spell shot!" and she hurls a magic nullifying bullet straight at one of them. The blast slices through the air and just barely misses, almost kissing one of Alto's magic spheres. 30 minutes later, Mia crumples to the ground, utterly wiped out. Her mana totally drained, Alto drops his head and blurted out an apology for keeping her there that long. But it also makes it clear this whole ordeal is training for him too. Mia fires off a question. "Alto, do you have a bigger mana pool because you're spamming way more skills than me?" Alto finally admits the truth at the start. He was worse than everyone else at Magic. Then he lays it out. Mia must have busted her butt because mana capacity doesn't actually prove magical talent. Mia drops into a deep bow before Alto and, out of nowhere, begs him to take her as his apprentice. Alto is totally blindsided by that request. Then Mia snaps her head up, eyes blazing with resolve, and declares she wants to become strong just like him. Meanwhile, Mia sinks into her own thoughts. Always stuck at the bottom, and yep, she flunked this exam too. She replays what everyone said, that she's so weak they don't even bother using her for practice and that she'll still end up dead last again. But through all the doubt, Mia throws her heart into it. She swears she wants the kind of confidence that comes from trusting her own strength. And even if she's weak right now, she'll grind just as hard as Alto. Alto throws himself into Mia's fight because her pain mirrors the hell he once survived. Alto doesn't think he'll be able to teach her anything for real, but he still takes the challenge, then promises that he's counting on her. Mia thanks him like her heart's about to burst, then offers to pull her weight, showing people around the school and handling the daily chores, doing everything she can, even if she can't repay him in a grand way. Alto fesses up that he's totally lost on campus, and Mia lights up like, "Perfect, this is exactly what I needed." 2 weeks later, the second exam kicks off at the dungeon site. Then for the next few days, 5 challengers a day dive in, trying to smash through it before the timer runs out. Mia watches everyone crowd in and can't stop worrying, will Alto really be okay? Meanwhile, one of the examiners smirks and starts wondering when Alto is going to crack and drop out. Inside the dungeon, someone grins and says, "Man, it's been forever since we've been in one. This is actually fun." Then they start talking about how the exam location shifts day by day and someone jumps in. That's why it stops cheating. Students can't just draw a map when the dungeon never stays in the same spot. The second exam kicks off and the examiner lays it out at night. Missions run the gamut, escorts, dungeon raids, the whole deal. Then he hits them with the real twist for this round. You're conquering a dungeon. Alto scrambles through the memories, then freezes his body. Feels weighed down and his skills hit way softer than usual. He realizes the dungeon is the one slapping them with a debuff. And this round is all about testing how well they can adapt. Even the organizers knew dropping high-rank monsters into the test dungeon was a massive gamble, so this debuff was the perfect way to see if students could still push through under screwed-up conditions. Alto steps down into the dungeon entrance, smiling because things are finally going right. Yet he never stops hunting for traps and lurking enemies with his auto magic. Alto pushes deeper through the dungeon floors, locking in his target to hunt the rarest find out there. And by the time he reaches the last floor, the real treasure is probably the rarest of them all. He charges to the stairs leading down and clocks that they're almost at the 10th floor. Then Alto fires up his detection tool and right away it snaps to life with a clear reaction. Throwing up a map, he points straight at the target location. He can't stop thinking, "Whoa, they're clearing this way faster than I expected." Alto smashes through the dungeon, clears it for good, and sprints back safe to report that his quest is finally done. Even the examiners can tell his stamina is way more than enough. One examiner peers through a farsight crystal, scanning Alto's route, and then confirms that his choices and his pacing are perfectly balanced. Alto gets marked as passed. He thanks them for their evaluation. Then, out of nowhere, someone screams, blaming Alto for straight-up cheating with zero shame. The accuser throws out the claim that there's just no way a no-skill kid like Alto could clear this dungeon, and swears he must have cheated. Alto calmly snaps that he didn't do anything like that. Meanwhile, Duke Wilo detonates with rage, screaming that these results only make the princess factions stronger. His subordinates scramble to apologize nonstop, scared to death that if they upset His Highness too, they'd pay for it. Duke Wilo goes, "I'm betting everything on you not to screw this up." And he makes a vow his son will come before all else, boosting the prince's faction's name, and then he swears on his life Alto is getting crushed in the very next exam. Someone drops the bomb. Duke Wilo had to slap Alto with a debuff to ruin him, especially since his father personally hired pros straight out of the underworld. Another voice snaps back that someone from the outside must have boosted Alto too, and calls him a coward for it. They swear there's no possible way he cleared a high-difficulty dungeon while a stamina-draining debuff was chewing through him. Then the official steps in and says he's been keeping tabs on Alto with a remote crystal during the exam, and claims he saw 0 suspicious moves. Then he fires back, asking what part of Alto's performance is supposedly unfair. And the nobleman just freezes, stuttering hard, with no reply coming out. The older noble leans in and quizzes Bon. Bone, does he have any real reason to think Alto can't be convinced? Bone looks pissed off, but he refuses to answer right there. The official snaps that the test won't stop and calls for the next fighter, Mia Knightley, while someone beside them confirms, shaky as nerves, that they're really moving forward. Bone struts off like he owns the place, while his crew hovers in panic, begging, "Are we good? Did anyone figure out the cheating?" Right before the next test even rolls in, Alto leans in and congratulates Mia for crushing it, then fires her up with, "Now go show them what you've got, give it your best." Mia vows she'll pour every last drop of herself into it. Later in the training area, Mia leans in and tells Alto she's been grinding for 2 solid weeks, so she's got this. Alto immediately nods and agrees. Still, as he sees her march into the dungeon alone, this gut punch worry won't let go. Hours drag by, and Alto finally realizes Mia's been in there way too long. Meanwhile, deep inside the dungeon, Mia fights like her life depends on it, throwing every single ounce of strength she's got at the enemy. Then, like a nightmare unfolding, an armored examiner steps in right before her and bluntly calls her unqualified and not skilled enough because if the dungeon decides you can't clear it, it throws you straight back to the entrance. Suddenly, Alto spots Mia getting tossed out of the dungeon, then he bolts straight to her, firing off, "Are you okay?" Mia mutters that it's impossible, and honestly, things are brutal now she's already failed 2 of the 3 exams. So to even pass the final test, she has to snag 3 emblems. Mia looked Alto in the eyes and swore she wasn't done. Then she thanked him for worrying about her. She tries to brush it off and insists she's fine, but Alto keeps staring at her, worried. He was so shaken he couldn't even find the right words to speak. Once the second test wraps up, the examiner steps in and lays out the final exam right in a week, and then tells everyone they'll be thrown into a team battle, pairing up students for a mock duel. The rules are dead simple. Once your barrier cracks, you're done fighting, no exceptions. And if both teammates get knocked out, that whole team is finished. The examiner points out that a ton of people have already thrown in the towel after getting 0 emblems. And yeah, normally anyone applying for a night selection exam would still get a shot, but things have changed fast and hard. The examiner keeps talking and then drops the bombshell. Everyone who showed up today gets split into teams for the 3rd test. Right before the match, they'll drop the opponent's names the same day, and you'll spend the day before grinding and preparing for them. He waves everyone off like they're nothings. As the students scatter, someone spots it right away. The crowd has vanished, and after the first test, less than half of them are still standing there. Mia realizes most people are walking around with nothing, no emblems at all. Mia leans in and asks, "So if we try 3 more times next round, is there really still a shot that someone could pull it off?" Alto points out that among all the folks who never landed the emblem, a shockingly large number still threw in the towel even after clearing the 1st and 2nd exams. Mia told me her senior said the same thing and she swore there's never been a case like that before. Alto shrugs and says, "If the odds are basically 0, then yeah, it makes total sense people would just give up." Mia stares at him for a second, then Alto tells her, "Even so, you should be proud you're still here." Meanwhile, at the training grounds, Mia snaps off a dispel shot and the spell slices past by a hair so close it nearly hits and someone gasps, "Did you see that?" A male student watches her, still can't land intermediate level skills, and even though the spell connects up close, he knows that reckless hit at range plan is way too dangerous. Mia flashes Alto a grateful smile and tells him her accuracy has skyrocketed since before. Alto shoots her a warning, saying they learned the accuracy shifts with skill, and someone yells, "Keep tuning it like this before the 3rd test." Suddenly, a stiff old nobleman in full court regalia strides up to him, flashing an official's badge like it means business. Alto spots a court official's badge and his mind instantly races. Who in the world could be here? The nobleman grins and says, "I found where they are." Mia jolts upward in terror and it hits her. She's staring at her father. Alto locks eyes with him and realizes it's Count Nitre, Mia's own father. The Count swears he heard Mia bomb the night exam both times and Mia doesn't even argue, just quietly confirms it. The Count keeps talking. He claims the people at court are buzzing, wondering if she's really still set on going through with it. He hurls the insult, saying they're calling Count Nitre's daughter a fool and that she's got 0 talent for becoming a knight. Alto strides up and tells the Count to hold up for a sec. Mia rushes in to apologize, fighting her best to make it right. But the Count snaps at the question, "So who is Alto exactly?" He starts asking if effort alone can really turn someone into a knight. then hits the real truth no matter how hard you push. Only results matter, and this shame is starting to poison the entire family. Mia watches, worried sick. Alto opens his mouth to protest, but the Count slams him down, saying nobles have their own jobs to handle, then orders them to stop tarnishing the family name right now. Then the Count drops an ultimatum if Mia slips up. Every exam gets wiped off the map, and Mia just freezes, staring at him in total disbelief. Once Count Nitre storms out, Alto sinks onto the steps, staring after him. So the Count called the shots, set everything in place, and then he just started bylaying. Mia plops down beside him, shoulders slumped, and tells him her father is just like that all the time. She rants that nobody even expects a thing from her because she wasn't born with magic talent, while her own father fought tooth and nail against her joining the Knight Academy. Even after she enrolled, she kept crashing exam after exam failure, just wouldn't let her go. But even after all that, she refuses to give up. She's still pushing forward. Mia declares, "They said I'd never become a knight." And then she grabs the challenge like a weapon, determined to prove her father wrong. Alto nods and swears he's backing her up all the way. Meanwhile, in a room inside the royal court, Duke Waylo slams into Bonbone and grills him for blowing it, because he'd pinned big hopes on him and Bon has failed not once, but twice. Bonbone blurts out a desperate apology, swearing he's genuinely, truly sorry. The Duke leans in and tells him the final test is next. No escape, no second chances. Bonbone swears he'll pull it off this time. But while all that's going on, the Duke seethes to himself about Alto being a stubborn, damn stubborn bastard. The Duke snaps, demanding the real concrete plan because he's done listening to empty talk. Someone tells Alto the final exam is a full-on team battle, then they pair him up with the weakest student right off the bat. They bring up number 1, the hopeless little girl everybody can't stop talking about. Then they'll unleash even more poison. Yeah, they planned it, and this special fix can only be healed by the antidote. The Duke leans in, eyes narrowing at the poison's rarity and slick preparation, then praises how perfectly the plan was put together. Meanwhile, outside, Alto and Mia stroll side by side, and Mia can't believe it. She really never thought she'd land a partner like Alto for the final exam. Alto admits he didn't see it coming either, says the opponents get revealed tomorrow, so there's no point stressing about it today. Alto tells Mia he's thrilled to be paired with her, and since they already know each other's fighting styles, coordinating with her should be a breeze. He tells her, "Tomorrow we go all in together." Mia nods and swears she'll give it her best, so she won't slow him down. Alto leans in and tells Mia she'll be fine because she's trained her heart out, and all that hard work has to pay off, right? Mia just wants to believe he's right. As Alto walks off, he clocks the sun already sinking and tells everyone they've got to rest because tomorrow is the final exam and they need to be in perfect shape. Mia nods. But as Alto keeps moving, a mystery guy steps in out of nowhere and demands, "Can I steal a moment of your time, Alto?" Out of the crowd, someone in the background blurts to Bon, "Did you do something?" Bon heads straight for Alto, and the words come out like fire. He swears he wants to make things right for how he's treated him. Alto is slammed with an apology out of nowhere, and it leaves him totally stunned. Bon blurts out, "I'm sorry," admits he'd been stuck on one thought: tomorrow he'll finally become a knight. And when he turns back, it hits him just how immature he's been acting toward Alto. He insists Alto is insanely talented, and of course that kind of gift makes him get competitive. Plus, if they end up teaming up as knights, it's really no big deal. Bon pleads with Alto, begging him to let him apologize the right way. Someone spots the truth, tomorrow's the final exam, and even Alto, the training maniac, can't just pretend he won't rest. But something about it feels wildly suspicious. Alto and Bon clasp hands, and Bon grins, saying they should grab a meal together. Then he offers to foot the bill at a legendary restaurant. Alto says he's not really in the mood, but he figures if they end up working together, leftover resentment could totally mess up how they do their jobs. Alto nods and says, "If it's just a meal, then sure." Bon's face lights up, "Perfect, and they should rush out right now." They roll up to the restaurant and Bon points it out like, "This is the place." He drops it like it's nothing. This chef is his buddy, so he's got to dash over and hit him with a quick, "Hey," real fast. An hour later, Bon leans in and asks, "So did the food hit the spot?" Alto's hype. Totally justified, he straight up admits the food here is on a whole other level. Alto says they should crash and get some rest for tomorrow, and Bon nods right along. Alto gives a tight, strained nod, then slips outside on his own, quietly believing he actually pulled it off and made it back. Then, right in the middle of eating, he suddenly started feeling sick and keeps asking, did Bon do something to him? Alto's stuck in his own head, wondering if it's just a cold, but dizziness, vertigo, and chills are hitting him hard. Meanwhile, right in the exam arena, someone spots Alto is running late and mutters that he's never like this. He's usually the first one to move, not the guy who only shows up at the very last minute. Then boom, Alto drops into view right in front of the crowd and Mia shoots out his name, calling to him. He stared at his own pale face and blurted, "What's wrong with you?" Alto cracks and admits it looks like he caught a cold, but he snaps back that he's fine somehow, he'll still fight. But Mia insists she's never seen Alto this wrecked, and she's sure something's seriously wrong. She tells him, "Please report to Captain Arthur and ask to have your turn moved down so you can finally get some rest." Alto wavers for a second, then shuts his fear down and thinks, Once I'm a knight, I can't keep wasting time because I'm sick. This is the test to prove I belong. Then Captain Arthur slams the moment into place and announces, all right, now I'm revealing the first round matchups. Captain Arthur strides up and belts out the first round matchup the Altamia Nitri team against in the first half of the season. Then it swings to the first half of the season versus a fan in the crowd suddenly clicks. This means Alto can't rest at all because it's the first match. Another watcher drops the truth. Alto's about to collide with Bon, who's already hunting him, and Gregory, the very guy Mia couldn't beat last time. Mia's eyes go wide, and the shock hits her like a punch the moment the announcement lands. Alto reassures Mia, telling her they'll be fine even with his condition hanging over him. Mia steps in and tells him, loud and clear now, go prove your father wrong. She nods hard and backs it up with pure excitement. Then the two teams slam into position in the arena, and Alto crouches there, hunched and pale, clearly sick as he struggles to stay on his feet. Gregory barrels in with an over-the-top mocking voice. He asked Alto if he was okay, then threw in this fake laugh like it could hide the cruelty behind his eyes. Alto clocks the whole situation in an instant, and realizes Gregory went along with whatever Bon did to him. The official slams down the call and the match officially begins. And without wasting a second, Bon rockets forward with a fire lance attack, then Gregory barrels in to join the assault, and then the combined magical blasts explode onto the arena floor, slamming the ground with a thunderous roar and blasting dust and debris into the air. Mia screams for Alto, begging him to defend himself right now, and Alto barely managing to brace himself despite his crippling weakness. In a battered state, he still forces out an ice wall. Massive shards explode from the ground at the last second, slamming into the incoming attacks and blocking them cold. Alto gasps out an apology to Mia, breathless and clearly pushed past his breaking point. Mia shoots him a worried look and asks if he's okay, her voice trembling with concern, but Gregory just chuckles, cocky as hell, straight up saying, this is gonna be a walk in the park. He wastes no time and unleashes Fireball Rain, blasting the whole arena with a roaring storm of flaming shots that crash down straight toward Alto and Mia's spot. Mia screams and hurls Hailshot, unleashing a violent storm of ice bullets that rips across the arena. Alto, barely holding himself together, lets out a strained grunt and somehow kicks Fireball X16 into action. A brutal storm of flaming spheres crashes across the battlefield as Mia ice magic blasts through the air from the other side, and in an instant the arena floor erupts, explosions tearing everywhere as those spells collide and smash into impact. Alto shot Mia a grateful look and thanked her for backing him up. She shoots back that he's always been there for her, so of course she's ready to step up and return the favor. But then, out of nowhere, an observer shouts as one of the opponents finally makes their move. Somebody gets smashed clean across the arena like a wrecking ball hit them. Mia snaps to danger. The second it hits, she realizes it's a pincer attack, and she shouts that they'll have to split up and fight alone. While they're scrambling, one enemy hurls a sand shroud spell, and huge earth walls and monster constructs start clawing into place all around them. Someone spots it. Alto just unleashed an advanced skill, and even as his condition screams against him, Alto tries to fire off the advanced lance anyway. His mind battles itself as he struggles to pull mana together, but his body's too wrecked to let it flow right. Mia yells at Alto with pure worry, then lets out a scream as everything spirals. Alto gets slammed by a brutal, heavy blow from the attack. Gregory screams for his spell, demanding it smash them into the ground. Alto clocks that the technique formation is finally locked in. Then his bad mana forces him to fire it anyway, no choice at all. Then a colossal blast rips across the arena, shaking the ground and swallowing everything in a flash. The blast punches a massive crater into the ground, and Alto sits right in the middle, caught in an aerial view, like the world just shattered beneath him. Alto crumpled to the ground, drenched in blood and barely holding on. Someone notes he somehow dodged the full impact, yet the damage is still brutal. Then a text box cuts in. Auto magic doesn't just protect, it also stands in for a mono circuit, and the mono that powers the skill shifts depending on the user's condition. Gregory needles Alto, asking what's wrong, then fires off a blast of sand shots. Alto lets out a sharp grunt, fires back with a blazing fireball, and scrambles out of the way like he's fighting for his life. He realizes if this turns into a grinded-out endurance fight, they're done. Alto is barely hanging on through the pain, and he has no idea when he'll black out. He's thinking 3 steps ahead, so he refuses to let Mia get trapped in a brutal 2-on-1 fight. Determination hardens in Alto's eyes because even if it burns his life away, he's taking Gregory down. While Mia keeps battling her own opponent in the back, Alto barks a command and his spell ignites into a fire lance. Gregory froze in total shock at the sheer size of that incoming attack, and he immediately knew there was no way to shut it down unless he unleashed a high-level skill to meet it head-on. With desperation in his bones, Gregory hurls a sand press down to fend off his attacker. 2 massive spells slam into each other with a deafening explosion, blasting shockwaves across the arena floor. In the middle of the chaos, someone in the crowd blurts out, "So, do the attacks cancel each other out?" Then Alto slams the switch and ignites a second fire lance. Bond's eyes go wide as pure shock hits. He finally realizes there's a second one. Gregory lets out a brutal scream as that massive fire spell crashes into him, detonating with explosive force. Gregory gets smashed by the attack and gets hurled straight across the arena like a comet. Bond blasts the news. Gregory is completely incapacitated. Mia stares in total disbelief at what just happened. While everyone watching can't even breathe, Alto somehow beat the top-ranked Gregory while poisoned. Somebody in the crowd glances at Alto and thinks, of course it had to be him, this was always coming. Then the scene slams into Alto on the ground, collapsed, while another figure looms nearby. An announcer blares that Alto is down and Bond bursts into laughter, confessing that Alto genuinely spooked him for a second. Bond flashes a nasty grin and snarls that this is the end for Mia, calling her a total loser. And without her buddy Alto, she's totally helpless. Alto lies collapsed in the arena while Mia stands over him, guarding him like her life depends on it. And she snaps back with a dismissive little scoff. Meanwhile, Bond replays the original scheme in his head. He and Gregory were meant to drain Alto's strength until he crumpled, then clean him out once he was finally worn down. After that, Mia was supposed to fall with zero trouble, but the plan totally blew up. Bond needles Mia, sneering that she's a nobody, and he'll take her down solo. Then he whips out his fire lance. Mia slams up an ice wall to block him, but then she realizes the power is way stronger than last time. Bond keeps taunting her, bragging that she hasn't scored a single emblem, and laughing that it's already too late to even try. He tells her straight up, you don't win by just hiding behind defense. Mia tells herself she can't possibly lose because this isn't just her future on the line anymore. Alto's road to knighthood is riding on it too. Then Bond explodes into an all-out assault. He taunts Mia, saying her magic, mana, and skills are way too weak, then snaps that it's time to show her right in class the real gap between them. His fire lance barrage slams through Mia's ice defenses, shattering them under sheer, unstoppable force. Then it hits Bond, just chained 5 intermediate skills in one brutal go. Mia freezes in disbelief while the crowd's reactions smear into noise behind her. She clenches her fists, trembling like she can't hold it together. With her skill right now, there's no shot she can win because her dream is about to slam shut right here. Bond screams, "See you later, loser," and then one more massive attack comes crashing straight at me. But then she spots it. Only one of the projectiles is lining up on a direct course straight for her. The hit connects, someone gets slammed and skids across the arena floor like a streak of impact. The warning hits way too late if someone grabs an intermediate skill with no barrier. They'll either get wrecked with serious injuries or go down worse. The blast detonates with a violent roar and Mia gets slammed backward while someone screams Alto's name. The camera swings back to reveal the massive arena hall right where this whole insane battle is raging to the fullest. Meanwhile, Mia's mind slips to a memory back when she was in the crowd at the aptitude ceremony, watching Alto get labeled a no skill. He looked utterly hopeless, weak, wobbling, barely hanging on while she blurted out to him on impulse, only for him to ignore her and stumble away. Both were born into nobility, but somehow their magic just wouldn't awaken it. Stayed stubbornly weak. 6 months later, the same kid was thrown out of his home. She watched him out there, training alone in the deep forest. Maybe something clicked in her heart because they both got labeled as burdens, problems people just wanted to get rid of. But even with worse magic aptitude and a rougher life than her, Alto's eyes still burned bright, like they hadn't even thought about dimming. Mia, always treated like she needed saving, spent every moment worrying over everyone else, was knocked breathless by how he kept grinding forward. Never once slipping or hesitating before she even realized it, she was already starting to admire him even more. Even with wages barely scraping by, he worked his heart out and he cut loose anyone on the team who dared insult him. Even after his stamina had to be on its last thread, he still pushed through training alone. No excuses. Mia's thoughts kept pounding. No way was she going to slack off just because she had a better setup than Alto. And with his encouragement pushing her forward, she threw herself into training and fought tooth and nail to catch up. Through sheer hard work and grit, she finally snagged her ticket and walked straight into the Royal Knight Academy. For nearly 3 years after she enrolled, she kept driving herself forward, even while everyone laughed in her face, and that's exactly why she never let herself slow down. Then she clocked him at the Knight Selection exam briefing, and her heart slammed against her ribs. The moment he unleashed that terrifying skill, she snapped to the truth there was no way he was from the same world as her because he was on a whole other level. When she saw him get recognized by everyone, joy hit her hard. Then loneliness followed right behind. She'd hauled a lifetime of courage to his door now that he was her classmate, and even when she brazenly bombarded him with questions, kind to the bone, he still wore a troubled look and you could tell he was thinking hard, earnestly, about everything that mattered. Because he was the heartbeat of her soul, she never cracked no matter what slammed into her. She just kept staring forward, refusing to break. No matter how hard she got knocked down, she still managed to rise back up. That's why, this time, she was the one who had to step in and save him. Mia rockets forward down the ice slide, fire in her eyes as she races to catch him. Mia's ice magic crashes into Bond's attack and detonates a brutal blast of magical energy that lights everything up. Bond screams for her to mind her own business, spits that Alto's a half-dead bastard, and the impact jolts sending waves slam through the arena as the two forces crash together with brutal force. Alto snaps into the truth at point-blank range he can land the hit, but one wrong move could get him killed. Meanwhile, Mia's convinced this is the last chance she has to end it all, and at the very least, she's got to protect Alto. She fires a spell shot, magic streaks straight toward Bond's dark energy sphere, blazing through the air. Mia fires a dispel shot, and right as it hits, Bond's dark energy sphere detonates in a blazing magical clash. Bond is hit with pure shock at what just went down. The observers watch as the technique slam out of existence, gone, like it never even happened. Bond was sure his victory was locked in, especially since he thought his magic power was even stronger until he finally couldn't process what was happening right in front of him. Bond suddenly senses the shift. His magic feels way easier to tame now, and his power surges like it's roaring to life. Rage swallows him whole, and he screams at Mia, telling her to know her place and that she should have been dead already. Throwing another attack into the fray, fighters traded thunderous magical projectiles across the arena, blasting each other back and forth in a non-stop barrage. Glowing magic spheres streak through the air between them as the fight erupts higher and higher. Then they swarm forward, locking in for a brutal, no-holds-barred fight. Mia spots her opening, and at this range she declares no way she's missing, then launches her dispel shot. She aims straight at the dark sphere and blasts it with a shot. Bond's barrier explodes into nothing, and he's left staring in pure horror as it shatters to pieces in front of him. An official steps up and declares that Mia Knightley and Alto are the winners. Mia rockets to Alto's side, pounding on him, begging him to wake up. When someone tells him the antidote will crush the poison, Alto reaches for it on the spot because if he drinks it now, he'll feel better fast. Alto barrels in to thank everyone for helping, then winces and apologizes when he realizes the truth about the poison. But out of nowhere, someone in the crowd snaps and accuses Mia of cheating, saying it's way too suspicious that a loser suddenly gets stronger, and that someone must have pumped her up after Alto went down. Meanwhile, everyone watching swore Mia had a buff that sharpened her magic control, but it kicked in before Alto was taken out, and even Alto knew something felt wrong. An observer straight up says everything's been handled within the rules, and there's zero sign Alto ever lands another skill after that. Meanwhile, Bond explodes into total confusion, swearing up and down that Alto never once used a strengthening skill during their fight. Then Duke Wilo's voice rips through the stands, roaring that there's no way something like that could happen in a blink. Someone says, even if Alto used a buff, Mia would still crush Bond because her raw power came from grit and hard work. And then they add, Bond and his whole crew simply can't match Alto or Mia. But then just when it looks like the accuser's winning the accusation, snaps right back onto them when someone calls out that it was Bond who cheated in the first place, yeah, the whole story flips. Bond stammers through his denials, insisting he's clueless about what they're accusing him of and flat out calling the cheating charge impossible. Officials just drop the bombshell they've already confirmed Bond had a hand in the sabotage, saying the culprit acted on orders from Bond and his father. Bond blurts out a desperate denial, swearing every word is a lie and insisting he has zero clue what they're even talking about. But the officials don't back down. They claim they've proven Bond was taking money from Countbourne too, and they've cracked exactly how he got the poison that was used on Alto. He's shown getting pinned down, restrained, and unable to break free. An official slams the verdict down: if a man wants to be a knight, and then poisons his opponent, he deserves to die. Snapping orders, he demands they take Bond away while Bond shrieks in panic, desperately begging them to stop. Alto stared at the scene, wondering why Bond went to such extremes just to get rid of him. And when it came to pitying Bond, he couldn't do it. Not after everything Bond had done. Bond wails for his father, roaring for help as they yank him away. Then Captain Arthur leans in and apologizes to Alto, admitting he already knew Alto had been poisoned, but he still made the choice to stand down and not intervene. He drops the real reason to find out just how far Alto's powers reach and watch how he'd tackle a conspiracy head-on. Alto's taking the hit for letting himself get poisoned that easily, and Arthur nods like, yeah, Alto fought it head-on. Then Alto locks in, supercharges his teammates, and steers them straight to victory. He declares loud and clear that Alto has what it takes to earn the emblem of team strengths. Alto gratefully leans in and thanks him with his whole heart. Arthur yells my way. He tells Mia he's heard her special skill is basically pointless, like it never helps anyone in the real world, and Mia, in a calm voice, quietly admits it's true. But then Arthur leans in and tells her, you trusted yourself and kept pushing until you got here. And he hands her the emblem of effort. Mia's face lit up with raw shock, like her whole heart just got hit with recognition. Meanwhile, Captain Arthur steps up to Alto and fires off a heartfelt thank you for everything he's done. He calls out how Alto stared danger in the face when a trusted comrade dropped, then somehow crushed the crisis and flipped the whole battle. The captain thrusts out an emblem and grants Alto the emblem of adaptability. Even though Alto was born into nobility, he never once looked past his commoner allies. He stood by his comrades to the very end. And when he leaned on their strength, he somehow smashed through limits nobody thought he could reach. The authority figure leans in and tells them, you're not there yet, but they're still betting everything on them. Mia lifts her emblem with trembling hands, tears welling up as Team Spirit hands her theirs. She blurts out, thanks again and again like her heart can't stop. A female observer leans in, grins at Mia, and tells her, "This is what your hard work earned." But Mia whips around to Alto, swearing everything happened because of him. Alto suddenly shouts, yanks Mia's attention, and points straight at someone lurking in the crowd. Mia spots her father standing there, then slips up to him and speaks softly. She steps up and declares, loud and proud, that she finally became a knight. Count Nitri snaps back coldly, asks if she's really so sure, then shoots down the idea completely, claiming it has nothing to do with the Nitra family, and tells her to do whatever she wants. Alto rushes in to calm Mia, telling her straight that her father just can't admit he's counting on her then. From the side, someone nods along but hesitates as the words catch in their throat. Alto keeps going, telling them, "I get it, because his own dad was the same. And he still remembers the look in his father's eyes the moment he left him behind." Mia pauses for a beat, then thinks, yeah, that actually sounds perfect. Then she fires back with fresh determination, promising she'll grind every day until her father finally, truly, looks at her and admits it. 1 month after that brutal night of the selection exam, Alto and Mia head out side by side, rocking their brand new night uniforms. Mia blurts out that she never imagined she'd wind up in the same squad as Alto. And Alto immediately jumps in, agreeing with a grin. He couldn't believe it when he heard the news, because usually each new knight gets assigned just one per unit. Turns out this case is special after all, because it's a brand new unit, answering straight to the princess, part of the 7th Royal Guard. And yep, the captain is Captain Arthur, and the voice keeps pushing one big truth. He's a pure genius, appointed captain at the youngest age anyone's ever seen, so you just know there's something special behind why they formed this unit. Altos was still trying to digest it when Lily suddenly burst in, shouting his name. Alto spots her at once, and it's immediately obvious. And now Lily's been picked for the 7th Royal Guard too. Lily beams and practically bursts out that she's thrilled to be on the same team as Alto. Alto beams and tells him, "Me too, I'm happy as well." Then Alto sweeps in and introduces the two girls and tells Mia, "This is Lily, my childhood friend." Lily flashes a polite bow, introduces herself, and Alto starts to it. Mia's Lily's junior at the academy. Mia answers a little stiffly, then cracks, "Nice to meet you. I already know all about Lily." But Lily shoots Mia an intense look and admits she's been watching her since the aptitude ceremony. Alto leans in and tells Mia, "She's my comrade. She took that exam with me and she passed too." Someone asks if that means Mia's a rookie like Alto, and Lily lights up like, "I'm so excited to work with you." Then she thrusts her hand out for a handshake while Mia freezes in shock, just standing there. She couldn't wrap her head around it. Alto had a childhood friend, and somehow nobody had bothered to tell her. While they're still chatting outside, a fresh voice suddenly cuts in, shouting, "Are you the new recruits?" A gray-haired man with wavy blonde hair and a mustache steps in, moving toward you in a crisp, formal knight uniform. Alto clocks him instantly mid-30s and way above Lily in rank, then steps forward and introduces himself. "I'm Alto, name's Alto, and starting today, I'm assigned to the 7th Guard." Mia steps forward and introduces herself just Mia, and Lily throws her own name into the mix too. Then the older man flashes a confident grin and introduces himself as Count Frankie Guilford, the head of the Count's house and a proud member of the 7th Guard. Someone notices something wild knight from a Count's household is serving directly, and that just doesn't happen often. Meanwhile, Lily grills him about the uniform, eyeing him like, "So you're this year's top recruit?" Alto just smirks to himself because even the recruits get knight uniforms, apparently. Then Count Frankie steps up and tells them straight how the knight position gets idolized and how he wants them as top recruits. He even admits he gets why they're fired up, then hits them with the truth. Those night shifts aren't easy. Alto's eyes go wide when Frankie casually drops that they're also called the Arthur Squad. Then Frankie hits him with a bold grin. "This might be sudden, but I need to find out if you can handle the 7th Royal Guard." Count Frankie stands tall and declares, "I'll show you the real power of a true knight." Someone lets out a heavy sigh, and Alto can't help but wonder why this mess always ends the same way. The narration drops the twist. This is just a mock battle, and now the two stand off at a distance, staring each other down. Count Frankie lays down the rules. This old-school duel is decided by one hit. And if Alto's barrier gets chipped even the tiniest bit by his opponent's strike, it's over for him. Alto nods like he gets it, then Count Frankie barks that he's going first and unleashes. Alto watches as a colossal dragon breath detonates across the whole area. Frankie hit an advanced skill on the spot, and the whole moment left everyone reeling in shock. But the Count isn't done. He lunges in with a fierce sword strike, smashing the advantage into a devastating combo that hits like a wave. A massive dragon lunges and unleashes its fiery breath. Then a sword slams in right after, boom, exploding on impact. Count Frankie freezes in disbelief when his attack gets blocked out of nowhere because there's no way his strike should have been slower than Alto's reaction. So how did it stop? Count Frankie finally clicks. If that'd been a mid-tier skill like Hail Shot, his Fire Lance would have shattered straight through in seconds. Alto lies wrecked on the ground, realizing they shattered his barrier and drove straight through with that blazing Fire Lance. Even with the Count's vision totally blocked, Alto didn't miss. He countered perfectly, firing off power at the advanced -1 level or beyond. Alto tests the auto-defense magic he built from what he learned in the last match, and the code lights up if fire or water magic creeps within a set range. It instantly fires a counterspell to shove the attack back, and once the auto defense kicks in, it automatically blasts a hail shot too. But Count Frankie strides up, corners Alto with a sharp question about what he's doing, and Alto stammered that he was just... When someone else drops a comment asking if Frankie was trying to baptize the rookie, then they say, whatever. Then Captain Arthur steps forward and declares, I'm Captain Arthur starting today. I'll be your captain of the 7th Royal Guard and your superior. Count Frankie flashes a grin and points out they've already wrapped up the introductions. But Arthur snaps that they're heading straight to work now. First, they'll march to meet their superior. And he slams his command down, follow me. The whole group strides deeper into the royal palace, lights blazing off the walls as they press on. And Alto locks onto the trail like it's a place he's visited before, memory tingling in his chest. They close in on these fancy carved doors, and right there, 2 guards stand like stone at attention. As the doors swing open, a figure draped in white robes steps into view, and the whole crew piles inside. Suddenly, Princess Charlotte beams and shouts at Alto, and Alto stammers back that it's been ages. And the princess lights up, she's cheering him on, calling out that he'll be a knight from today, while she reaches out toward him. Meanwhile, Lily and Mia can't believe their eyes. Alto and the princess are locked in that same familiar exchange again, and their shock is instant. Alto awkwardly blurts out his thanks to Princess Charlotte, but she shakes it off, saying it was all just a dream that never could have happened without her recommendation. She says it with iron certainty. Alto's talent is too big to be shut out of becoming a knight, and that's just unacceptable. Lily yells from the background, warning Alto to stop being rude to the princess, and Mia agrees, clearly nervous. And then someone else jumps in like, no doubt, Alto, be grateful, you're absolutely right. Frankie cuts in with perfect manners, telling everyone to skip the small talk and get to the point, because the princess is slammed with things to do. They give a quick nod and agree it's time to jump straight into the main topic. Then Princess Charlotte kicks off her explanation of how the 7th Royal Guard came to be freshly formed and placed straight under her command, while Mia just nods like, yeah, I bet everyone's still figuring that out. The princess keeps going and tells you the truth. Trouble is already brewing in the court, quietly simmering under the skin. Princess Charlotte speaks it straight. This isn't just a fight, it's a brutal battle for the throne. She leans in and tells you the crown prince isn't chosen yet. The throne goes to whoever inherits it, and the contenders are right there, her, Charlotte, and the king's first child. And her younger brother Richard, she lays it all out. Alto stares at the diagram Charlotte just laid out, the king on top, the queen claiming the first legitimate heir, then the king's mistress, and Prince Richard marked as the 2nd child born out of wedlock, and he can't miss how the whole question of succession has turned into a tangled mess. Princess Charlotte drops a bombshell. Her dad isn't trying to crown a princess at all. He's plotting to name her the crown prince. Minister Willow, the most powerful force in court, backs her younger brother Richard, and in one move she turns into a political nightmare for the other minister. Alto instantly clocks it. This is the very same Minister Willow who was just chatting with Bon earlier. Charlotte tells everyone that Minister Wallow will stop at nothing, no matter what it costs to crush his goals. Sometimes her life gets targeted, so she built that unit to call in protection when it really matters. Princess Charlotte makes it crystal clear right from this moment. She's going to push hard for her place on the throne because she refuses to sit back and let someone like Minister Wallow seize control of the nation's heart. Count Frankie points out that everybody except the fresh-faced newcomers already knows the 3rd Royal Guard has been picked to escort Her Highness. So yeah, that plan wasn't going to cut it this time. They needed something way more flexible than ever. And that's how this direct command force got formed, meaning from now on. Frankie Count hits them with the bombshell. This is a critical mission, an operation so important it could decide the country's future, and they're jumping into it right now. He tells them, I picked every one of these members myself, and if anyone screws up, I'll own it all. Lily squints like that weight is crushing her, and he quickly lays out why he chose her, because she's proven herself and earned trust through skill, not politics, while Alto, once a noble, now lives as a commoner, and Mia has barely any ties to nobility at all. Sure, skill matters, but the real deal is this. They're not under Minister Wallow's control. Mia drops the bomb that, as the chosen head of the Count's family, she's caught up in all of this. Then Count Frankie shuts it down fast, saying it's decided purely by ability. Then he drops the real reason Marrow absolutely despises her, and the whole room instantly reacts to that brutally blunt truth. Count Frankie presses on, clocking every smug grin and every blunt remark that's clearly put the minister in a sour mood. Then someone blurts that he doesn't need to spell it out like that. While they're at it, Mia just droops, crushed by the brutal verdict. Frankie blows the whistle and declares their guard mission kicks off tomorrow, no more waiting. Princess Charlotte lays out her plan and tells everyone, tomorrow I'm slipping out of the royal palace to head for the eastern city of Minton. She unfurls a map and points to the route running straight from the palace all the way there, and then she drops the big detail. The 7th Royal Guard is riding with them too. Alto remembers Minton, the giant city where Lily went shopping before she ever stepped into the Knight Academy. And yeah, it's massive. He even recalls hauling goods there once as a porter, and back then the whole place felt rich, thriving, and full of life. Princess Charlotte lays it out. This whole journey isn't just for show. They're chasing cooperation from Duke Minton, one of the most powerful nobles in the entire country. She warns that if this keeps up, she'll end up with 0 allies left. In the Grand Hall, a command crackles through the air. Everyone gears up for a mission that starts tomorrow, and the guards snap back with a sharp, perfectly synced acknowledgement. Up on a high vantage point, someone spots Captain Arthur striding through in the grand hallway. He's suddenly right there. And the moment everyone lays eyes on him, the reactions start spilling out. Then Minister Warrow steps in and tells Arthur he's heard the news. Arthur is now the captain of the princess's personal guard, and Arthur lights up, saying he's truly honored, then congratulates the minister on his promotion. He nods, and they finally call him Minister Warrow. The captain stands there in his crisp uniform, jaw tight, nerves screaming after that tense run-in. Suddenly, Alto and the minister locked gazes, and the whole world seemed to freeze for one long, tense heartbeat. The minister snaps, "Alto, what's wrong?" and calls him Sir Weasley, as he wonders if Alto spotted someone he knows. Arthur shoots back, "Nothing's wrong, minister." But Alto just clams up, eyes drifting away as his father's gaze drills into him. Alto fixes his gaze forward, realizing he's nothing more than a stranger to the minister now. He's stunned, because deep down he knew it would end like this. Only now it's real. His father has ditched him for good, and that gut punch lands hard like, "I'm not even your son anymore." Right there, Lily and Mia stare at the whole brutal exchange, their faces twisted with non-stop concern. Minister Warrow grins and chats with Arthur like it's the best day ever. He can't wait to see what this genius of the Night Order does next. Bigger, brighter, and even more legendary than before. Then someone tells Arthur to slow down and not overdo it, and Arthur just shrugs like, "I'm good." Meanwhile, Count Frankie lurks behind them, eyes locked on the minister and his crew as they fade down the hallway, silent as they take in every word of the exchange. Later, deep inside a royal courtroom, the tension hung in the air. A long-haired woman steps up to the conspirators and declares, "We've confirmed the lead on Minton." Then she flashes a grin. She's ditching the capital herself before the day's even over. The guy with the glasses swears he'll message the active unit immediately, and someone tells him, "Please do." The minister's intel just hit today. The 7th Guard finally showed up, and they're confirming it. The plan moves forward exactly on schedule. The older man lounging on the couch shoots back, "Yeah, of course we'll do it." Then the bespectacled man fires off a reminder. "Don't you dare skip the preparations for the celebration," and one person jumps in and agrees. The older man can't stop thinking 3 days from now is going to be the princess's precious anniversary. Meanwhile, the 3rd and 7th Royal Guards charge Princess Charlotte through the forest, pushing her closer and closer to Minton. Keeping everyone safe, the group decides to camp for the night in the forest as they travel. At the campsite, Lily leaned in and told Mia she was thrilled to be on night watch with her, because Mia's got her feeling safe and they were both going to do their best. Mia swallowed her nerves and said, "It's really nice to meet you too." Lily admits she was shaking with nerves guarding the princess, and says this is a road merchants use every day, so it's a good sign, since monsters shouldn't show up here. Mia just keeps stoning things away, and Lily finally blurts, "Are you still uneasy?" Lily leaned in and declared it. Alto was placed at the top of the selection exam, even though she knew something the rest missed. She was the most skilled among the young knights, and Frankie's the veteran too. She can't shake the worry. Does Mia feel anxious that someone like her doesn't belong in this place? Mia catches herself thinking, "I haven't done a thing yet." Lily leans in and tells Mia, "Captain Arthur clocked you too, and he thinks you're amazing." Then she hits her with Alto's words. Mia might be even more hardworking than him, a teamwork genius, and the kind of person who never, ever quits. Alto clocked that a true hard worker gets noticed, and she should stand tall because she's got every reason to trust herself. Mia remembers it all, and if Alto says something like that about her, she decides she'll meet it head-on with pure confidence. She's sure about it right then until Lily casually drops that she and Alto sat through the aptitude ceremony together, and asks Mia to confirm it. Mia's eyes go wide, shock swirling in her face as she blurts out, "But Lily, how does she even know that?" Lily shrugs it off, saying she only peeked while Alto was away, then quickly apologizes for staying silent about what she already knew. Suddenly, Mia clamps her hand over her mouth and hisses, "We're surrounded." Lily senses something off in the forest, then her gut tells her it's truly wrong. Even when the night is pitch black and the forest goes silent, you can still sense the faint shuffle of animals moving out there. No matter how you cut it, no sign of any of that is a huge clue. A monstrous hellhound slips in beside her without a sound. Lily realizes it slipped into existence without a single sound, exactly how an A-rank hellhound would do it. A monstrous creature looms over them, and hellhounds start rolling in like a pack, sniffing out their place in the hierarchy, while the very first one to arrive is just a lowly decoy, way beneath everyone else. Someone explains it like this: hellhounds can smell how strong you are, then they stalk only the ones they're sure they can wipe out, so that crowded lodging base with the tougher fighters is probably the safest spot. Lily tells Mia, "I'll crack a way through. then pushes her to defend herself and yell for everyone's help. Mia nods in agreement, and the pack of hellhounds bursts out of the darkness, closing in around them. Lily yanks her holy sword into existence with a blinding flash of radiant light. Lily tears into the hellhound with a crushing burst of blinding light, and the light blasts a hole straight through their formation. But the moment Lily swings her sword at the creature, the blade just won't slice through it. That blade can't pierce the hellhound's hide. Its flesh is tougher than steel. Normally, she could slice a hellhound clean off in one blazing strike, but this one's different. This isn't just any hellhound. Lily throws her plan into motion. She's going straight for the weak spot, driving her aim right at the monster's mouth from the inside. She launches at the hellhound's gaping mouth, and its massive teeth lunge for her the moment she's in range. While the fight rages harder, hellhounds swarm in from every direction, closing the net tighter and tighter. Turns out the whole pack was just as tough as the decoy, same brutal armor, no weak links. Mia blurts out to Lily in panic because the odds for them are brutally terrible. Lily throws up the holy barrier. Bright light wraps around her like a shield as the hellhounds come crashing in. The fight tears through the forest clearing as someone shouts, "Mia!" because she still can't blast ice in every direction. Mia slams down an ice wall to shield herself, but Lily's holy barrier only seals up her own body while Mia gets left completely exposed. The hellhounds don't let up. They keep slamming into them with brutal, relentless fury. Lily charges straight at the hellhound, hacking with her holy sword as the blade lands with a thunderous hit, but the beast keeps coming. Then Alto bursts into the forest, racing in with a sincere apology for making them wait, and Lily calls out the moment he shows up. Alto says the detection spell he fired off just in case saved his skin, and Lily beams that she's so glad he showed up because the hellhounds, those attacks don't even make it past him. Someone says it's sealed inside a high-density barrier skill, basically like an appraisal spell that's been turned into armor. Alto can't believe a hellhound would slap up a barrier, and now it's clear they'll have to blast it with some huge skill just to break through because they don't have time to load up a bunch of massive spells. Alto lays out the whole game plan. He'll bait it, Mia will shatter the barrier on its fur, and Lily will slam the final blow for good. He leans in and asks them to confirm they can fire off a guaranteed dispel shot one at a time. Mia gives a sharp nod and says, "Got it easy." Alto shouts for everyone to move and crashes straight into the hellhound, then their synchronized assault erupts. Alto darts in, yanks the creature's focus onto him while Mia sharpens her dispel magic. Power crackles in the air. The clash ignites in rapid bursts as they carry out the plan. Alto whips his arm and fires a dispel shot straight at the hellhound. The barrier around the creature crumbles, and Lily lunges, holy sword blazing, now cutting straight through like it's nothing. The whole group cheers like they just won everything, and they're about to celebrate their success before the moment cuts off. They locked in together and kept pushing forward with their perfectly coordinated plan. Alto sprints through the forest, racing back to camp. At the lodge base, someone yells that the blast missed them. It didn't even reach their position. Count Guilford clocks Alto coming back and immediately snaps, asking what happened because this isn't shift change time yet. Alto leans in and calls him captain to his face. Alto tells them straight up that it's almost certain someone is out there sabotaging their entire journey. Count Guilford snaps everything into place, then an A-class monster shows up out of nowhere, and they even slap a barrier around it to make it even worse. He snaps into command right away, shouting for everyone to wake up, then blares that they were ambushed, wiped out the enemy, and that something worse could still be on the way. Before the next wave crashes in, they need to bail right now and sprint to Minton. He slams an order for an instant push toward Minton. Then the guards snap to attention and start hauling the whole camp into motion. They roll up to Minton Castle, and from above those massive fortified walls practically glare at you while the whole town sprawls out beneath them like a map. Duke Minton steps in wearing ornate ceremonial robes covered in crosses, greets them with open warmth, and thanks them for showing up. One of the group members leans in and thanks the Duke for carving out time to meet with them. Duke Minton shoots back that there's nothing honorable about His Highness dropping by his humble provincial domain, then waves them to sit down instead of just standing there and talking. Duke Minton finally admits the truth. Things have been a mess lately. He tells them the monsters have moved into the abandoned mines and tunnels where the magic stones were pulled out, and now the townsfolk are paying the price. Though somehow the adventurers cleared through it before, but in the last few months, the monsters have gotten way stronger, and now extermination is falling apart. They keep limping back with nothing to show no progress at all, and he tells me they even begged the city's Adventurers Guild for help, but it all went nowhere. The Duke points out that if these monsters guard like yesterday's Hellhound, then the average adventurer doesn't even have a fighting chance. Charlotte turns to them and proposes one brutal plan. Hand the royal guards the job of exterminating the monsters. Alto clocks it instantly. This is just another problem-solved deal, traded for an invitation into their faction, the kind of backroom noble negotiation everyone's nodding at as one person blurts it out. Charlotte promises that they'll dispatch the 7th Royal Guard headed by Captain Arthur, one of their deadliest, most battle-tested teams. But Duke Minton flinches, worried that cutting her own precious Royal Guard down would seriously wreck their safety. Charlotte leans in and tells him, "It's fine. This time, they've got enough people on hand to spare. Duke Minton promises he'll send some of his own soldiers to guard the princess too, and someone jumps in right away to thank him for the offer. Someone blurts out that would thin their escort out, and Charlotte snaps, "What do you mean by that?" Then the answer hits the third royal guard is already stationed here, so they're perfectly covered. No shortage at all. Alto leans in and says he really values the way they're working together. He tells them, "We're sleeping tonight to recharge, then tomorrow we'll move in fast and crush that monster." And Duke Minton nods, admitting they've been pushing through the night non-stop. And then he thanked them lavishly for every single bit of effort. That night, Alto and Charlotte sink into a comfy chat in her room, cups of tea warming their hands as the two of them just sit close and talk. Charlotte thanks Alto for tagging along on the trip, then shoots him a question: did he really have no plans? Or did this just blow them up? Alto shuts it down, nothing special really, and tells them he's just been holed up in his room, resting up and honing his magic for tomorrow's fight. Alto leans in and asks, "So, if you called me here, is this some urgent special mission?" But Charlotte shuts that down fast. This isn't a mission. She just wanted to hear what he thought. Alto's eyes widened in shock, and then Charlotte presses her, asking if she's truly making the right choice. She's pushed herself to the limit, doing everything she can to help the people of her country. Sitting at the tea table, Charlotte lays out her beliefs to you, saying she'll steer the nation so every citizen can live a life that actually feels fulfilling because she believes it's her duty, and she won't stop. Charlotte looks back on the day she was born a princess, wrapped in rules from the very first breath, expected to act worthy, expected to live up to it all, while every memory of the people crowding around her only makes her feel lonelier with every passing moment. Alto can't help thinking she may have turned down the princess title out of pure restraint. Then Charlotte leans in and fires a direct question at Alto. Does he think she should inherit the throne? Alto realizes this question would normally get marked as lesma, depending on what answer he gives on the test for that subject. Yet the princess in front of him freezes because under the crown, she's just Charlotte, a normal girl with a beating heart, and she isn't asking for royalty's answer. She's waiting on him, the person, not the title. Alto straight up admits that, for now, he's got basically no clue about the throne or the kingdom. Charlotte calls him out as the eldest son of a prestigious house raised and educated exactly for that kind of life, and then presses, "So where's your real answer?" Alto admits this is exactly the kind of mess where, if he were a retainer, he'd point at her and declare, "She's the one destined to be king." Alto insists he already knows the proper answer because he's lived through being kicked out of his own home. He tells you straight up positions, and officials are just placeholders. Push hard enough, and even the king gets swapped out in just a few years. Charlotte stares at him in silence as Alto hammers his point. Nothing beats the real person. No replacement can match them. Charlotte grins with her eyes shut, replaying the moment Alto lost the Marquise family's support and started thinking he was nothing. Then remembering how her childhood friend stepped in and showed her the truth. Alto tells her it doesn't matter whether she takes the throne or not. Lady Charlotte's choices still saved him, and she'll hear the same truth from the citizens too. He tells her heart is truly noble, so she needs to stand tall, trust what she's done, and walk around with her head held high. Charlotte thanks Alto for telling her the truth, admits it's made her like him even more, and Alto promises he'll push himself to live up to her trust. Later, Charlotte tells him she's counting on him for tomorrow's hunt, and Alto fires back that he'll make sure they pull off the win. But once he's gone, Charlotte panics because she realizes she's completely spiraled and actually confessed, "I like you." The next day crashes in, and monsters are suddenly everywhere in both tunnel locations, so the unit instantly splits into two groups to take them head-on. Frankie and Alto seize control of the southern tunnel, while Charlotte and Mia hold the line together. And Lily tore through the eastern tunnel, handling it like a pro. The mission kicks off with orders to move fast but lock in every detail. Inside the south tunnel, Frankie declares himself the new leader and tells Alto, in no uncertain terms, to start listening. He smirks and says Alto actually managed to pull his weight while Frankie was gone. Then Frankie snaps back, warning him that from this point on, monster packs will crash in, and even hardcore adventurers break a sweat, so Alto's got no idea how tough this gets. Alto nods and makes it crystal clear he gets it. Frankie keeps talking, warning him that he's watched countless people freeze on the spot and lose everything when it counts. No matter how wild their talent was, it still wouldn't be enough. And on some people's very first mission, they didn't even make it back alive. He tells Alto to stop doubting and speak up immediately because Frankie won't let the mission sink if things start going sideways. Alto locks in, shoulders squared, and vows to give it his all. Right when everything felt calm, a monster burst onto the scene like it was there from the start. Frankie clocks the thing's look, then his eyes widen as he realizes it's just an E-rank goblin. But he can't stop wondering what the heck is happening because he heard these monsters are supposed to be terrifyingly strong. Meanwhile, Frankie starts doubting if Captain Arthur really was the smarter pick after all. When the goblin closes in, Frankie clocks something weird about its outfit, and he can't help wondering if it's some kind of special model. Frankie can't believe it turns out these monsters are way weaker than they ever looked. Alto nods along, but he can't shake the feeling this goblin wasn't right too strange to be normal. Yet not strong enough to match the threat, Frankie starts wondering if the town's adventurers never beat it, because they couldn't cut through the monster's clothes. Alto tells himself it felt like some trash monster so weak it didn't even need real skills yet. Frankie immediately senses something's off about the whole thing. An hour ticks by as they push deeper into the tunnel. Then a gigantic spider-like monster slams into view in front of them. Frankie points out they've already smashed around 10 of these things, yet the place keeps digging deeper. Alto can't shake the feeling that this isn't a room at all, it's a full-on dungeon. After Alto crushes the monster, he leans in and calls it out. These encounters are way too abnormal. The frequency keeps climbing the farther they push in, and Frankie can't shake the feeling that it's like someone deliberately planted monsters right here. Unlike a dungeon where monsters pop out of nowhere, these are clearly set there on purpose. Then Alto spots something scary on the map, a perfect, well-kept road, but it's not on the route they're using, and the trail ahead looks like it's about to crumble. Suddenly, Alto grabs Frankie's attention and blurts that more monsters are lurking up ahead, and these ones look way stronger than before. But Frankie grins and says it's perfect. He's been nothing but small fry until now, and he finally wants to show off. Alto fires back that he's ready, and Frankie grins like, "The stronger you are, the more I'll savor crushing you." This time, their job is simple: wipe out those monsters, no survivors. The two of them keep shoving deeper into the tunnel, going further and further into the dark. They stumble on a massive creature, and Alto locks in and declares it a king lizard man and a rank beast. Its strength and speed hit like nothing a normal lizard man could ever match. Frankie sizes up their boss-level enemies for a mid-scale dungeon, then lays it out. Hellhounds are a rank because they move like a team, but these monsters? They're A rank even when they're on their own. Then Alto cranes his head forward and spots 7 of them already lurking in the tunnel, waiting for him. Frankie leans in and asks Alto, "Are you getting cold feet?" But Alto snaps back that he's ready to fight this very second if Frankie tells him to. Frankie warns him like, "Don't worry, you probably already know this, don't you?" But he refused to drop his guard for a single second in the middle of the fight. Alto braces himself as the King Lizardmen march in right toward him. Meanwhile, Frankie yells he's finishing this in one shot and blasts off Dragon's Breath, a brutal, powerful surge that tears through the air. Frankie unleashes his attack with mind-blowing skill that could smash through any barrier. Then he roars, "This is the end." The massive blast of magic slams straight into the King Lizardman. Frankie's jaw drops. His elite skill couldn't even scratch them. Alto stares it down and realizes it's exactly like the hellhounds they face before every one of these monsters is wrapped in brutal, power-charged barriers. Frankie shouts for everyone to push through anyway, hammering the point that his attack has already cracked the barrier it's seconds from breaking. The two press the attack again relentless, right on through. They tore straight through the magical defenses and surged into brutal close-quarters combat with the King Lizardmen. Then Alto and Frankie burst into the King Lizardmen like a wrecking ball, slamming their blows home and cutting the monsters down with explosive, devastating force. The fight rages on, and then more enemies spill into view ahead. Frankie spots the next wave already charging straight for them. The fight rages on, and King Lizardmen keep dropping like dominoes. Frankie insists it's totally under control until he finally counts them, and realizes there are still 5 more waiting. He rushes over and shouts to Alto, demanding to know if he's okay, but he told himself that even if he was at the very top of the class, this was still too much for a rookie to handle. Suddenly, the last King Lizardmen shatter apart and collapse to the ground. Frankie's eyes snap wide in pure shock as Calto just nods, cool as ice, and says he thinks that's every last one of them. Frankie just gapes in disbelief, trying to figure out who in the world this guy is. Alto doesn't even act like he notices the difference in their aptitude results. Alto blurts out that monsters are still lurking up ahead, then he glances at the map. He looks up and spots an A-rank monster posted right in that spot, and at this pace, they're about to slam straight into the deepest part in no time. Meanwhile, Frankie's practically crackling with rage. He swears he'll teach Alto how to deal with that deadly faux hell, and he's even ready to throw down an S rank if it comes to it. The two of them shove deeper into the tunnel maze, pushing past the dark like they mean to reach the end. Eventually, they burst into this gigantic open chamber where, up above, a round opening gapes open to the sky, pouring in light from the outside world. An enormous monster's corpse sprawls on the ground, finally crushed and defeated. And Frankie looks up and realizes they've burst out into a huge open space. Alto freezes, staring straight ahead like he can't believe what he's seeing. In the pitch-dark tunnel, a colossal dragon lurks bigger than every dragon he's ever laid eyes on, like it's doubled in size. Frankie figures the reason it keeps drawing people in usually would be simple. It's probably sucking up mana from the magic stones they left behind in the mine, and that's what's happening right now. But it feels way more likely someone artificially blew it up. Out of nowhere, that colossal armored dragon locks onto them and lets out a thunderous roar, demanding to know who the hell they think they are. The dragon catches the incoming strike and bellows again, roaring at the soldier like, "Who are you, some kind of elite fighter?" Then Frankie snaps his hand forward and hurls a fireball spell straight at the beast. Then the explosion slams in like a wrecking ball, flames and choking smoke swallow the dragon whole. The dragon slams straight into the blow, then snaps back to action like it never happened. Growling that their attack was about to hit any second, then everything tensed. The huge beast explodes forward at full speed. smashing toward Alto and Frankie, its massive bulk crashing down with unstoppable, devastating momentum. Frankie blasts Dragon Breath while Alto auto-power-ups the Fire Lance, and both of them rush into the fight. Fighters unleash their deadliest offensive spells at the exact same moment, and those blazing magic blasts streak through the air straight for the charging dragon. Two devastating spells crash together on the dragon, and the merged magic slams into it with a thunderous explosion of raw power. But once the smoke finally thins, Alto scans the creature, and it's exactly how he feared, perfectly fine. Not a scratch anywhere, while he stares in awe at the dragon's insane defense. Meanwhile, the dragon taunts them, sneering that puny fools like them can't scratch it with attacks like that. Then Alto snaps into action and fires off a brand new plan, ordering Frankie to hit one specific spot and blast straight at the base of the dragon's right leg. Frankie snaps to it. If this plan works, they can smash the barrier and also cut off one of its legs. Alto nods and confirms, "Got it, I'm with you." Two fighters lock eyes and move in perfect sync to crush their assault. Frankie's screaming, "Fire away!" and the Alto responds. They both drive focused attacks straight into the exact same target point. Their brutal, concentrated strikes hammer the dragon's leg like they're trying to bring it down. But Frankie blurts, furious that this thing is way too damn tough, while Alto hurls curses because they haven't even cracked the barrier after all that focused attack. Suddenly, Frankie clocks the dragon gearing up to fire back, and he screams at Alto to unleash defensive magic with everything he's got. Frankie's scream rips through the chaos as the dragon's brutal counterstrike detonates out of nowhere, slamming into them with raw, crushing power until the explosion swallows everything. Hexagonal barriers exploded in a million pieces after the massive impact slammed into them. A brutal blast rockets Alto backward, and Frankie blurts, "Newbie, are you okay?" Alto pushes himself back from the impact, eyes blazing with focus because he finally realizes the threat in front of him isn't just strong, it's on a whole other level, and he has to beat it before the barrier shatters completely. Alto digs in for his counterattack, dark energy whipping around him as he hurls a massive strike straight at the dragon. The fight rages on. Alto darts out of the dragon's attacks like a blur, while Frankie hangs back in the distance, locked onto every move. While the battlefield erupts in explosions, someone shouts to the newbie, right in the middle of all the chaos. Frankie spits out curses, furious because he can't reach them in time to help in the fight. Explosions rip through the sky as the dragon hammers its attack, and then Frankie spots it. The barrier is gone. Alto realizes one more hit and it's over. He blurts out his spell commands at lightning speed, slamming Ice Wall down and firing a Fire Lance right after. The merged spells crash into the dragon with a brutal, world-shaking impact. Finally, he shattered through its defenses with a brutal barrage of explosive strikes. But the dragon rips the air open with a brutal roar at Alto, demanding his full attention like a threat dare him to ignore it. That massive eye glares like a nightmare, and then it lunges in with pure, violent fury. Alto snaps back into action, firing off an icy wall and unleashing a blazing Fire Lance in rapid succession. The spells slam into the dragon all at once, detonating into a thunderous explosion of pure magic. Suddenly, Alto rockets toward the dragon at breakneck speed, going straight for the attack. He unleashes a non-stop storm of attacks, smashing into the creature again and again. Every strike Alto throws lands like a hammer, harder than before. The dragon has to swallow the full brutality, hit after hit, until the damage finally starts to show all over its body. Alto clenches his teeth and fights to stay calm while the dragon zeroes in on him again and again. He freezes, realizing the creature isn't just guessing whether it's instinct or pure intelligence. It can tell he's weakened and exposed. The pressure crushes him as the truth lands one more direct hit and he's done for. No time to remake the barrier, but Alto won't quit. There's got to be a clue somewhere. Anything that leads us straight to the way out. Right when it all goes critical, a system pop-up flashes in front of Alto. His auto magic just leveled up, and a brand new skill is ready for him to use. Alto's face lit up as the stairs chimed. Auto magic hit level 30. That required experience was so sky-high, his brain erased the very idea that leveling even existed. Alto yells at Frankie, asking if he can hold the dragon's attention for a few precious moments. He rips out a scent ball, this super condensed treat monsters can't resist, and snaps it open by burning it. Frankie instantly hurls a fireball to light it up, then snaps at Alto for taking forever to hand him something like that. Alto throws out an apology, then admits there might be a way to smash through this mess. The dragon lets out a dismissive snort as it charges forward, but Frankie just flashes a grin. Alto finally learned to bank on his own power. Then the dragon hurls itself into a brutal rampage, smashing Frankie's position with massive claw strikes. Frankie charges straight at the dragon, face to face. Rage and determination sparked in his face as he told Alto not to hold back. He swore he'd keep going for hours if he had to. Meanwhile, the dragon's attention snaps to the scent ball, and Frankie can't stop thinking, Alto. Alto locks eyes on the system notification blasting in front of him. The activation count shot up, and even better, instant scripting is live now. That notification basically screams that level 30 is officially reached. He unleashed instant scripting and cranked his simultaneous activation count up to 32. Alto realizes this power was already crushing a high-level skill even before the upgrade. And now, with this boost, he might be able to unleash firepower that's straight up off the charts. Then Alto shouts for Frankie, rushing in with an apology for making him wait. He tells Frankie he's about to unleash a brutally powerful skill he's never used before, so it could totally backfire, and he begs Frankie to stay careful. Frankie snaps back, yelling that he wasn't waiting at all, like, it's only been 5 minutes. But Frankie's worry keeps climbing. He can't wrap his head around how Alto, after flexing all that ridiculous power, is somehow still pushing his output even higher. Alto drops into a crouch, thrusts his hands forward, and sparks a fire lance to life. Suddenly, from Alto's position, a gigantic fire lance blasts out bigger than anything anyone's ever seen, and the spell rips through the air with pure, brutal power. Frankie's jaw drops. He's never seen a fire lance this massive in his life. A giant fire lance crashes into the dragon with brutal, world-shaking force. The attack rips straight through the creature's defenses like they're made of air. Alto yells for one more shot on the spot, then refuses to let up for even a single second. Alto's spell blasts the dragon backward, launching it skidding through the air like nothing can stop it. Its enormous body couldn't take a single hit from the barrage. Alto drives his massive fire lance into the dragon again, blasting it back with pure, devastating impact. The massive spell rips straight through the creature's defenses, and the blast detonates in the air, shaking everything around them. An explosion swallows the dragon whole, and the huge beast gets slammed backwards, skidding from the sheer force of the attack. Frankie just stands there, jaw dropped, as the massive wreckage in front of him keeps unfolding like a nightmare. Frankie locks onto what he's watching. He used to seethe with jealousy over Alto, but now something hits him hard, because this power is so massive and wild it leaves him genuinely shaken, like nothing he ever imagined could exist. But then Alto locks in, studies everything, and realizes the truth: this dragon still isn't down for good. Frankie snaps in pure rage, screaming that he needs to know what's going on because that dragon was supposed to be beaten. But then, out of nowhere, armored figures slam in around them, and Alto bursts forward to intercept as the whole battlefield erupts. Someone yells to hold back while another flings a fireball at the incoming threats. Armored soldiers erupt into full-blown panic, screaming as everything spirals harder out of control. One soldier screams for help while the other hesitates, desperately searching for a way out. Blurts out in pure confusion, while Alto just stands there, eyes locked on the chaos, worried to the bone. Then one of the soldiers spots Alto and shouts his name, demanding to know what in the world he's doing in a place like this. Frankie never guessed they'd meet like this again, so he blurts out whether the soldier knows Alto, and Alto admits the man is his old colleague. The soldier panics, blurting that they were only hired for the money, and they were told to handle the monsters in this place. Frankie snaps, "Who the hell are you people? And what's the real reason they're even here at all?" The soldier blurts out shaking, "I swear I don't know a thing," but Alto just meets his stare head on like he's daring him to blink first. The soldier swears he's telling the truth and knows nothing, but Alto cuts him off. "Don't lie, I already know." Alto snaps that the soldier's usefulness is officially over, and Frankie coldly steps up and admits it. Meanwhile, a woman's voice screams in panic that they're staying put until morning, meaning the princess is still there. Someone blurts out Minton's name, and suddenly rumors swarm that more people were there too. Then another voice snaps, "Mimics, it's Minton." Then the dragon roars and blasts another crippling dragon breath attack, and then it clicks for everyone. This can't be luck. They snap into action, decide to head back to Minton right now, and the whole group agrees, gets ready, and moves out. Frankie grins, saying he's relieved they chose the emergency return signal right away, and just like that, on cue, a flare blasts into the sky. The moment the signal hits, the soldiers around them snap into panic. One guy screams, "Move, run now while you still can." But Alto barrels forward and slices them down before they even get the chance to escape. The soldiers lie pinned to the ground, bound tight and completely restrained. Charlotte's face creases with worry, and she whispers a quiet prayer that the princess stays safe. Alto nods and says the military police will come get the captured soldiers later, and someone instantly backs him up. Then Alto and the crew burst into a sprint toward Minton, abandoning the bound mercenaries in their tracks. They storm up to the castle, and what they see hits like a punch, bodies everywhere, sprawled across the grounds and even the stairs. Alto scans the battlefield in horror. Every last soul's gone, not a single survivor breathing. Frankie's face twists with pure horror at the massacre. Suddenly, voices thunder up from below, shouting for Alto, Frankie, and Captain Arthur. Lily and Mia show up, visibly shaken, and Lily can't wrap her head around it. Everyone was alive just this morning. Mia leans in and blurts, "Tell me any survivors." And Alto immediately confirms the count, then barks orders. His first priority is the princess, so he orders everyone to tear through the castle and search. The crew breaks apart across the castle grounds, charging into the search like a hunt is about to begin. Meanwhile, the crew tears through the castle halls and finds bodies strewn all over the place. One of the girls realizes, staring around, that corpses are piled up everywhere. Then Alto spots the weird part: the maids and servants weren't touched at all. Only the soldiers got wiped out. As they push deeper into the search, a light-haired captain finally steps into view. Alto yells at him to stop, then demands Eric explain what all of this is supposed to mean. And then it clicked. She identified him as the captain of the 3rd Royal Guard. Duke Minton just stands there, broken by the massacre, and when Alto asks how any of this could happen, the poor guy can't even wrap his head around it. Everyone really is gone. Meanwhile, the blonde Captain Eric marches up to Captain Arthur and reports that he's already cleared most of the other rooms. And the news is grim. Nowhere in sight is the princess, and Eric's gut screams it. She's been abducted. Someone in the group blurts out, "No bodies" means they're probably still alive. Alto blurts out that there's zero time to sit around waiting for reinforcements. "We're going for them right now." He shouts that he's in, and Mia and Lily both shoot back with a loud, eager yes, ready to move out. The story snaps into a midnight forest clearing, where the darkness hangs heavy. Then boom, an explosive hit tears through the air, and someone screams, "Get out of here now!" Bound bodies slump on the ground as desperate voices scream names, Xiao Ding, again and again in panic. One person clocks it instantly. This feels exactly like they were dragged in here exactly as planned. A bound captive screams at the top of their lungs, begging someone to set them free. Then Minister Wilo steps out and Charlotte spots him instantly. Even with ropes holding her, she yells his name loud and clear. Wilo just bursts into laughter, asks what in the world she means, and shrugs like it can't be helped. Then he barks an order to strip everything off her except her arms. Duke Minton's voice slices through the air, and Wilo instantly gets it. His words just betrayed him as he shouts to Princess Charlotte. Wilo delivers a chilling speech. Then he reveals the princess, the second most powerful person in this country, is now kneeling before him drenched in blood. Charlotte demands to know why Willow has snapped and turned to pure violence. Duke Minton grins like trouble standing right next to her. And as Okamli tries to reassure her, he insists this isn't some wild gamble. Every move was set in place long before. He drops the truth. This is the exact reason he could bait her out here, way deep into the mountain. Wilo throws his arms wide and roars that this plan won't be finished until Charlotte is dead. Charlotte yanks herself free and snaps back if all he wants is her death. Then he should have just finished it right at Minton Castle. But Wilo tells the princess to calm down, swearing he'll end it the right way. Charlotte demands answers. Why did he have to drag every last person in Minton Castle into this mess? Wilo leans in and says that before he kills Charlotte, he's got to deal with this massive eyesore, and the plan is to wipe out Arthur, the royal guard, too, while he's at it. Then he tells Charlotte straight to her face that she's about to become his hostage, and Charlotte freezes in pure, total shock. Charlotte pleads with Willow to stop, but he barrels on until Arthur keeps stepping in again and again for his noble plans right near them. Someone calls it out, and Willow fires back that the damage they've already taken is immeasurable. Then Charlotte finally gets it. Willow isn't just after her. She's hunting Captain Arthur too, and Charlotte snaps, "Did you set all of this up so the prince's faction could move without a single hitch?" Wilo admits he's the kind who plans with ruthless caution, and then he underlines the truth. The real work is still far from over. Willow chuckles and admits with no shame that yeah, his plan was flawless, because the second Charlotte finds out that people are getting hurt by monsters. He could feel it coming. She was about to send Arthur's squad packing, and right then Alto and the rest were shown posted nearby, watching. While he gloats, he attacks because the nuisances are gone, and somehow everything just goes his way too easily. As carriages clatter through the forest, Willow keeps needling them like, "You really think there's no time to call backup right now?" He snorts, calling it pathetic. Nothing but a twisted sense of justice and just one lonely squad. Wilo's face split into a smug grin as he sneered. "Look at you. You really dragged yourselves all this way just to become monster fodder." But Charlotte fires back, yelling that they're proud knights and they're nothing like him, demanding to know if he honestly believes everything will go exactly the way he mapped out. Charlotte gets slammed hard and erupts in a sharp scream of pure pain. Wilo snaps at her to shut that insolent mouth, calling her a little brat, then tells her cold as ice that he could kill her this instant, and she's only still breathing because he lets her. Charlotte's face says it all, pure pain, fresh tears, and the kind of suffering that won't stop. Meanwhile, Arthur's squad guns their horses through the forest, chasing hard on the trail. Willow's forces left behind. One of the female knights snaps to attention and warns the captain that something feels seriously wrong. Even with no rain in sight, the wheel tracks they're following are crystal clear, sharp enough to spot from anywhere. Alto stares at the dirt, then clicks his tongue. Those tracks weren't left by accident. The squad suddenly realizes someone's baiting them straight into a trap. Someone points out that Willow left such obvious trail crumbs of the attack like she wants them to follow, and Alto takes a deeper look, realizing this only makes sense if Charlotte wasn't meant to be killed outright. Because if Willow's real goal was murder, she never would have bothered abducting her and hiding the mess afterward. With everything on the table, Alto doesn't think this is just about killing the princess. He's convinced they're aiming to wipe out the 7th Royal Guard too, along with her. Mia and Lily brace themselves, ready to face whatever comes next. Their chase slams to a fork. Shinwa's tracks split and run down both roads, like the world just challenged them to choose. Frankie finally clocks the truth. The enemy's trying to scatter them and tear the crew apart. They scope out both routes, right? One funnels into a mountain hut, the perfect hideout, while the left just dumps them on some brutal mountain trail that goes nowhere. Alto figures out most of the time the enemy is hiding on the right path. Frankie locks in the plan. He and Alto charge down the right path, while Mia and Lily slip off to scout the left. Mia practically can't wait. She enthusiastically confirms the orders. Alto snaps at them not to go overboard, and even though his gut twists at the idea of throwing only the rookies in, he still admits, yeah, they've got real talent. He tells them, if you spot the princess, blast a massive fire lance as a signal, then the whole squad will tear over there right away. They all nod and confirm they've got it. As they make their way down the left path, the female knight snaps that the princess might not be here because this route is basically nothing but a lousy little game trail now. Then Alto spots brand new wheel tracks chewing up the grass, and he blurts out that he's found them. Through the thick brush, Alto locks onto a flicker of light far out ahead. Alto ignites his fire lance and blasts the signal, letting everyone know the princess has finally been found. Through the trees, they spot Charlotte tied up and sprinting in place while Duke Willow and a masked figure hold her captive. Duke Willow shouts a warning that they'd better not come closer, then snarls that she's the one who isn't Arthur. He shrugs it off because in his mind, he'd already planned to wipe them both out anyway. Alto's eyes widen in pure shock when he spots the minister. Willow insists the only real twist is this. Someone starts and someone ends it. Charlotte snaps at Duke Willow, screaming that he must realize what he's doing, because she's the princess and that act is high treason. Willow mumbles the words under his breath, and you can see concern flicker across his face. Then the masked figure beside him grins and challenges him to say, "Who's got the proof?" Willow steadies himself and fires back that none of them are walking out of here alive anyway. The masked figure snaps into action, chanting a fierce incantation and firing off ancient spell words as their hand gestures slice the air. Lily spots the magic circle and the incantation snapping into place, and her stomach drops as she realizes something terrifying is about to strike. The masked figure finishes the spell with a snap and unleashes a blazing fireball into the world. A blazing fireball rockets forward, slamming the enemy with pure, devastating power. Alto and Lily snap into shock as the magical assault crashes straight into them. Meanwhile, Charlotte, still pinned down by Willow, breaks into laughter and shoots back, "Isn't this just magnificent?" The masked figure yanks its servant into action, snarling as the great dragon scorches, then a colossal skeletal dragon erupts from the chaos with a deafening roar, and it's ordered to wipe out Alto and his crew. The undead monster towers over them, all that massive bone structure looming and throwing dark shadows across the battlefield. Alto snaps into action, stacking his powers, pumping both physical and magic buffs, then unleashes a blazing fire lance. The upgraded spell crashes into the skeletal dragon, and the extra power hits like a thunderclap. Alto's muscles strain with every ounce of effort, and his breath just barely keeps up as Lily keeps throwing punches beside him, refusing to let the fight end. Meanwhile, Alto clocked the situation in seconds still, even at full blast. With a physical and magic boosted strike maxed out, that dragon didn't so much as flinch. But then it hits him. This thing can't fly. He grabs another fire lance and tweaks his whole plan on the spot. Alto declares he'll smash the skeletal dragon's legs and steal every bit of its mobility. His boosted strikes crash into the creature's limb joints, shattering them with brutal, bone-rattling impact. Explosions detonated the moment his magic latched onto bone. Then Alto leans in and demands, "Did Duke Willow raise those monsters?" Duke Minton says that the monsters Alto has been slugging it out since yesterday and today. And Charlotte nods like, "Yep, those hits were brutal as hell." Duke Willow erupts in laughter and rubs it in this whole win is thanks to that idiot dog that handed it to him way too easily, letting him finally finish the project. Alto freezes in shock when it clicks Oroso and Dog are behind the whole scheme. The explanation keeps rolling after they dissected every piece. They finally forged the strongest dragon on the planet. Duke Willow swagger praises it, claiming they made it the toughest of them all. Then bam, the shock lands. That dragon trapped in the mine was in on the whole plan too. The marks on that idiot's sword told the whole story. It proved it was strong enough to lock away a legendary S-ranked dragon zombie forever. This barrier skill taps into lost magic from the old generation. Down there, Alto just stands frozen, letting the full weight of their conspiracy slam into their mind. Meanwhile, Duke Willow brushes off the mine dragon like a sloppy flop. And when someone snaps that Wyro let his guard down, the Duke immediately fires back. He's not about to let anyone call that thing a failed attempt, when he's sitting here calling this a perfected creation. Suddenly, something insane strikes and panic snaps through them like an alarm bell. A skeletal dragon slithers through the forest, rattling the silence with every step. Lily snaps out a dispel shot. Swinging with everything he had, he slammed the skeletal dragon hard. Alto screams at her to run because the barrier is gone. Lily barrels forward the moment someone ignites a holy sword, its light blazing with sacred power as she lunges in to strike. Duke Willow just bursts into laughter, insisting he wasn't careless because his barrier magic has fully fused into the dragon's body tissues. And he declares with pure certainty that whatever they try it is all pointless. Lily freezes in pure shock as her attack bounces off the dragon like nothing happened, untouched and unbroken. Then it hits her no matter how hard she tries to cancel it. This barrier is on a whole other level. Duke Wilo brags about every prize he's seized: his massive frame, his research, the wreckage it leaves behind, and the raw power, and he even admits that outside in the real open fight, he still couldn't get much combat experience. Someone yells that it's time to shut it down and finish the whole thing. Then Duke Wilo barks at the skeletal dragon to finish Alto, yelling at the mighty dragon Scalded as the thing roars and unleashes a brutal, earth-shaking blast. Lily screams a warning about dragon breath, then yells for everyone to back up instantly, blasting an ice wall into place. The divine barrier snaps into place. Alto clocks it. This is terrible, with the heat wave roaring and the attack's reach so massive the blast spreads too wide to dodge. Then the dragon unleashes a blast of breath that detonates on impact, and it sends every single one of them flying backward. A voice cuts through the air calling out for Ms. Lily. Alto screams for Lily and Mia just as the blast rips through their defensive position. An ice wall snaps back to life the second someone blurts out a question. Lily and Mia look like they're okay. Lily shoots back that she's fine, even if she's taken a beating. But then someone snaps Alto's attention away from checking on them and tells him to go hunt down a smarter, more efficient way to handle it. They reminded him how they tore into the Hellhound by smashing its weak point right in the mouth. Alto's dubbed a total cost efficiency nut, but now he's stuck on it, chewing the idea over like it's a real problem. He remembers how they crushed the dragon zombie for good by smashing its one weak point, the core. So yeah, even this beast has to have at least one weak, vulnerable spot. Alto finally gets it by splitting the pursuers into two squads. He can make the dragon's invincible act crack just enough, but he's racing the clock trying to figure out the one weakness before it's too late. Normally, he'd have time to experiment, but pulling off a complex spell means every piece of syntax has to click, so he frets. Can he even craft something that intricate in such a short window? Or should he just fire off auto magic, spam skills, and jot down the damage? Then it suddenly slams into him his brand new skill, the one he's never used before: instant scripting. It's because this time he's switching methods, grabbing some fresh new approach he hasn't tried yet. Alto triggers instant transcription on those fireball spells, tracking every hit in real time and pinpointing the exact spot where each blast hurts the most. Magical words and wild calculations start popping onto the page at lightning speed. Alto realizes something that used to take him hours is happening in the blink of an eye. Alto slams the weakness scan button and locks on the enemy's tells. An observer stares in disbelief as he keeps blasting non-stop 32 shot bursts over and over, and Lily snaps that he's basically peppering the dragon's whole body, striking it everywhere at once. Then someone brushes it off as nothing but a storm of numbers. No real damage at all until Duke Wilo scoffs that no matter how many spark volleys those Alto fires unleash, they won't even qualify as a massage for the dragon. While the scan churns at breakneck speed, it sifts through every impact point across the skeletal dragon's massive frame, and then the system snaps the truth into place. The real weak spot is right at the base of its wings. Alto snaps his fire lance to lock on the weak spot he just uncovered. With pinpoint accuracy, the concentrated magical spear rockets straight into the dragon's wing base. The fire lance hits dead center again and again, blasting straight into the dragon's wing joints until its wing collapses under the brutal, devastating impacts. Lillian and Mia stare on as the attacks rip through the creature's defenses like they're paper. But the attack keeps coming, Holy Sword blazes to life, and right after that, Ice Lance crashes in. A non-stop barrage of combined magic smashes the dragon's weak spots over and over, landing spell after spell exactly where it hurts most. Then the dragon crumples to the ground and someone screams out loud. They erupted in celebration, riding pure excitement over Alto's success. Duke Wilo just freezes in disbelief, swearing none of this can be real, while the masked figure screams in agony as the undead dragon collapses under them. Duke Willow snarls in fury, swearing this isn't how it's meant to go, like everything has already shattered beyond saving. Lily hurled an ice shot straight at Duke Wilo. The Duke shrieks as the attack crashes into his body. He rips into them, yelling what the hell they think they're doing. Then Lily steps in with Ice Hand and clamps him down, fully restraining him. Meanwhile, Alto bursts over to Princess Charlotte, scanning her for injuries and demanding to know if she's okay. Charlotte lies there, battered and spent, barely scraping out words, and she still manages to call Alto's name every week. Alto barrels to her side, snaps that she's safe now, and rushes to ask if she's hurt anywhere at all. Charlotte lunges toward him, shouting his name again like she can't afford to wait. Lily and Mia just stare at the whole scene, eyes wide and mouths hanging open in pure shock. Alto stares in shock as Charlotte clings to him and blurts out non-stop thanks over and over again. Alto's thoughts spiral with terror, wondering if this whole mess is about to get him charged with lèse-majesté. But he shoves that thought away, tells her anyway, and can finally breathe because the princess is safe. Then Charlotte leans in and tells Alto, "When you talk to me, don't forget, say my name, Charlotte." She says she was certain she'd nailed it when she pushed his name for the royal guard. Alto just quietly sits there, calm on the outside while everything builds around her. That night, the two of them stayed close beneath the stars, and Charlotte's heart hammered like it couldn't believe what just happened. Meanwhile, at the Wellesley estate, an official drops in quiet at first, But you can feel something big coming. The official flat out confirms that the info looks legit and reliable. Breaking news hits Minister Wilo gets arrested. While one person is scrambling for clues, someone else is fully taking in the conspiracy, and the Scalded isn't some rumor, it's a real S-rank monster, the kind that top fighters can barely beat. To pull off the attack on Minton Castle, the whole scheme demanded an eye-popping fortune so they could prep everything, assemble the strike team, and get ready to hit. It was meant to buy at a minister's seat then, right on cue. Everything shattered and fell apart. Their target was clear wipe out the princess and Alto too. Now someone finally races back to their master, reporting the person who crushed the Scolded. After it got enhanced, that monster should have been unstoppable, so strong that even Arthur and a few others teaming up still couldn't punch through its defenses. Then the servant leans in and drops the bombshell. His name is Alto. The master shrieks in pure terror the second he hears that name, and his composure shatters on the spot. While the officials keep hammering out their debate, Minister Huero gets dragged in caught as the mastermind behind the whole string of incidents. And as the room hears he's staying stone cold silent about everything else, someone leans in and warns the master, don't count on atonement being accepted. But the master screams at them, warning them not to be reckless. Even if the charges fall apart, everyone knowing he's been cozy with the minister is already poison. So if that faction crumbles too, his dream of becoming a minister is finished for good. Suddenly someone barges in and yells, cutting the moment in half. At the Wellesley estate, Alto's father slams down in his chair, ripping through paperwork like it's fighting him, pure frustration pouring out as he grumbles that nothing's going right and snaps curses at the whole mess. Then his face snaps into focus because right there, in front of him, the perfect stepping stone is waiting. He decides that since things have hit this point, it's done. He's cutting ties with the prince's faction for good. A few days later, back at the royal palace, Princess Charlotte storms in again, wrapped in an elegant flowing dress that turns heads the moment she appears. Eric, the captain of the 3rd Royal Guard, lights up as he greets her the moment she comes back. Charlotte drops into a deep bow and blurts out a non-stop apology, but Eric urges her to lift her head, and Charlotte explains the 3rd Royal Guard was wiped out shielding her, so her condolences, from the one destined to unite and lead the people, have been fully accepted. Charlotte wears a worried look, and then someone tells her the guards aren't to blame, they're just doing what knights do best. Their reward protecting her, no questions asked. Charlotte's face flickers with the brutal impact of those words landing. Meanwhile, someone quizzes Arthur on how his rescue went. And when the answer comes back, it flips everything. Turns out it wasn't Arthur at all, but the rookies who crushed the Scalded and pulled the princess to safety. One of the Watchers leans in, praises this year's rookie class as straight up incredible, then turns to Arthur and says, he nailed it. Arthur nods and agrees. Then Charlotte slams the point home if it weren't for them. Wilo would have taken her own life, so someone declares that Feet deserves a medal. The official sweeps it through and calls for everyone to disperse for now so they can finally catch their breath. Then another person announces, all right, I'm making my report now. And they're ordered to spill every detail about Arthur. Alto stands there with Lily, Mia, and the rest, and they all fire back with huge, unstoppable enthusiasm. Alto, Charlotte, and Mia stride out of the palace side by side, leaving it all behind together. Lily stares them down and yells for Alto, while someone murmurs that she really poured everything she had into it. Then, finally, it looks like they might actually get some rest today, and Lily's face tightens with worry as Alto walks off with the rest. But out of nowhere, Alto gets cornered in the palace courtyard by a slick dude with a ponytail, glasses, and full formal armor. Alto stared up from the dirt, and looming over him stood the man who owned his world, his father, Marquis Wellesley. Marquis Wellesley tells Alto, you crushed those hardships and earned your respect the hard way, now you're truly standing tall. He declares, since Alto is right here, I'll let him slip back to Wellesley's proud house. Alto gapes up at his father in pure shock. Alto snaps to his father that turning back isn't happening, Marquis Wellesley. Far off in the distance, Lily and Mia keep staring as the clash plays out. Alto steps forward and declares that he's got comrades now who truly back him, so he doesn't need to stay in the Wellesley family anymore. Marquis Wellesley roars at Alto, demanding to know exactly how much more ungrateful he plans to be. But Alto keeps his cool, gives his father a calm explanation, and slips away before the tension can catch up. Later on, Lily leans in and tells Alto the truth. He's finally severing ties with that family. And Alto shoots back a quick, no-nonsense acknowledgement. Then the story whips into a lavish palace chamber where Prince Richard Charlotte lounged in a throne-like chair made for royalty. He leans in and tells the man on his knees that he's genuinely impressed. He even had the nerve to show up. Marquis Wellesley drops into a deep bow before the prince in that lavish room. The battered man finally breaks down and admits he grossly underestimated how unstoppable the 7th Imperial Guard really is. Prince Richard leans in and asks if that guy's to blame too for Wilo's blunder. The man insists it was Duke Walo who botched the whole operation, though it was him who supplied the Skulldead. Prince Richard says he's been told the preparations are way more than enough. The man snaps back that this rookie knight was the game-changer Alto, appointed thanks to the princess's recommendation. Prince Richard perks up when Alto's name gets brought up, And everyone's stunned Alto didn't just wreck the House of Bones plan, he even drove Wilo straight into his own downfall. Prince Richard says it loud and clear, it's the results that matter, not the talk. He blurts out that the princess is still alive and that the throne's next in line is already tilting toward her. He fires off the question, demanding to know exactly how that guy plans to fix this mess. The dark-haired man presses on with his report to Prince Richard, then outright demands that the princess be killed, even though she's just a commoner now. Down in the lower chamber, a blonde noblewoman brushes him off, sneering that talk costs nothing. But the man snaps back fast, claiming that when it comes to the Wellesley family, nobody tops him at collecting secrets, because Alto once wore the crown as the eldest son of his own household. The woman snapped that she wouldn't trust him until he proved himself right in front of her eyes, demanding results she could see with her own gaze. The man drops into a bow, confirms he got it, and swears he'll start the preparations right away. A few days later at the Wellesley estate, someone crashes in and demands answers from the master. Is it really true? The dark-haired man laughs it off, then leans in and says he actually needs to kick up a little chaos. But Marquis Wellesley blows a gasket, screaming that if they go through with it, the country could tumble into chaos they'll never be able to rein in. The dark-haired man lays out the whole plan with cold calm, snatching someone they can control to lure and scatter the knights away from the royal capital. And then he shrugs. They don't even have to win because the knights are just a distraction. The dark-haired man settles into a throne-like chair behind the ornate desk, and the moment the other person says, "I understand," he nods like, "Good, now do it." Right then, someone crumples at their desk, so a servant rushes over, spots the danger, and shouts to their lord, "What's happening?" Later, Marquis Wellesley leans in and throws the dark-haired man a fierce good luck as he gears up to leave for battle. The dark-haired man strides through the estate's interior, and each pounding footstep booms through the halls. Someone tells him, "Good luck," and he flashes a quick nod to acknowledge it. As he keeps moving, the man's face tightens into pure seriousness, and he knows, yeah, he'll have to brace for the worst too. He declares, "We'll use the Great Center Camilla as part of our contingency plan." The story plunges deep into a murky mining facility where criminals are chained to brutal labor, digging through rock day and night, hunting magic stones, and right in the middle of the prisoners is Bone, the poisoner who sabotaged the night exams. Now he's falling apart, drenched in sweat, gasping and straining just to raise his pickaxe as he crumples onto the rough cave floor, completely wiped out, broken by the grind. He can't even prop himself up anymore, and he starts spiraling the second he spots a cut on his leg, screaming that it hurts, panicking about germs crawling into the wound, insisting his whole leg is going numb while the other prisoners just stand there, staring. He's breaking down in tears, and one guy finally asks if he's okay, but the rest snarl that he'll be useless dead weight on the job. So they yank him off to the infirmary, and one of the workers snaps at Mr. High and Mighty to stop loitering and get over here to help carry him back to the... He rushed toward the medical bay, a freezing little room with nothing but a handful of empty beds for the workers. The doctor slaps on a quick bandage, but Bone is still freaking out like the world's ending, screaming the second someone even brushes his injured leg. As the doctor turns to leave, Bon snaps with rage and yells that they haven't even handed over a single special herb or healing potion yet, but the doctor couldn't care less. Bon keeps barking about being the heir to the House of Bourne, and he even threatens to fire that poor worker if he doesn't haul the medicine over right now. Bon whips his head back in pure confusion. This worker just stands there, arms crossed like he's about to drop a bombshell, and that's when Bones snap at his side as he perches on the edge of the medical bed. Then he jabs the guy and demands, "What's your point?" And the worker stares him straight in the eyes, points at the dark brand on Bon's neck, and says that Mark means his crimes had to be brutal, so But Bon just snaps his head away and tells the guy to mind his own business. He's not going to talk about it until the worker drops a shocking truth. He's got the exact same brand inked on his own neck, then looks utterly wrecked as he explains they're both marked the same way, and it all leads to using Bon to go quiet. He looks wrecked, sweat bursts out as the conversation's weight crashes down on him, and the guy straight up tells him that this brand means he's already personally ticked off the royal family. So the punishments for people like him only stretch longer and never get shorter, no matter how many big noble house connections he thinks he has. So the worker bluntly tells him to stop dreaming his family's influence will rescue him. And it hits like a cold splash of reality, leaving him staring, left in bone-deep fear slams into him. He can't believe the words he's hearing, and panic erupts as he realizes he's trapped here for good. And then he snaps, clutching his head and screaming at the top of his lungs, "Why is someone from a noble family forced to endure this?" He rages, and before long he's blaming Alto for everything, insisting it's all that kid's fault for showing up at the exam in the first place. His worker's eyes blow wide, sweat erupts on his face, and he blurts out fully blindsided yelling that Bon just said, "Alto," right? He knows exactly who that is. Alto even says the kid only showed up because the princess recommended him. Meanwhile, Bon slumps on his bed, miserable as hell, and snarls at Alto as a filthy commoner who wrecked his whole life. The worker suddenly snaps into a rage, looms over him, and starts yelling, demanding to know if he's been set up by that useless kid too, while Bon jolts his eyes up in shock, thinking, "Wait, did the same thing happen to this guy?" And the work? The worker blows a gasket, swearing that if that fool hadn't shown up, he'd already be getting invited to the royal court as a knight, like he's living in some total fantasy dream. And he completely snaps, grabs his head and screams his lungs out right in the middle of the room. Bonbon just stays frozen in silence, watching the guy spiral into a full-on meltdown, and finally, he glanced down and had to face the truth, sure. Revenge was calling his name, but he couldn't ignore just how insanely strong that kid really was. It's gnawing at him. But Bonbon leans into the worker and insists that once the dust settles, the guy he saw wasn't incompetent at all, just a hard truth. He struggles to say out loud, but he can't shake the memory of Alto unleashing top-tier magic so sharp it still humiliates him. Because it's power, he can't pull off, and the moment he realizes a genius like him got outclassed that fast, defeat just crushes his spirit. The worker snaps to it. Alto's been sitting on that kind of power for ages, and nobody even clocked it. Then he smirks and drags Bonbon, calling him an absolute idiot for missing it so badly. Then the guy flashes this dark, creepy grin, and he tells Bonbon not to freak out because in a place like this, they've got their own way of handling things. A worker leans in with a nasty grin, whispers a shady plan to Bonbon, and basically suggests they've got their own way of handling things down in the mine. Lily stands alone in the courtyard, wrestling with memories from her past as they haunt her. The moment her aptitude test ended, her whole world flipped upside down, then boom, she got slammed into back-to-back meetings with the Knight Commander and the King, telling her she had world-class talent out of nowhere. Hit like a truck, she felt completely out of place, especially since she still couldn't even cast magic yet. The more everyone shoved big things onto her shoulders, the more her nerves snapped inside like the pressure had finally hit its breaking point. But then boom, she finally spotted Alto again, and somehow they ended up side by side at the Knight Academy, both burning to keep that childhood promise. Reality didn't care one bit about their promises then. A training sword whips through the air and everything flips downhill fast. Lily drops to her knees, gasping like she can't breathe, and in every practice match she keeps getting crushed. Then it hits her hard. Having high potential doesn't mean she can actually fight. She locks eyes forward like nothing else exists, drilling the promise she made to Alto into her bones because the only way through is relentless practice until it finally clicks. She trains like a maniac, terrifying everyone around her with how intense it gets until her holy magic starts evolving at a crazy, unstoppable speed, and every brutal minute pays off. By his third year at the academy, Alto was still perfect, untouched, undefeated, while Lily closed in fast, her confidence skyrocketing until she nailed the Knight selection exam and walked out on top. It didn't take long for her to officially earn the title of Knight. She sailed through the whole process with not a single snag, and the real shocker was still waiting. Right after her, Alto stepped into knighthood too, and that childhood dream they'd sworn to serving side by side came true for real because they were finally standing on the same footing. Lily couldn't stop smiling. Every drop of blood, sweat, and tears from training had finally paid off, but that sweet victory feeling didn't last. Once they finally kicked off real missions, Lily started to feel the gap in their skills overnight. She watched Alto and Mia storm through brutal fights, and the truth hit her hard. Something wasn't right. She's frozen in the dark, trapped in her own thoughts, terrified she isn't strong enough, and convinced she'll end up slowing Alto down. Now it's crystal clear. Alto has totally caught Princess Lily's attention. She watches him stride away, and the sting hits her hard. He's heading somewhere so far beyond her reach it feels impossible. She drops her gaze, crushed with discouragement, and can't stop thinking about how that gap between her and Alto has somehow blown wide open lately. Her thoughts slam to a halt when she hears Alto shouting her name, then he and Mia rush in and ask, "Have you been waiting here for a while?" Lily snaps back into focus, flashes a grin at both of them, and explains she got here a little early. She'd been waiting for them to show up. As the group strides through the courtyard, Mia leans in and tells Alto she still can't believe he's actually getting a medal. Lily blurts out right behind her, saying she can barely process that he's being honored for saving the princess during that whole crazy ordeal. Alto just scratches the back of his head, cheeks burning, and admits he feels awful being the only one in the group to get a special award for it. He tells them they only made it because everyone's strength fused into one, and honestly, getting a solo medal just feels like way too much pressure. But Mia shuts down that whole modest act. She meets his eyes, tells him he stole the show bigger than anyone else there, and makes it clear she thinks the award feels totally right. Lily shoots back at once, saying in the middle of that brawl she and Mia could barely scrape together any time at all, and then she cuts off because the rest is about to hit hard. Then she says it straight. If Alto hadn't stepped up, the whole 7th guard would have been wiped out, and the princess herself probably wouldn't have survived either. Mia tells him, "That's exactly why you're getting that medal?" Alto still looks shaky for a second, but Lily just beams and nods like, "Yeah, he totally deserves it." The story snaps to the royal castle's big official ceremony. Everyone's packed in. The king settles deep on his throne, then booms, "Alto, step forward." So So, Alto's getting overwhelmed, and Lily quickly touches him to steady his nerves. He rises tall, hand pressed to his chest, then fires back a strong answer to the king, making it crystal clear he's ready to take that honor. Alto drops to his knees at the foot of the throne as the ceremony finally ignites, and when the king stares down at him and counts how Alto saved Princess Charlotte twice, he grins and says, "It wasn't just heroics taking out those two S-rank monsters. Stopped a disaster big enough to smash the whole kingdom." So the king turns to the whole room and demands, "Am I right?" Then he declares the council is perfectly on board with these victories and tells Alto he's about to hand him his official medal. The crowd erupts into murmurs and a few nobles hiss that it's absolutely wild the prince's faction actually swallowed their pride and agreed to honor a man from the princess's side. The king smirks at Alto and tells him, point blank, that the whole kingdom is counting on him, so he keeps serving the country like it's his mission. Alto shoots out a hard "yes, sir" from his knees, then Charlotte starts down the stairs and tells him, "You can stand up now." She strides up to him in a flash, pins the award to his chest, and leaves him blinking in pure surprise. She flashes him a huge smile and tells him the chancellor always pulls this move. Then she laughs and admits she fought for it too, because for once it feels amazing to get her way. While the crowd in the back hammers out gossip about why she's the one holding the medal, the king suddenly steps in, announcing that two people will march forward to congratulate her, so Charlotte wraps up her presentation, standing shoulder to shoulder with Alto as the ceremony rolls on around them. Charlotte leans into the room and tells everyone, "Alto saved me twice." Then she steps forward with a heartfelt promise to thank him right here, right now, for everything. She rattles off everything he's done, how this rookie still wrecked Minister Wero's secret plans, how he absolutely nailed the job as a knight, and then leaving. Everyone's blown away. She says the entire 7th Guard, even Lily, crushed it with not a single worry about their own safety, and she calls Alto's bravery the perfect example every knight in the kingdom should follow. And right there, she faces the ones who'll be carrying this country's future, grins at them, and tells them she's banking on big miracles from kids like them because they just keep racking up wins. So she drops her head as Richard strides toward them, radiating pure coldness as he passes Leto. The nobles can't sit still anymore. They start fidgeting and whispering like crazy, wondering why the prince is even planning to congratulate a guy tied to the princess's faction. One of them even blurts out, "Is this really a good move?" But Richard keeps his face stone cold as he closes the distance, which leaves Charlotte completely stunned. She's sweating where she stands, thinking Richard, the man she knows, would never treat his own team like that. Not when all those nobles are watching and backing him. She knows he's been busting his butt trying to win over more nobles and crank up his power, so there's no way he should be showing off anyone else when he could spotlight his own people instead. As she tries to piece it together, Alto drops to one knee in front of the prince, showing respect with his entire posture. Richard leans in and tells Alto, "Go on, stand up," then wastes no time, saying he wants to kick things off with his heartfelt congratulations. Then he blurts out that Alto's achievements are jaw-dropping, and he's already done more than enough to impress the council right before it all goes sideways, because then he whips his gaze to the crowd, eyes sharp enough to cut through the noise. And the second they both stand there on the carpet, the whole room feels it. Every single person just stares, like the moment is crushing the air. Richard snaps that Alto's just a young commoner and the youngest ever to win this honor, so you can bet there are people out there who will not let it slide. The nobles start whispering, and Charlotte feels the entire room shift in an instant like the air itself changed. The crowd's roar swells louder and louder as doubt crashes in on everyone while Alto stays frozen, standing his ground. Richard flashes a smirk and says, "This will make people believe the council isn't being fair when they all voted for him," so he flings his arms wide and demands Alto show every lord what his true power looks like. The exact kind the council threw its weight behind. With a mean grin, he told him to do it because his honor needed protecting too. Alto's face goes stone cold, and he tells everyone flat out he's doing this to protect the council's honor. He knows the council is stacked with the king, the princess, and every big-name noble in the realm, so as a commoner, he basically has zero choice but to bow and agree, no matter what. Charlotte stood there, trembling hard, eyes wide with pure panic, like she couldn't tell how all of this was about to turn out. While as Alto glares over at her, he realizes that if he refuses this, it's basically him admitting he can't protect her or save the royal family's name. And the moment he saw Charlotte's face, he knew she wasn't even aware of this plan. Right then, a heavy pair of boots stomped forward with a thunderous thud across the floor. Alto locks eyes with Richard, tells him he understands, and admits he's genuinely honored for the chance to finally show what he can do. The crowd erupts into chatter like, "Of course he's top of the class," and "Man, he's got nerves of steel for real." And then Richard flashed a smug grin and challenged the room who's willing to step up and help prove what Alto can really do. And Charlotte thinks they're finally safe since nobody's moving, until a hand snaps up out of nowhere and Alto's left completely blindsided. Marquis Wellesley strides up, thrusts his hand into the air, and declares that with his knight captain passed, he's more than ready to blow the prince's expectations out of the water. Richard bursts into laughter, pumps him up, and reminds the whole room that the Marquis is a legendary fighter who earned that title in just one generation. Then the other nobles start nodding like they're already bought in. But this isn't just a brawl, this is a turning point. Because if the Marquis wins, Richard's entire faction surges in power, and it's about to... Charlotte is trapped in a no-win nightmare because if Alto beats Richard, Richard just shrugs it off, saves face, and pivots to a whole new plan to get her killed, and with the trap finally in place, Richard calls everyone over to the arena and pushes for the duel to start right now. The air turns thick with tension as Alto, his father, and the prince lock eyes 3 rivals, 3 hidden playbooks, and each of them stepping into the match for a different, secret reason. The moment they step out on the platform, Wellesley slams his challenge down, "Stop holding back and swing everything you've got," so Alto just smirks and says, "I was going to do that from the start." Right as the official screams for the match to start, Alto spots a weird smile tugging at his father's face, the same tell he gets when he's secretly thrilled, even though there's still 0 magic in the air. Alto bursts into the fight by hurling 16 fire lances in one breath, blasting a brutal wave of heat straight at his father. But Wellesley just stands there, cool as ice, and displays a brand new move, Drain Hole, so Alto's whole attack disappears like it was never even real. Wellesley dug in and refused to move as that massive black orb loomed in the very center of the arena, just sitting there, and Alto can't believe his eyes. Every single one of his 16 fire lances got gulped up by that thing like it was nothing. And the nobles watching can't stop staring because it's the first time they've ever seen dark magic face to face. You almost never see it because nobody in their right mind makes dark magic their main specialty. Mostly because that system is twisted. The more you study it, the more it drains you of every other kind of magic. But Wellesley didn't care about the cost one bit. Wellesley snaps to his son, "Drop down, use your move." Right as the drain hole technique finishes turning the fire into dark energy and blasts it all right back out. Alto gets blasted backward as dark beams rip up the ground around him. He barely keeps his footing as the impact hammers him. And then, Wellesley just flicks his glasses into place, smugly thinking 16 shots are exactly the punch he expected from a medal winner, while Alto is left totally baffled, staring at his dad and asking what on earth kind of wild chanting that is. The moment he tries to hit reset, his detection magic screams, "Bam!" A massive warning screen erupts, warning him of an incoming attack from a skill he can't even begin to identify. Panic crashes over him, and he hurls an ice wall up like a shield, praying that a solid barrier will buy him just enough time to finally breathe. But suddenly it all starts spinning. Alto realizes this feeling is worse than being poisoned, and his vision starts to fade to black. Alto collapses on the ground, gasping for air, and his body finally quits on him. Wellesley looms over him like a dark omen, whispering that as long as he's still breathing, he'll never beat him. The referee rips the match to a halt, screaming for the duel to end while the crowd goes wild, yelling for Alto like it's life or death. Later, Alto finally snaps back, waking up in a bed with his head wrapped in bandages. The girls are right there watching him, and Charlotte rushes to ask if he's hurting now that he's finally awake. Alto rubs his head, admits he feels painfully sluggish, but insists he'll be fine. Charlotte lets out a breath of relief, grinning because after that brutal hit, he's not nearly as banged up as she feared. But Lily has to make it clear because from the outside, it looked like he just started getting crushed out of nowhere, and that's what everyone watching thought. Alto shoots back, "I don't even fully get it myself," because Wellesley was absolutely screaming weird chants, so then Lily can't stop wondering if this is that same old school magic from the Skull Dead incident. The kind she couldn't crack back then either. Alto snaps upright in bed, still replaying the fight in his head, and admits he can't be 100 sure, but the magic sound felt way more ominous than anything he's ever heard. He tells the girls his detection magic caught something weird, an uncategorizable power at work, so he swore it must have been an incantation. But the moment he said that, his vision started flickering, and his head went completely fuzzy, like he was about to snap. A burst of magic warning flashes in his head as he stares down, and he straight up admits no matter how much time's passed, he still doesn't fully understand what really happened to him in that match. Charlotte, Lily, and Mia just sit there at his bedside in dead silence for a beat, letting the weight of what's happening finally hit them while, right as Alto glanced at Charlotte and blurted out an apology, he crumbled inside because right after he finally earned that medal, everything exploded into a total disaster. Charlotte flashes a smile and tells him, "Don't apologize. That medal proves everyone sees what he's done. One bad duel can't erase his past wins." So Alto's heart finally lifts and he feels way better. Then her face hardens and she straight up tells everyone she's 100% certain Richard had a hand in how that duel went down. She tells you Richard was the one who leaned on his people in the council, pushing for the medal vote to go unanimous, basically setting the whole chessboard so the duel could happen. Richard usually can't stand wasting a second. He skips every pointless ceremony like it's an insult to his time, so if he's putting this much effort into something, Charlotte's sure there's a far bigger plan unfolding behind the scenes. She shuts her eyes and whispers that all she wants is a country where everyone smiles without sacrificing a single life, and to make that dream real, she's willing to throw away even her chance to become the ruler. Charlotte drops her gaze and admits the terrifying truth. If Richard ever actually takes the throne, the kingdom crumbles into a dark age, exactly the opposite of the bright future she swore she'd build for her people. She plants her feet, looks up with pure determination, and asks everyone one question: will you help her stop it from happening? And right away, Alto slams his hand over his heart. I'm only one guy, he swears, but he'll do everything in his power to turn her dream into reality.